Put your order in now, put your order in. Put your order in now, put your order in. 'Cause chicks like chicks like chicks like I'm in the fly. Put your order in now, put your order in. Put your order in now, put your order in. 'Cause chicks like chicks like chicks like unlimited supply. Gang chugging on my balls, running the empire, first lady of the camp, presidential stamp. These trans they sweater like winter wool, got my pimp cup. I make like sprinkles on my balls like wow. Oh, she's sexy, bragging on 6 skills beyond ordinary. Sit still, watch the realness keep 'em coming. Yo, girl, be honest, I am. They used to messing with tricks, running through their family. Got 'em all up on Maury like you ain't the daddy. This here exclusive, limited edition to man high, fly, limited. Put your order in now, put your order in. Put your order in now, put your order in. 'Cause chicks like chicks like chicks like I'm in the supply. Put your order in now, put your order in. Put your order in now, put your order in. 'Cause chicks like chicks like come on, chicks like unlimited supply. Put your order in now, ain't no guarantees you get one. I'm like my own species, speak easy, diamonds on the tongue, CEO. Company, hire on Escort. I'm the madam who running the escort. Top fluid, the best off, get me the A-girls. Clap, clap for my girls who running their own show. Get that money, ma. What you know about a boss lady, baby, who making my own moves? I could really care less about what I do. If he ain't on my level, so what? On my boat, throw your hands up. Put your order in now, put your order in. Put your order in now, put your order in. 'Cause chicks like chicks like chicks like I'm in the supply. Put your order in now, put your order in now, put your order in. 'Cause chicks like chicks like chicks like I'm in the supply.
Oh man, we get money all day. All I do is work, all I do is get paid, yeah. Oh man, we get money all day. All I do is work, all I do is get paid, yeah. All I do is work, all I do is work. All I do is work, all I do is get paid, yeah. All I do is work, all I do is work. All I do is work, all I do is let me work. Somebody call 911. My mind no ones and I'm undone. Try to hide, but it's not that I run from. Bye bye, little guy now. Run, run. It's my time, I'm alive and I'm young. And I'm in the prime and I run. Better get a watch it when I get a feeling like I'm about to hit him with a shot from a stun gun. Ain't nobody get him on a different kind of level. I'll be on it like I thought it would be. Ain't nobody ready for it. Better get him out. I'm about to make out and then a puddle of on the one side. Call it what you want, man. I wanna see the only one who's winning. And I gotta be a little bit offended by the way you trying to talk to me. I'm about to come and check and ask what you really want, son. Y'all don't get it, neither do I look, I'll admit it. Y'all are trying to take island visits. I'ma run my own island business. It don't exist, I'll invent it. Man, I'm about to be childish with it. Money about to be piling up this so high we might see a pilot hit it. Bang, you gon' remember my name. I got the infinite aim, bringing the infinite pain. Working to get to the fame, then I'ma dip in a similar vein. Whipping the whip when I'm switching the lane. Admitting I'm gifted is simply insane. Man, let me work. Oh man, we get money all day. All I do is work, all I do is get paid, yeah. Oh man, we get money all day. All I do is work, all I do is get paid, yeah. All I do is work, all I do is work. All I do is work, all I do is get paid, yeah. All I do is work, all I do is work. All I do is work, all I do is let me work. Yeah, all I do is work, all I do is work. Keep it on the low like a moving work. All this money crazy, too absurd. I'ma do the money dance, you get served. Lambo or Bugatti, which do you prefer? You standing there in silence, you should use your words. Look, actions speak louder than what you have heard. We bout that action, so you know we bout to do it. Word. My, what a business. Money crazy, so I know just what it's like to be senseless. They say that I can't be crap. Somebody find me a dentist. I'm about to buy up your time. So soon you might be evicted. I'm saying, man, oh man, we get money all day. I can't hear you talking, I don't care what y'all say. Out of getting nothing, and it's what you call pay. You think that you working, man, that's what they all say. Let me work.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm really getting to it day and night. I'm really in the game, I live that life. Fake 'em left I take them right. I ain't going out without a fight. I put on a show under the lights. Love it when they say my name on the mic. Highlight play, make them wanna show it twice. Highlight play, make them wanna show it twice. I'm the coldest, get it done in freezing rain. When I get in my zone, I can feel it in my veins. I go tunnel vision, ain't nobody that can stop me. I'm legendary, they just want the jersey on my body. Put up the numbers, people trying to say they love me. Work out every summer, cause the winter gon' get ugly. Feel like the world against me got me going even harder. Take off like a rocket, I'ma snipe it like I'm hearted.
When I go beast, how you gonna stop it? When I see the blitz, I just call an option. I'ma take my time, never leave a pocket. Man, it's not nice, so don't even try it. When I go beast, how you gonna stop it? When I see the blitz, I just call an option. I'ma take my time, never leave a pocket. Man, it's not nice, so don't even try it.
I'm really getting to it day and night. I'm really in the game, I live that life. Fake them left and then I take them right. I ain't going out without a fight. I put on a show under the lights. Love it when they say my name on the mic. Highlight play, make them wanna show it twice. Highlight play, make them wanna show it twice.
Boy, don't lie, do or die, it's my time. 14 inches, put it all on the line. I'm a big boss, yeah, I do it out of sight. I really run this, you just running out of time. I'm pushing a rock, when I dish it, it's a dime. But it's a decline, but I'm still in my prime. All this hard work, only right that I shine. All I know is grind, put it over time. When I go beast, how you gonna stop it? When I see the blitz, I just call an option. I'ma take my time, never leave a pocket. Man, it's not nice, so don't even try it. When I go beast, how you gonna stop it? When I see the blitz, I just call an option. I'ma take my time, never leave a pocket. Man, it's not nice, so don't even try it.
I'm really getting to it day and night. I'm really in the game, I live that life. Fake them left and then I take them right. I ain't going out without a fight. I put on a show under the lights. Love it when they say my name on the mic. Highlight play, make them wanna show it twice. Highlight play, make them wanna show it twice. we die one at a time. Those are the facts, we don't throw dice. Ready to fire, ready or not, we let it decline.
There's nothing you can do. RNG are your nightmare.
Set it off like this, set it off like, set it off like this. Burn it up, burn it up.
Hello and welcome back to MSI 2022 in Busan, South Korea, where we kick off the semifinals today with a clash between the LPL's Royal Never Give Up and the LCS's Evil Geniuses. Here we see them now arriving at the Busan Exhibition and Convention Center, getting ready for that important best of 5 series, looking to extend all the way to a finals. I'm Dash, and I am more than pleased to be joined by one Venius.
Hello.
It's been a while, my friend.
It's been a little while, yes.
How you doing?
I'm great now. I'm great now.
Operative word now that you get to join us.
I'm really excited to be back, yeah. So it's nice to be in a suit again.
Yeah.
And talking about some League of Legends.
And looking good, my friend. Well, let's get right into it. Obviously, I've had the opportunity to be surrounded by plenty of experts throughout the Rumble stage, but your analysis has been noticeably absent in that
thank you,
time.
my friend.
So as we pull up the standings in the Rumble stage, just to get a quick refresher, we do see RNG atop the table, T1 taking up that second slot before G2 Esports and Evil Geniuses round things out. But basically, I just wanted to turn to you and kind of get your recap of how things broke down between our top 6 teams.
Well, I think that in terms of expectations, it kind of went the way that everyone expected in the end. The beginning, super excited. A lot of us Europeans were high on copium. You know, when we saw the 4-0, a lot of us were like, this is Europe's
2019
time.
again,
yeah,
let's
exactly.
go.
But then we all remembered, oh, it's 2019 again, which means they're going to go 5-5, and then reality immediately hit us like a truck. So the results kind of went as expected, but I do have to give a big shout out to the VCS and the PCS, because I think that while they did not qualify for the top 4 here at MSI, in terms of expectations, I think they went above and beyond.
I was going to say, you talk about a truck. That truck has a name. It's PSG Talent.
Exactly.
Hit G2 squarely in the face. But we also have to talk about the Saigon Buffaloes. Again, just a reminder to everybody that this is the second seed out of the region that had to come in and put up a performance like they did. And to snag those 2 wins that they did near the end of the Rumble stage, I think it speaks to the overall power level of that team and their potential, even if in every moment of the stage, they weren't able to show us.
And remember how close they were to taking down RNG as well.
Right.
Like, this team showcased a lot, and as you rightly said, they are only the 2nd seed from their region. And I think that they went out and acknowledged that while they think they did well, there's more for them to show. And they think that Vietnam as a region also has more to show. So I'm super excited to see what they can do at Worlds. And for the PCS, even after the loss of players like Maple, who are a staple and star of the region, I think the region still has a long way to progress and can still challenge internationally. So very excited to see these 2 teams once again once they make it to Worlds, I'm for sure.
And ultimately, we have PSG Talent to thank for making the Rumble stage interesting, because as we spoke about, it was that quick 4-0 start for G2, which made it feel like, okay, things are going to go as expected. They're going to go to chalk, and we're going to have kind of a solidified top 4 very early on. But because of those dropped games to PSG, things got interesting all of the sudden. And similarly, Evil Geniuses managing to pick up that game against T1, I mean, that did wonders as well in terms of their overall standing and the way they maybe look and feel moving into the knockout stage.
Yeah, I think EG have to be credited to their very rapid growth. Coming into this tournament, I think we already saw a very high level of performance from Inspired and Impact in particular. I think that as a team, the veterancy really shone through where the rookies were struggling, and that's very much to be expected. But the rapid way in which the team adapted to make sure that these younger players felt more comfortable, and the fact that Jojo has only gotten better at lane throughout this tournament, I think is a big credit to the development and confidence that a lot of these players have.
Now, what do you ultimately make of the G2 journey? Because again, it was that hot start. Yes, they did stumble, but recovered and still, landed squarely in 3rd place. I feel like, at least from my personal stance, that G2 in their highest moments has actually looked like the best team at this tournament. Again, isolating their best games.
For sure, I think that it's definitely fair to credit them for their performances, especially early on. My only issue with G2 was that they were very exploitable in terms of what their strengths and weaknesses were. And I think it was just a matter of time until teams found a consistent way of being able to exploit those weaknesses. And we had a great interview with Broken Blade where he talked about how without those scrims, without the ability to go back, reset, reevaluate, and change, I think that they were very much stuck in their ways, which is why they ended up in a slump, which is why this time off to prepare, come back is why I think many fans are excited to see what they can do in the best of fives, and I'm hopeful that they can put a strong showing.
Yeah, from there, we're left with the two tournament favorites, the pre-tournament favorites in RNG and T1. RNG taking that top slot, moving out of the Rumble stage, T1 just behind them. What do you make of these two squads?
They're very good.
Fair to say.
I think that I'll start with T1 by saying that T1, I think, coming to this tournament, were a little overhyped. I think Atlas did a great job of kind of highlighting and bringing us back to ground in terms of this team did have up and down consistency issues during the regular season. They lost to teams that you didn't actually expect them to lose to, but that's because while their early game and mechanical prowess was dominant, their mid to late game did often left something to be desired. And I think once again, we saw that at this tournament. But again, the rate at which these players grow is phenomenal. And while we credit EG and their young players being able to adapt and get better on the international stage, these players are also showcasing that arguably even tenfold. So this team is hungry. They are eager to prove themselves internationally. They want to maintain the dynasty that is the SKT era, and they want to get back on top. So a team that's very terrifying and a team that you know is going to be scary in the best of.
I was going to say some inconsistency throughout the tournament, but consistently a dominant early game, and that is something to be fair, particularly led by some of those rookies. Talking about Zeus in the top lane. From there, we go to RNG, though, defending champions, and they find themselves once again in that #1 slot, well positioned to defend their title.
I really do think that RNG is right now looking like the best team. Their consistency is incredible, and while towards the end of the group stage they did showcase some weaknesses, ultimately I think this is a super well-rounded team with many options that looks like the favorites, as you rightly said, to win the whole thing once again.
Well, we broke down the Rumble stage. Let's take a look at the bracket that we have ahead of us when it comes to the knockout stage here at MSI. The first best-of-5 series that comes today at Sports RNG against Evil Geniuses. The winner of that match will move on to the finals to play the winner of either T1 versus G2 Esports. Looking rather familiar to something I've seen in the past. If I'm being honest, feels like maybe our MSI scriptwriters are getting a little bit lazy here, as it's recalling 2019 MSI. Feeling very similar, where we had a #1 seeded LPL team followed by T1 specifically, and then of course G2 in that third slot. Yes, NA managed to pick up, I guess, one more win than that time around, but we know how that one played out.
Yes, we do. And I think that we're on track for another repeat performance based on what we've seen from the scripts. Truthfully, like, you know, LPL, LCK, very good regions, but you know, it's only best ones. It's Europe and NA really shine in the best ofs, as we both know, Dash.
Exactly, and that's where you take that historical...
That is exactly what I take from that, yes.
Exactly. So, I mean, we already clearly know how these best-of-5s are going to play out with an LPL versus NA matchup and an EU versus LCK matchup. But all that said, we still have to do our journalistic due diligence here, you know, ultimately in previewing the match. And so while this is how it played out last time around, and of course we largely expect it to go the same way, we should still talk about the two teams that step onto the stage today in RNG and EG. In order to do that, we're going to bring in Lyric and Emily to talk about the two teams competing on stage today.
History repeating itself. Going to be a tall task for this Evil Geniuses roster. This RNG, a different beast. And even just going back to last year, where they picked up another LPL title. They won last year's MSI. That wasn't enough for this team. They came into 2022, swapped superstar top lane Xiaohu back to mid, where he has such a wealth of experience, picked up young aggressive star Bin, who everyone will remember from 2020, and the ceiling looked higher than ever. Sadly for RNG, there were some hurdles to get over at the start of the split. We saw them having a hard time acclimating Bin to the roster, especially with how aggressive he likes to play. Wei had a very hard job. He was confused with the identity that RNG was trying to play through, but luckily for them, they had the Tiger King of Spring back in the mid lane, Mr. Consistency, stepping up, carrying games non-stop for RNG, got them into playoffs with a pretty solid record, and that's where things finally started to click for them, enabling Bin more in the top side, moving Xiaohu back to this facilitating, roam-heavy play style, which he knows so well, and that's where RNG were able to step up, pick it up in finals, and get themselves their 5th LPL championship.
And by contrast, you know, EG went through some kind of similar roster changes. Jojo Pyun pickup in particular, a lot of people in North America didn't know how that would work out. So it was kind of weirdly criticized at the beginning. They had a phenomenal start to the season in lock-in tournament, looked really, really strong until they got swept by TL in the finals. And then what happened is those inconsistencies really started to show. EG were actually unable to string more than 2 wins in a row throughout the entirety of the spring season. And behind the scenes, everyone kept saying, every player I talked to was like, oh man, EG are so good in scrims. And then they just weren't the same on stage for whatever reason. They could never find their footing. And then everything changed in the best of 5 against TL in the upper bracket LCS playoffs. Even though they lost that, EG came back with a vengeance, kind of stormed through the lower bracket. A lot of it was because I think their drafting improved significantly, and then additionally their preparation in what they were trying to do against their opponents. We saw kind of the stuff we saw in lock-in tournament with Inspired and Vulcan kind of setting up the team for success also happen really consistently in playoffs, and then obviously Danny popping off in 5v5 fights. 5v5 fights are something I know RNG, though, absolutely love.
Yeah, and especially coming into this MSI. I mean, this is the Emperors of Spring Domain. They look so comfortable at this tournament. We've seen them return back to what made them so successful in 2021. That mid-game macro playing out through side lanes has just been absolutely beautiful. We've seen Xiao once again just stay on these roaming, enabling mids. And luckily for Gala, Kai'Sa is back in the meta. He's popping off, having great games every single time. It's going to be a tall task for EG today.
Yeah, especially since, you know, EG came into this tournament, didn't have a really strong meta read, in my opinion. You know, G2 had their number in groups and in Rumble stage, even when EG had improved. And so, yeah, I know, right? So I think, like, the other cool thing to see, though, from EG was a similar trajectory to what we saw in playoffs, right? Where they started off very, very shaky, and then as the tournament went on, their drafting improved. In particular, Danny on comfort picks like Jinx and Samira, even when I personally was a little bit iffy on those drafts, EG showed that they really could play like super, super well around them. And once again, getting Danny in a position to carry with setup from Inspired, who's having a great tournament, Impact, and Vulcan. And going up against RNG, it's actually a really interesting stylistic matchup because a lot of the stuff they've put Jojo on have been those facilitating mids that we've also seen from Xiaohu, but Xiaohu kind of does it better. And for more on that, we're going to go straight over to Vedius to talk about RNG's playstyle.
Thank you very much, Emily. Yes, I'm going to take this opportunity to talk a little bit more in depth about what is going on with RNG and why they're so good in this neighborhood tactics presented by State Farm. So, as we're going to bring up the Telestrator, the important thing that I want to highlight is RNG are a very good team. That shouldn't really come as a surprise, but I wanted to use this clip as an example to illustrate how good they actually are. And unfortunately, EG, you will be my example in this situation. Please forgive me. Now, as we watch here, you're going to see RNG set up a dive towards the bot side of the map. The dive looks very good, but this is not the emphasis that I want to focus on. What I want to focus on is what happens after the dive. So after they get this kill onto Vulcan and take the plates, here I'm going to very quickly pause, bring up the minimap, and highlight exactly what it is that they want to do. So, first thing you'll notice is that these two are going to go back to base. Cool, nothing too uncharacteristic, and as they clear out the base, these two are going to head over towards the Drake. So everything looks pretty good, but then follow on what happens next. Wei is going to clear out the Drake, Ming is then going to look to reset, and then Wei is going to continue to clear his jungle as both Xiaohu returns to mid to catch this mid wave, and then Gala is going to pass back towards bot to catch this wave that is slowly coming in as well. And what I want you to do is keep your eyes on the minimap, because you're going to notice that while this is all happening and while Wei is clearing out the bot side of his map, look at where Ming is going. He's going to use these hex stakes to actually move up towards the top side of the map, and he's going to use this information to start putting vision down in the top side of the jungle. This achieves two things. Number one, it's going to cover for top laner Bin, and it's going to make sure that in the event that, because Wei wants to clear his bot side, that his top side camps don't get invaded as well. Xiaohu's going to clear out mid, bot is going to get cleared out, and then again, while this vision drops, look at what Wei is doing. He knows that he still has vision around the bot side jungle. Gala wants to push in this wave so that he doesn't get ganked. He is also covered for. So RNG right now are covering for the top side of the map with Vision. They're also covering for the bot side of the map with Deep Invade, and Xiaohu is also posturing for a potential roam in the event that some action happens. So remember that the last thing that they did was they took a Drake, they dived, they took a Drake, and now they're resetting back out onto the map. Wei yet to actually reset. So after the cover is done, you'll notice as well that they helped clear out the mid wave, and then Xiaohu is going to move up towards the top side thanks to the pressure generated by Ming in order to then threaten for a kill on top. They're going to get that kill on top. Very easy execute thanks to Bin leveraging the wave as well. And then this is the craziest thing about all of this. Wei, after clearing his bot side camps, resetting, actually left his red buff up, and then Gala came and took it because Wei needed to reset and go back towards the top side of the map. He couldn't be left isolated in this lane so that he wasn't wasting time. They gave him the red buff. While all this is happening, Ming is also covering for the mid wave. He's going to catch this mid wave. Xiao is going to take this. And what does that do? It gives RNG control over the Rift Herald. Like, it is so impressive how RNG are able to control every single lane, cover for every possible attack avenue, while also maximizing their efficiency in terms of farm, map control, vision, and everything. It was just such an excellent demonstration from RNG of how to play the map and how to leverage so much mobility from jungle, support, and mid lane together.
I mean, that was a full few minutes where RNG owns 3/4 of the map, has full agency to go wherever they want. It is a perfect painted picture of what makes this team so strong.
Average Tuesday, someone said.
Exactly. Or a Friday, as it is today. I mean, it is one of those things where it's one thing to feel like the opposing team has that kind of ownership over the map, and it's another thing when they actually do have that kind of ownership over the map. And that's where we're going to put a big spotlight then on EG and ultimately how their play style comes up against this. We already know, and we've already kind of painted it as an uphill battle. But let's start over here on this side, Emily. Let's start to build the story of what it is that EG looks like when they're playing their best.
Yeah, and I think you see some similar set plays, again, coming from Inspired and Vulcan particularly, but also Impact, in the way that they want to play the map, right? Because we did see, starting all the way back in Lock-In Tournament with JoJo on the Twisted Fate, the team really trying to see if he was on something in mid that he could then radiate pressure outside. So this is actually a clip from their Lock-In event with just kind of a simple TF play on the top side of the map. But this really categorized what I initially saw from them in NALCS, which was a bit unexpected considering how much of a carry potential, you know, JoJo was advertised to have. This has been kind of the way that they wanted to play. Here is another example of one of their team compositions where they're running the Diana Yasuo into Team Liquid in the semifinals. So they can play a variety of different styles, but especially recently in this tournament, we've definitely seen more of a shift towards, once again, set plays from other players on the map, and then JoJo on something where he can go to side lanes. And I think the biggest difference, obviously, between him and Xiaohu is just a wealth of experience and a significantly better understanding of when to time that wave pressure.
And I think that what Emily does a great job of highlighting is how EG is kind of taking a very similar path in terms of RNG, in terms of trying to be very flexible in their approach, in terms of how they want to try and impact the map, largely through that mid-jungle support type of dynamic. And I think that EG have done a great job of demonstrating the wide array of styles, because when I think back to the LCS finals, I think of a very team fight focus approach where it was very much about front to back team fighting, putting a lot of the eggs on the Danny basket, and why it was very much about that narrative. But again, they're continuing to show that flexibility. As she highlighted in this recent tournament, we've really seen a lot more of a step up from JoJo and trying to impact those side lanes.
Yeah, and I feel like when we're hitting on EG overall and talking a lot about mid lane, you just hit on it, right? Support feels so important for the squad. I feel like, especially going up against Ming, Vulcan's going to play such a pivotal part. He's going to have to step up, have a bit of a better day, because we've seen Vulcan is very willing to roam. I think specifically against Saigon Buffalo, he was on the map pretty much the whole game, but it's about finding the right timers, especially finding the right lanes to impact who can have a big role. And when you're going up against Ming, like I just said, it feels like that's where RNG have been outclassing this EG roster, and we're going to have to see more.
Yeah, especially when you compare their bot lanes, right? Because I think Ming and Gala are certainly a stronger duo lane, which means that Ming is probably going to get those first roam timers anyway, because they'll just be able to get better resets with the way the lane plays out. I know Dash can remember when Vulcan had like some of the lowest duo proximity of like any support, and it was something ridiculous. It was like 4%. Obviously, that's not going to happen in this game, but like the thing is, it's going to be really difficult for him to match the correct timers coming out of Ming, I think, based on the way those 2v2s play.
And it speaks to, I think, to some degree, kind of that back and forth nature that we've seen in EG in terms of styles, right? In some cases, going for that ultra Danny-oriented composition where he's playing something like the Tahm Kench and wanting to try and protect him as much as he can versus what we've seen here at this tournament. Attempts to get towards the mid lane, open up JoJo to affect the map. We'll see which style they decide to take into today's best of 5. But either way, Vulcan always integral to EG's success when they do find it. All of that said, when this matchup is talked about, I hear two names mentioned more than any others. And of course, that's the two names in the mid lane. Our featured matchup presented by Mercedes-Benz. It's the battle of generations in the mid lane. Xiaohu versus Jojopion.
New blood versus old blood. A young talent looking to make a name for himself versus a seasoned veteran who wants to make history once again.
我觉得这些选手参与比赛的话，只有走到终点赢下冠军才算成功吧。
Jojopion carries the weight of North America's expectation on his shoulders, but even coming in as the massive underdog, the confidence of this talented mid laner has never been broken.
There was some heat after the RNG game after we lost, but I mean, it just happened and we're all over it now.
Gotta disengage. Can you buy time? Stopwatch burn. And they go 1 and 2. This could be the fight for EG. Looking to knock down the top lane. Zeus drain tanking. A Gale Force works well. Vulcan steps away, and it's a 4 for nothing.
The first game we had versus T1 was good though, so yeah, I'll take that.
On the other side of the rift, we have the two-time MSI champion Xiaohu. He will expect nothing less of himself than to represent his country in the finals and take home the trophy.
T1 making the cross-map play, though. Carry it up towards top lane, playing with Zeus. Xiaohu now looking.
Root into Charm, guarantees it, nicely done, but he's out of cooldowns. Ult into W, second auto. Makes it happen, barely enough damage, knows the limit, and gets the kill.
With the 0-2 record versus RNG, the odds are stacked against Evil Geniuses. But we've seen giants fall this MSI, and the stage is set for a repeat of the 2019 semi-finals.
Expectations be damned as Team Liquid take down the reigning world champs.
EG 的话，到目前为止，我个人了解还不是特别多吧。希望他这次比赛中就是能给我留下一个比较好的印象。
I think the biggest threat of this tournament right now is RNG. They're the best team right now, but I don't really think like anyone is unbeatable.
In our featured matchup presented by Mercedes-Benz, the youngest player at MSI goes head-to-head versus one of the biggest legends of the LPL.
In terms of expectations, I have to say that this is not the matchup I was expecting, because when you think of Gala versus Danny, in terms of the storylines, the history, like, that was what I was expecting, but you have to give credit that Xiaohu and Jojo have been so important to the success of their teams, especially at this tournament, in terms of early game control, impacting the map, and just the kind of star presence that they bring. Jojo's rapid growth is making a massive impact and drawing attention.
I was going to say, I actually think star presence there is maybe the most important thing. There's something to be said for the way that Jojo has approached international events, his level of confidence, and how that can bleed into kind of the atmosphere for the rest of the team. I will paraphrase in quoting a tweet that Vulcan threw out ahead of this matchup. Basically, if someone had told him a few months ago that he'd be playing RNG in a best of 5 at MSI, he would have thought they were crazy. But the fact is they're here, and they're going to walk in with, you know, whatever level of confidence they need to just throw it all out, right? I mean, that's it. You've got nothing left to lose. So let's see if you can take the defending MSI champions all the way. And who better to lead the charge than the young gun in the mid lane in Jojopion?
And I feel like it's going to be important, right? Because Xiaohu is the heart and soul of RNG. You can even just see the way of no matter if he role swaps or not, they still play the same stylistic way. It's still based all around him and what he's able to do on the map. And I mean, this is another guy who can play like a breath of styles. He can play things like the Galio, the TF, the Sylas, but can play things like the LeBlanc and look to be the primary carry. So we're going to be looking at Jojo to see if he can match that this time around. Because sadly in the Rumble stage, he wasn't able to do it.
Yeah, and one thing that's super interesting when we look at the stats is that JoJo's lane percentage is actually more than I thought it would be, given how much they have tried to send him to side lanes. And I feel like when we saw RNG kind of falter at this tournament, it has been through, G2 attacking mid jungle, Saigon Buffalo, who almost came out ahead through.
Please, EG, please.
BJ and Froggy just like kind of going super, super hard in that mid lane. And I think that is, if EG are kind of looking for a little way to shift their play style, maybe, try out JoJo on a super, hyper carry, what could go wrong?
If you're down 0-2, just throw it out, let's go that direction.
I think you do it from game one.
Really?
I want to see them heavily attack Xiaohu. Like, seriously, send everyone mid, crush him in the mid lane, don't allow him to have any impact, and then, it becomes harder to shot call when you're behind as well. Just, come on, EG, destroy Xiaohu. For everyone else's sake except mine.
Right. Yeah.
I actually personally hope you don't do that. But.
I like it though. Attack the experience, right? Attack the leader. Cut off the head, and maybe the body goes with it. Who knows, right? It's time for some predictions as we narrow towards this best of 5. We're gonna go down the line. Vedius in the hot seat right out the gate. You're back on the broadcast.
Yep. Short and sweet, 3-0 RNG.
Okay, all right. That's kind of what I expected out of you, and I almost expect no less from the next one in the line.
I just gave the unbiased, here EG do this, so now LPL bias coming in, RNG 3-0.
Okay, all right, but that's all right because I've got the LCS rep at the end of the desk. It's Emily Rand. Please hit me with that spicy take.
Dash, do you remember we were in Houston and I did this whole thing and the crowd was booing me,
right. Right, so you're not going to ever give people a reason to boo you again.
Man, I really believe in EG. I love what they've been doing.
I like
and then
where this is
predicted
going.
against them and I'm doing the same thing here.
Oh my goodness,
hey,
come on.
You know what?
But at least like a 3-2? No, a 3-0?
No. 3-0.
Come on, can I buy a game?
Oh, no.
Every time I predicted against them, if you remember, they won.
Actually, all right. Maybe this is the best vote of confidence.
Could be.
All right, fair play there, Emily. All right, so quite clearly, everybody expects this to be a dominant victory for the defending MSI champions, and I think that is perfectly reasonable. But then I do want to talk about and challenge everybody to come with the ways in which EG does take this series. So thought exercise, win conditions. Lyric, you touched on a couple already with the idea of attacking the mid lane. Let's expand a bit.
Yeah, I'd just love to see JoJo come out on something more aggressive. We've seen him, be a primary LeBlanc player, things along those lines. Get an aggressive jungler. Inspired, I think, has been very willing to gank in this tournament and playing around his lanes, primarily with JoJo. And we've seen Xiaohu struggle. We've seen against Buffalo, where BJ and Froggy were just continuously hammering in mid lane. Xiaohu was getting solo killed by Caps numerous times. And I feel like that's a plan that they can replicate that also worked in the LPL. That's why RNG struggled so much against top esports.
For me, it's that. I really want to see them do that. But then also for the setup on that, I really want Inspired and Vulcan to be on the same page. Like we talked about Vulcan, how he's been shaky in some of their games at this tournament. EG is at their best when Inspired and Vulcan are both controlling the map to set up plays for players like JoJo, especially Danny, to come in and just carry team fights and skirmishes.
Speaking of, when we talk about their best victory in terms of opponent strength, Vedius, people are going to look to that T1 game.
For sure.
What can we learn from that?
Well, for me, one of the big things is giving Inspired agency, and we put this easy to execute comp, and I think when we say that, what we really mean is right now, your best performing player this tournament has been Inspired. And when you give him a champion that can choose when the fights happens, has the agency to create opportunities for his team, this is where I think their team fights look the strongest. We think back to Danny being a reliable AD carry team fighter. Throughout the finals, he was able to consistently dish out damage, and you're seeing a clip on your screen right now, but he can only do that with the appropriate setup. And I think they can draft in a way with things like the Nocturne Galio that gives Inspired that ease of execution with a team comp that can very readily and easily follow up.
And going back to something Vedi already mentioned, I'm really glad you did, was the variety of playstyles that we did see from them in playoffs. Another one was that Yasuo-Diana combo, right? Again, giving Inspire the agency to go in with JoJo following up on a carry, and those team fights, as we saw from the TL clip I pulled earlier, worked out really well for EG then as well.
It's very interesting to me because I think typically when we look at a matchup that feels lopsided, we index towards, okay, hone in on a singular strategy, that one thing you're really good at. But interestingly here with EG, we're kind of talking about two different possible avenues to success, which I don't know if that's a good or a bad thing, right? Like, did we spread our resources too thin and maybe should have gotten better at a singular strategy? Or do we like having more tools in the playbook that, hey, if we drop one version of a game in game one, we can move to something else entirely and challenge RNG in a different way in game two?
I think that when we look at RNG, one of the big things that I tried to illustrate with that clip earlier is how well RNG can be super efficient and controlling in terms of what they do on the map. And I think that, as Emily has pointed out a few times, is that a lot of what EG has tried to do, look at their breadth of options. It's very much like what approach will they take in today's series? Because when you're going up against someone that feels like they do everything you do but better, it feels like that you have one of two things. You either tunnel in on a single strategy as you highlight,
right.
But my approach is very much just go in with a plan game one, be willing to change your plan in game two, and be very flexible, because you've shown that you can be flexible. And in a best of five, you're going to have to adapt and pivot on the fly.
Tough position to be in. I know where the three of you stand. Now I'm curious where the fans at home stand. It's time for our MasterCard fan predictions. Make sure to vote at MasterCard Nexus on Twitter every single day to be a part of the broadcast with your predictions. And as the numbers fly up on the screen, I'm hoping somebody's gonna. There it is. There it is. Look, the fans are giving me what the three of you can't. The fans are providing hope. So much hope, exactly. Hope only to be ripped away from me. It is a close vote at that, and we'll have to ultimately see how it plays out. With that, though, there's nothing left to do but to get into this best of five. It's the LPL against the LCS. It's the defending champs against an underdog team in our first semifinal here at MSI. Let's get out there to the stadium.
Welcome to 부산. 아름다운 게임의 도시 부산에 오신 수원 사람은 진심으로 환영합니다. 숨가쁘게 달려온 MSI, 전 세계 최고 11개 팀이 출전을 했고, 이제 드디어 단 4개 팀만이 이 무대에 설 수 있습니다. 북미 대표 LCS 이블 지니어스, 유럽 LEC의 G2, 그리고 디펜딩 챔피언 LPL의 RNG, 끝으로 대회 개최지인 대한민국 부산의 SK T1입니다. 과연 어느 팀이 2022 미드시즌 인비테이셔널 가장 높은 곳 최정상에 오를 수 있을지, 오늘의 이틀 노가웃 시리즈를 통해서 가려보도록 하겠습니다. 자, 그러면 오늘 나설 두 팀 소개합니다. 먼저 LPL 우승 5회, MSI 우승 2회, 작년에 이어서 올해까지 연속 우승에 도전합니다. LPL의 로얄 네버 기브업 RNG! 솔킬머신 빈, 끝까지 따라간다 웨이, 말이 필요 없는 프랜차이즈 스타 샤오후, 파괴적인 바텀 갈라, LPL 포스터부터 UK 빛나는 밍. 여러분께 다시 한번 소개합니다. One more time, RNG! 팀 창단 최초 국제 무대에서 무려 노가웃 스테이지까지 오르는 기함을 토했습니다. 이번엔 진짜 전 세계를 놀라게 하겠다. LCS 이블 지니어스 이제 탑 노장은 죽지 않았다. 어나더 레벨 임팩트. 이제 운영의 핵심 인스파이어. 미드 최연소 신의 패기 조조편. 바텀 최초 국제 무대에서 전 세계 이름을 알리겠다 테니. 서포 베테랑의 노련함을 보여주마 펄컨. 여러분 다시 한번 큰 박수로 응원해 주시기 바랍니다. One more time 이제. 자 과연 이 두 팀 중 2022 미드 시즌 인비테이셔널 최정상에 오른 팀은 어느 팀이 될 것인지 이곳 부산에 계신 여러분 그리고 이 장면 함께하고 계신 전 세계 많은 소환사 여러분들 달려보도록 하겠습니다. Let the 노가웃 스테이지 비긴. 2022 미드 시즌 인비테이셔널 노가웃 시즌 노가웃 스테이지 첫째 날 경기를 함께하시는 많은 분들의 뜨거운 환호 함성과 함께 시작하겠습니다.
The biggest threat of this tournament was RNG.
MSI winner of the past, back to get another trophy, and so far, no one has been able to stop them. EG joining that list.
EG, we are not a best of 1 team. We're a best of 5 team.
其实在这次 MS 刚开始的时候，我一直认为 RNG、T1 跟 G2 3支队伍基本上是这次 MS 赛的就是冠军的最有力竞争者。但是在对抗赛的第2轮当中，我看到了EG爆发出来的一些爆发力跟实力，所以我现在觉得他们也是非常有竞争力的选手。
They beat T1. EG showed us that they can fight with the best.
Taking an LCS team to the knockout stage feels like redemption for me. No one has ever won from NA. Winning MSI just gives everyone in NA, players, fans, coaches, orgs, hope.
They have learned, they have adapted, and improved themselves worthy of top 4. RNG leaving no doubt they want first place.
It'll be hard for us to take him out, but I think we have a strong top side and that makes it a win con.
Very impressed by how Impact has been playing this whole tournament.
Their jungler is not the best player and Inspired is very good and I think we can abuse that.
It's all come together at the right time.
Jojo is for sure learning a lot and just taking lessons from games. I think how they played the early game was really good, but I don't really think like anyone is unbeatable.
I let my actions speak for themselves.
Remember the last time a Chinese team selected an NA team in the semifinals?
Be damned! One of the biggest moments in League of Legends history!
I know Impact does.
Team Liquid take down the reigning world champ!
You let us grow,
This one could be absolutely terrifying for RNG.
now we'll show you our true power.
执着就是追逐不可能。拿下季中冠军赛3冠，我们就是当之无愧的 MSI 之王。
Hello and welcome to Berlin for the Caster Desk. I am excited to bring you this best
Man,
of
that was a
5
good
here.
intro.
It was a good intro.
I came in with no hopium. And that intro just filled me back up. I'm
I'm
ready.
glad I'm over this way. I'm going to stay away from the NA side, you know?
Oh my goodness, that was so good though. You know, really, really epic stuff there from both sides. Even Xiaohu saying that, you know, coming in didn't have a lot of expectations for EG and now considers them having at least a chance.
I mean, they nearly took a game off them already, right? Like, that was a pretty close call, and RNG up to pip it at the end, but I definitely want to see now at EG if they can change up the game plan and take that game off of RNG now.
Well, here's the thing. History has told us that the LCS and the LPL go 50-50 at every single MSI every single year. The only time it was 0-2 in the group stage, TL took a 3-1 win in a best-of-5 to keep all things equal as they should be. What was the group stage record this time? 0-2 history. Will it repeat itself? Who knows?
All right, well, let's whittle down on this pick and ban here because Wukong off the table once again. The jungles that have been traded for the majority of this tournament have been the Viego and Lee Sin. I have really had a preference, though, towards the Lee Sin side of it now with all these playmakers.
Yeah, I will say, though, Wei, very good on that Viego. It's kind of been his bread and butter coming out of the LPL, but I think looking at this, EG, I think are going to struggle on red side throughout the drafts in this series, just because you have to ban the Lucian, you have to ban the Wukong. Then realistically, you don't want Xiaohu getting the Ahri as well, but that still means you're leaving open these like big picks for Xiaohu, like the Galio and these kind of things that are already being locked in.
Yeah, the Galio was one of the biggest pieces of the success of RNG in their last matchup with EG. Xiaohu, even before using the ultimate, just with Predator, making massive roams for RNG. So huge pickup here for the first pick for RNG. Ton of value already.
And if you're going to play dive, which Galio often wants to play alongside, if you're going for an early Xayah, I think she is a pretty strong AD carry. Obviously, there's plenty of options out there. Nocturne, also a delivery system. There's a lot of ways to approach this draft, either safety for Danny or aggression for Inspired.
And I think the critical part that EG showed in integrating Nocturne into their strategies has been denial of letting the enemy team play together, especially early on in the game. And then, of course, preying on RNG's tendencies to play side lanes later. So this is a tool to try and crack RNG's strategy.
Also, just the fact you can deny access to the Galio, right? You turn off the lights, Galio can't get into the equation, and it feels like they've kind of come in prepared for this with EG, right? They let the Galio through. Now you got Xayah, who's got self-peel. The Nocturne can get rid of the impact that this Galio can have, and it feels at least at the moment EG kind of coming in with a game plan and already knowing what RNG we're going to come to fruition with.
All right, looks like we're going to get the Gwen Gangplank trade yet again. Bin has definitely gotten the better of both sides of this matchup, so I know he's confident in locking that one in. And there are no surprises so far in game one of this draft phase, I feel like, especially if this Kai'Sa is locked in. You know, these have been the most prevalent champions, you know, barring the Ezreal that a lot of teams have started to lower their priority on. We've got the classic dive versus counter dive. Xayah versus Kai'Sa once again. Are we going to get the lock-in for impact, though, of the GP answer to the Gwen? Or are they going to mix it up and have something different? Because it hasn't quite had the success, especially in lane, at least, with that matchup.
Oh, okay, it is going to be the Gangplank. I was kind of looking, because he brought it to Mordekaiser before, which I thought was a really interesting answer to Galio, where you just, like, steal away the person that's actually the engage tool, and suddenly you don't have the Galio to be able to follow up. But Gangplank, I think, works out super well, especially when RNG are trying to play the map state. Having that kind of barrage to try and help out is going to be wonderful.
Alrighty, well, we're going to see the next raids sort of set of bans coming through. Of course, mismatched mid laners here, unless you're like Galio to support. Of course, support needed indeed by both these teams. It's not going to be the case here. Mismatched junglers means Viego ban and probably Lee Sin to follow.
Yeah, those have been the two most common, and I think it is a pretty good strategy to push way off of the more comfortable picks here, see how deep he goes. I know there's been a lot of talk if you can get him on Volibear or something.
I get a little bit nervous when I see the Volibear coming in, but Viego got, I mean, I wouldn't be surprised potentially to see that Lee Sin gone as well. And as you say, just make him uncomfortable so he ends up falling deeper and deeper down into that champion pool.
Okay, so the Twisted Fate also taken off. The possible answers there for Galio. I mean, Jojo has actually been pretty flexible for not having the deepest of champions pools. Sylas has also been super high preference for him. If we go deeper than that, though, I think they might start to have to sweat.
Yeah, that's. I think you probably are eyeing up the Sylas here as a ban, and then as you say, I'm not really sure what you want to go for because it definitely feels like looking at obviously the LeBlanc, the Zoe, the TF, now more than likely another mid lane ban. You're right the way down the pool, and especially with the AP top laner gone and the Gwen, and obviously the Gangplank locked in, you can't really opt into those AD matchups.
Exactly. I think that's the kind of the difficult scenario here, where so much AD already locked in for EG, they kind of have to go AP for him through the mid lane. Let's see what it is. The other thing with this EG lineup. Last time around, they ran the Nocturne. They also had the Gangplank, and they combined those two to try and assassinate the enemy carry, the backline. But with Gala having the Kai'Sa, you do get to reposition, to someone else with Plasma, and so it makes it a little bit hard to do that backline assassination. And they lock in the Leona to try and even further those efforts, so you can stun Nocturne Dive and Gangplank ultimate.
Yeah, I mean, it does mean that Ming will get his hands on the Nautilus, though, which has been like the pick for Ming. Not only in LPL, but also at MSI as well. Insanely good in this champion. Perfectly happy to opt into that side of the matchup as well. And now I'm looking forward to seeing if he can actually have, that Nautilus depth charge into the backline, setting up Gala to try and play very aggressive as he likes to do.
And then our final question is going to be, what is Wei actually going to play? How deep is he going to go? Is there going to be another surprise pick? Yeah, the Umbral Graves with the Zombie Ward has been super popular.
Okay.
But something to lock in with the Galio, one of these classic combinations, Cataclysm plus Galio Ultimate. Thankfully for Danny, he has the Xayah. He's going to have to make good use of that R button.
Oh. Yeah, I think that's the big one here. I wasn't sure if it's going to be the Xin Zhao or if it was going to be the Jarvan, but I do like having that early aggression here for RNG. Also just a more definitive engage tool, because definitely when you look at the Nautilus, he can provide that, but it's always nice to have a bit more in the tank.
All right, second marksman comes through actually for EG, so gonna be hard damage carry. Does give them poke tools if he wants to play the AP version of Corki. That said, there's plenty of engage for RNG. I think of the suite of Corki builds, I think auto attack maybe makes more sense here because they're gonna be in range of you. They're gonna close that gap. That's gonna be the way the team fight plays out. So something like a shield bow build or a Triforce build and just be an auto attacker, I think is totally reasonable here. But we're gonna see what comes out into this game. Xiaohu indeed does have the Galio first picked. He'll be all around the map.
Yeah, this is a pretty scary last pick for EG. You're picking a scaling kind of weak early lane phase into a poke champion later, but that just means Xiaohu on Galio gets to do exactly what he wants. He gets to roam around this map early on. I think that is going to be the biggest thing that EG have to answer. What are they going to do about Wei and Xiaohu early on in this game? Because those two have so much playmaking opportunity here. It's going to be a big, big part here for Inspired to try and get his level 6 denial Nocturne ultimates. Need to be there early, but of course the Predator for Xiaohu, he can just walk around with Wei anyway.
I mean, if you get to that late game though, holy moly, do EG have a lot in the tank. GP, Corki, Crit Xayah, like you have a ton of damage. So if you can try and slow down the pace of the game here for EG and allow yourself to scale into that point, it feels like when you get to team fights, they just have so much bang for their buck.
Well, if you want some NA Hopium, I talked with Emily before the show. She's like, yeah, even if it's a 3-0 for RNG, all of the games are going to be over 30 minutes long. She's like, RNG's going to play it slow, they're going to play it calm, they're going to play it collected. And it's like, well, if you pick scaling, 30 minutes is, when you're kind of coming online. So we'll see what's going to happen here. RNG now the favorites to win the tournament. They have won the Rumble stage. They are looking to be their third trophy here at MSI. Evil Geniuses in their first international showing, hoping to be the upset.
I'm so excited to see how this one's going to pan out. It does feel like, EG were so close to being able to take down RNG in that game. We'll have to see if they're going to be able to do kind of right the wrongs of history as Impact.
Good positioning though, right? Gets him very far from the wall. He's using Predator. That's going to be a taunt, and that's going to be a pretty good amount of crowd control. However, because he's by the wall, a flash for an anchor. That's 2 flashes. Okay, just 1 for 1 ultimately. But Ming trading his for Impact means top is very attackable.
Yeah, Impact did also have to start oranges as well to get out of the taunt there, but does come up on the Summoner spell. Maybe it will be punishable on bottom side. We'll see. Nocturne generally is a full clear champion. The other thing that we need to point out is that with that invade, not only did they trade flashes there, but they also got the ward down. You can see up top on Krugs. So if Inspired does the kind of natural red start, full side clear there, will be seen as he goes over to Krugs, and they'll get the timer on the first spawn.
Yeah, see Ming here with the sweeper just going to take out that one at Raptor, so you'll actually try to hide where Wei's starting now. More than likely you'll know anyway, just because Gala's low on mana, that they have started on the bot side, but at least trying to give Wei as much clearance on his path as possible.
Heading towards, looks like Raptors here for himself as well. Want to point out that Xiaohu did share Ward XP. He's getting level 2 off of the very first wave, despite starting Boots and starting Taunt. As long as he was in range for all this, he'll hit level 2 right off these 3 casters. But as Jojopyun is attacking the next part of the wave, he'll hit level 2 first anyway. Keeps that spike going. Bin, he won this matchup last time. Good anchor in. Vulcan reasonably tanky, but cannot hit back for Aftershock. And it's a very heavy trade. Actually, it's all 5 stacks of Plasma through, so big chunk from Gala.
Yeah, very, very big stuff there for the bottom side of the map. That ward we were talking about up by Krugs, though, doesn't get used because Inspired does not do the full clear natural with Nocturne, coming bottom side a little bit earlier. So might do that reverse after if there's no opportunities on bottom side.
I'm actually curious if you're going to try and punish Gala and Ming on bot side. Gala and Ming looking like they're trying to crash 4th wave here, and maybe you just try and get in there and actually have that sneaky gank in the early stages.
Yeah, and remember, it is the flash burned already on Nautilus, so that could be something they wanted to try and take advantage of, but Wei's coming in for that invade, and because that ward expired on Krugs, he knows that they are there. He passes, though, and the minions will see him.
Yep.
The minions pass by the opening by Krug, so now EG know he's there, and here they come for the dive.
Versus 1, has Oranges, no flash, bear lands in 1, auto 1 to Bin. Here comes the taunt, here comes the TP as well. Knock up, and a first blood comes through for RNG. Xiaohu drops turret aggro. Jojopyun just here to grab farm.
Really intelligent stuff there from RNG. Yes, they don't see the jungler on the ward, so by process of elimination, they know they can have the extra person up on top side. They dive impact.
He flashes for the smite!
True way! That's some solid jungle brain right there, baby. Splash for that Scuttle Crab.
I mean, it's the mind games, right? Get in his face, say, no, this is my jungle. But yeah, I will say, I don't think that's the most worth play I've ever seen.
Hey, he's Jarvan. He can EQ. He doesn't need the flash.
MSI and Scuttle Crabs, okay?
Yeah, I didn't want to be the one to say it, but yeah.
We've got a long history of the importance of Scuttle Crabs at MSI, and Wei is going to live on in that tradition. Honestly, though, after already pulling off the successful gank onto top side, feels like he can, expend extra resources here. We'll see if that ends up being punished, though.
Yeah, I mean, look, you've got top lane going in favor of RNG as well, but a massive advantage in that bot side as well. There's 16 CS in favor of the RNG bot lane, just with the way that they've been able to trade back and forth and being able to crash that wave. So really nice job, at least at the moment, for both side lanes for RNG.
I do want to point out as well, since last MSI, this year we had to change the Scuttle Crabs, where they reduced the experience from the first ones 80%. So even lowering that value. But we shall see. Double Scuttle vision currently for RNG because the bottom lane was also able to push up and move into the river.
Danny's got to be careful in a 1v2. We'll have to dodge the anchor. Side steps to the right, gets away from it. Ming tries to protect. Obviously some decent damage coming through here.
Rage quits instantly.
The timing on it is very comical. But obviously that was a remnant of the early start.
All right, so we're going to be okay here, but a 1,000 gold lead to RNG already. Still plenty of a bot wave to claim, so a solid 10 CS lead for Gala down here, 10 CS lead for Bin in the top lane as well, not to count the first blood on Wei himself. This is an amazing start for Royal Never Give Up.
Yeah, and I think the avenue in which it took place is the biggest thing. Bin has been very aggressive. Let's see about this Wei move on bottom, though.
Wei doesn't have his, so we cannot really guarantee much. This one, a sidestep is in. There's an Ignite on as well. Cannot get the pullback on a Wei just yet, so it won't be a kill, but he can pull back on a Ming when he needs to. Gets a root onto one. Danny, though, forced to flash and heal, staying alive. A bit overplaying his hand.
Yeah, nice job from Wei to be able to get that play onto the bottom side of the map. I actually thought we'd see RNG playing a little bit more heavily towards the bots, or the top side even. That's kind of been where RNG, at least traditionally in MSI, have been putting their presence, but helping out Gal and Ming kind of extend that control they've had over this bottom lane.
It's going to be very interesting now, too, where RNG try and pressure next, because they got Bin the early lead in the matchup here versus Gangplank, which just makes it so much more smooth for the Gwen, and Bin should be very strong for basically the entire rest of the lane phase here in the 1v1. Now that he has his ultimate, has Ignite, can put that kill pressure on Impact, but Impact has the never mind, he doesn't anymore, his ultimate was just used. The possibility of covering cross-map plays, he has to use the ultimate there to push the wave.
Yeah, I was also going to say that RNG, as you can see in the minimap, have set up like a ton of vision control in this top side. It really does feel like they're kind of giving as much breadth as, or at least movement in that top side towards Bin to know exactly where Inspired is, how much freedom he has to go aggressive in this match.
A lot of crowd control. Ming's going to be here as well. When does Jojopyun flash? Finally gets away with 300 HP. RNG left as Ming shows up a great CC chain. Puts Jojo Pyun low.
We're seeing the benefits of these bottom lane timers. Never mind.
Oh, wow. Nice jump back. Bing gets away from the slow. That might have been gankable. Obviously inspired, not 6 yet, but maybe a flash follow could have worked out.
Yeah, exactly. The flash to get into range to get the Fear Tether off. But now that they saw him, Wei finishes up on this red counter jungle.
Flash over the wall and Spark.
No,
get it back.
He doesn't have flash. I mean, he doesn't have smite. He doesn't have smite, so.
But he knows Wei's smite is small, but yeah, the timer's not going to be quite there. So inspired already, just knows, can't get it. Nice job by Wei.
So much map control, though. I mean, so RNG, let's go over the checklist that they were able to get off early in this game that got them to this really secure mid-game stage. You gank top lane, so you win this Gwen Gangplank matchup really early for Bin. Then Xiaohu as well, being able to roam over there. Bottom lane winning by its own, moves up through the river. They get double Scuttle Crabs and get a mid lane gank off to burn the flash on Jojo, so this Corki has even less safety here. RNG have just put basically the entire map for EG on the defensive here. And so EG trying to continue to scale, wait through their cooldowns here, and avoid the next Galio ult possibility here.
And it means that it's going to be really tough for them to try and get up towards his top side to contest the Rift Trail. You can see it's already started by Wei, especially with the push that Gal and Ming have on bot side. So instead, you can already see Inspire just going, right, hands off, we're just going to look to trade this for Dragon instead.
Yeah, this whole map for the early game, definitely the preference for RNG. It does mean the trade for Dragon, though, so Dragon number 1 will go to EG. RNG aren't going to be very worried about Dragon stacking, though, because they've got this early gold lead. They can very easily fight the next Dragon. They also have so much gold left to cash in with this Rift Trail and really open up that map so that they can get really high value out of their Xiaohu roams.
Yeah, and that's definitely been the way that RNG have tried to close out their games, right? Get these early leads and then look towards Soul. They have the fastest Soul time on average. They have a 40% Soul percent when you look at their games. Like, it is all about those late game Dragons for RNG.
Yeah, they'll probably get there in a little bit. One thing I want to point out, actually, for 80 carries, getting First Dragon feels really, really good if you're in the precision tree, because you get a full stack of what in your legendary, which is like, I think like 3% attack speed. It's like, okay, there's going to be a really lot of damage and impact. That's a flash, gets away from R3, will barely stay alive. Ulti's up in a second, so we can clear the wave, and actually...
Inspired is coming with Nocturne Ultimate to cover.
Yeah.
But is that going to be enough? Now, if you pop Nocturne Ultimate, you can still Galio Ultimate if you're very, very quick about it.
3v1 though, as Wei's on the way over as well. Won't kill the turret just yet, but it's getting lower and lower. Impact trying to heal back up. Pulls in the TP. Pulls in the team. Will it be enough? Huge damage. Inspired TPs flash the way. Wei knocks him down and gets out with it. Beautifully done. RNG crush the top side.
And we're not over yet. We might be looking at another one. Bane is pushing the wave in. Impact and Jojo Pyun have nowhere to go.
Oh, this is good. The Herald's going to be there to tank the turret forever. We know Impact
Ming's
low.
coming too. It's going to be 4 RNG.
This is going to be enough. Bin's going to come in. Gallion to the side. Will not find much just yet. Here's the crash and her damage towards Impact. Doesn't kill him yet. Corki's down for 1. Impact gonna follow as well. Just beautifully dancing the aggro back and forth. And Royal never give up. Just slaughtering Evil Geniuses.
Oh, it's a massacre, Freak. Top die over and over and over on the side of EG. RNG are relentless up here. Wei with the early gank. Come back again for the dive. Has Rift Herald this time as well. Xiaohu and even bring up Ming for good measure in case anything went wrong. Ming was coming to clean up the pieces. Absolute stomp here in the early game. Let's take a look at it. Xiaohu with Predator on. Blast Cone's over. They see Inspired, but they aren't too wary of it. They don't draw tower aggro, so they're able to, even in this Nocturne Ultimate, walk to the edge of that tower, and then they burst down Inspired. Wei only has to take a shot or two there before flashing out, and then they can repeat dive.
Yeah, and this is where it just gets set up beautifully as well. You have the Rift Herald there to get the charge off. Bin just walks in close enough to set up Xiaohu for the dive, which means Impact has to lead the safety of his turret. You get Jojo Pyun is stuck as well. And from that, they just juggle the aggro super well.
I like how they wait and layer their CCs too, because Jarvan EQ is probably the only missable one. So they wait for the taunt to land there, then layer it over with the EQ from Jarvan. They pick up the kill under tower, also chasing Impact to the other side and pick up that other kill. Just a very clean tower dive from RNG. They did not take any unnecessary turret shots, especially in the first run, the first part of that dive. kiting out to the top side, just outside of range. Really, really clean repeat tower dives there.
Yeah, and even at the beginning of that as well, you could see Inspired had his spell shield. He was like, oh, okay, I'm fine to try and get this tether onto Xiaohu, but you actually end up, I think it was Bane who ended up popping the spell shield early, so then the taunt from Xiaohu hits. It's all just very well coordinated, and that's why it's so terrifying playing against RNG with things like the Galio, because they're so good at these dives, and it's things we've seen over and over again in the LPL.
And Doctor, that's why I was so scared about that last pick. I was like, whoa, you're going to go scaling versus RNG? They're going to have so much playmaking opportunity early. They're taking advantage of it, Freak. Though you can still bank on, all right, just tell everybody.
We're scaling!
Exactly.
We're scaling!
The solo queue classic. Just tell all your teammates, don't worry about it. We scale it for late.
Yeah, but I'm glad you brought up the coordination, though, because just even in that fight, it's indicative of the entire series and these teams overall. The coordination of RNG is just so much better. I mean, they've been playing together for a while. Like, almost all of them won MSI together last time around, right? Like, Bin's the only really new face here for the most part. And on the EG side, like, Inspired went in before the TP was done. Like, he actually just, like, goes on a Galio in an actual 2v3, and it's like, well, you can wait till they pull aggro. Like, you can wait till Corki shows up, right? Just there's these little misfires where those mistakes really matter.
Yeah, you can tell that the defending MSI champions are much more calm on stage in the beginning of this, with especially these tower dives, where those are very exciting and intense situations when you're facing imminent life and death on the top side of the map. And RNG definitely a lot more calm in it. Meanwhile, speaking of calm, the bottom side of the map, Gala down there, they have consistently been pushing in and being able to roam up through the river. We mentioned Ming even getting all these roam timers, not just towards mid, but also towards top.
Yeah, and it's giving them a ton of control over river, and this is one of the things that when you leave Gala and Ming alone in this matchup, they can be so oppressive to deal with, and you're starting to see it. But it is kind of interesting kind of going back to that conversation of like how the trust in RNG functions, because they always talk about, Xiaohu and Ming as mom and dad. So as long as you have like Xiaohu kind of being there, it's like, come on kids, we're going to school, it's in the top lane, let's go. It always seems to kind of work out for them.
Yeah, Xiaohu seems like such an amazing, in-game leader, kind of comforting father figure to have on the team. Well, he's been on the team for 6 years with RNG. To me, Xiaohu is now the most iconic RNG player, even though so many people think of Uzi.
Yeah, and it's interesting because like people always look to him as like the Emperor of Spring, right? Whereas like, oh, this guy is gonna have his fun while Uzi's away. Then Uzi comes back, he goes back in his cage of feeding Uzi. Just like you don't get to play, but it's actually kind of become a bit of a kind of a title that he's appreciated now because he has won this spring, last spring as well in the LPL, MSI last year, but.
And they're going to find the first little bit of a slow. He's going to beat out the Fears on GP ult as well. They're trying to burn down Ben. He's getting the damage across, though. Just Drain takes the one, and reinforcements have arrived. Impact, you are going to fall, my friend. Just let Ben get another kill. 3 on the board for the Gwen.
Gwen is a silly champion.
This is definitely why you gank for the Gwen early, too, so you can get her accelerated to these power points, because this is a scaling champion, and everyone always talking about how OP the champion is talking about 1 item, 2 item, Gwen that really does scale incredibly well, and if you feed all of these early kills into it, this is a dream scenario. Remember, they also got so many of these turret plates shared, with Bin on the top side of the map, so you can 2v1 like this. Really good miss there to immune Impact's barrel chain, so these small things where you're dashing to the edge of the mist and make yourself immune. You're stacking up Conqueror the entire time, trying to get the middle of that Q, and the snip is just too strong.
Yeah, and that's the thing, right? You're talking about like scaling damage on Gwen, but you look across at Impact, right? Like you can see those barrel chains aren't really hitting hard at the moment, and especially when they end up missed because the hollow missed. So it is a little bit unfortunate.
If they get immune, they do not hit hard at all. What the hell, man?
I mean, who would have thought us?
And as you called out, Dragon stacking not a concern for RNG because they get the second one, not a problem at all. On the way to Infernal Rift, Impact just kind of taking the L side of any matchup and just clearing the way, hoping to stay alive. 5,500 gold lead as we crest 14 minutes. Turret plates fall, and RNG are absurdly ahead.
Yeah, and as you look forward, you expect them to stay absurdly ahead for, a good another 15 minutes here. Their goals for RNG is to now rotate around the map, take down the last of these outer turrets, so that they can take over jungle, and then with the support of a Galio ultimate, you can just keep on taking resources from Evil Geniuses. We will note that there are objective bounties up. That is just indicative of how far behind EGR. The earliest that those can turn on is 14 minutes, by the way, and they turn on at 14 minutes. So just saying, the game is telling you how far ahead.
We're scaling!
RNG are. And when the game is telling you at the earliest possible time, yeah, you definitely know there's a lot of work to be done there for EG. But their plan does now remain the same. Is try and stem the bleeding, get as much income as you can while not giving up, further deaths to RNG. Sometimes, though, you can even make these plays where you sacrifice someone to hard push a side lane in order to just get, die for a tower is now actually worth it if you're able to get that.
We'll see if they can, because getting access to those lanes is going to be a tough sell right now. Galio shoving out top right now. Impact got to push in bottom lane, but then left before he even crossed the river. Right now, EG knows that they have to be afraid of Wei and Xiaohu killing anyone they want.
Yeah, we probably have a decent amount of time to talk about, personal strategies when you are behind like this. So one thing that you can try and use against RNG, the fact that RNG owns so much of the map and they're going to try and play so much of it to increase the amount of resources that they're going to get over you. As the defending team, you can try and overload just one side. You're not going to be able to cover the entire map defensively because you'll get outgunned with all the extra money. So you do have Nocturne. If you make a Nocturne play with multiple members and just overload one side of the map, then maybe you can start to get kills and bounties back in. Yes, you're going to give up the other side of the map, but as the team that's behind, to me, it is always worth it to try and focus your efforts on just one area for a counterattack.
Spidey senses Impact. Oh, the anchor's going to land. Nocturne may try to show up, but will it even be enough? Knocked into the air. Impact knocked up again. Oranges auto to death. They're going to try now for the other side of the dive here. 4 versus 2. Overload the right-hand side, and they're on the board. A shutdown comes to Jojo Puppet. Here's the taunt, and they're going to start slaughtering. One's down already. Danny locked in place. Feathers fly. He's going to flee. Gala comes in. It's going to be blocked, and barely EG don't lose more, but still, advantage RNG.
And it was a right call from EG to try and make some sort of play on the bottom side, but unfortunately, you just have Xiaohu with the TP to try and come down, and I think they were just a little bit early on trying to pull this play off. When you look at the state of the map, right, you're going to Dragon in 2 minutes, Rift Herald is coming up about the same time. If you kind of held on to these big ultimates and big plays until you had both objectives on the map, maybe you can try and trade sides, but now you're just giving more across to Orange.
I would say, to be fair, if they held on to anything, Impact would just die there for free, and he's just dead. So EG are trying to bail out Impact here. As you can see, they do have a ward on Wei, and so then they see Ming pop over. They're like, oh no, Impact, get out of there! Get out of there now! And he tries to escape up the lane. But the attempt at the cover here as the Nocturne ultimate comes down, and everybody you can see on the mini-map trying to come over. They see this as a deep dive by RNG to then try and get something back, but we're already back to live.
Slams to the ground. That's going to be Danny 6 feet under. A stopwatch for Vulcan will not keep him alive. That is just a rune missing now. Mid lane out is going to drop. The gold lead grows and grows, and this is maybe an entire inhibitor, by the way. There's only been one recorded competitive loss of a team who killed an inhibitor pre-20 minutes, and it was a Giga throw. It always wins if you kill an inhibitor pre-20, basically.
I mean, look, we'll have to see. At least it'll get a charge onto the turret, but it looks like they're going to back away. And I think this is kind of the right call, as you say. RNG just wanted to try and play the map. 50 seconds till the Dragon. And, I mean, with Mythics across the board, a second item as well for Gala now, it just feels like it's impossible for EG to try and contest this.
Okay, deep breath.
Yeah, you don't contest that. You go top lane, you're like, there's a bounty over there. Yar!
Yeah, let's go down the list here. Looks like the biggest bounty is on Gwen. Gwen's pretty hard to kill, though.
The top turret, the bounty is about as high as Gwen's bounty. You just go there instead and you hope. Joji Pin's on the way. I want to see, Leona's shouting up that way. Nocturne's on that side of the jungle. You get 700 gold, 750 or more if the bounty's scaled. That's straight for the Dragon. That's always the hope here. And you can see 4 members top side.
Honestly, try and plunge the map into chaos here. Is your goal when you're behind and you're trying to scale. So
look at this.
Here is the overload on top side. They aren't actually going to get anybody, but the timing is there, and that is consistent, right? They know the Dragon is up, so there will at least be some members of RNG on the other side of the map. And they're fishing around for top side to try and get a comeback play.
Yeah, it's really hard, though, when you look at the amount of vision RNG having that top side, right? The entire river is just littered with wards, so Bin knows at the moment that he's totally fine. No one's going to be going for that gank, even have Ming up there to try and cover. So at least you can see RNG are in position to make sure that you're going to be okay to stop the cross map.
Yeah, sometimes the only safe path is to go for these lane ganks where you just go through lane where you know your minions are, and there's least likely wards, and then hide in the brush and wait for your opportunity that way. Because as you're saying, if you go through any neutral territory, it's very likely RNG already have it warded, and you'll be seen.
Just the farm taken, and it's cannon wave, so you're going to lose. Generally speaking, anytime there's a cannon wave and you're like showing up at all, you lose at most of a melee minion, then the cannon takes aggro and you get there. So here we are. Bin can show up quote-unquote late to the lane. Not really even late. Drops at most 1 CS, gets the entire thing. Good job. 196 CS, 215 on Gala, by the way.
Also, it's just 2-item Gwen pre 20 minutes. To me, it's just, I'm so fearful.
I'm real sorry, guys.
It's okay. We rip off the first game like a Band-Aid.
Yeah.
You know,
okay, perfect.
Refocus mental.
Yeah, honestly, I think really in this game, hold on, they're gonna fight, so I have to take myself a second. I was gonna.
Okay.
Yeah, we're
prepare yourself.
We're setting ourselves around Baron. It's 20 minutes on. EG really hoped this was T1 on the opposing side, but no. RNG gonna play the Baron setup pretty well. Pretty safely. Spell shield on Ming's Q.
And look at the split push, too. I like this call from EG because they're trying to poke around Baron while sending Impact bottom, but looks like the recall from Impact is coming off, so they're just going to all in 5v5.
Ming might have to flash this one, going to get rooted in place. Here comes the dive. Will it be enough? Nocturne going to come across. Ming stays alive, and down goes Nocturne. 1 for 0 so far. TV coming in for the gangplank. Will it be enough? Bin dropped a bit. Low dunk onto 3. Here comes Galio, and it's going to be everyone immuning it, but Gangplank's already dead. Vulcan might be next. Here comes Xiaohu. Here comes Gala, and he's been invited to the ball. A double kill, absolutely beautiful. A triple for the man, and that's going to mean Baron comes through.
Are you kidding me? RNG, they keep getting each low health member cycled out of the team fight. First, they cover for Ming, get him out of there. Then Bin used the mist, and they had to get him back out. Here's the Hail Mary steal from JoJo. Can he do it? Big one down.
He's going to hope the package is going to be smoked. Well played. He's going to flash to safety. A nice, valiant effort. Nah, Bin's going to be fine. Jojo Pion attempts it, but a good smite by Wei.
I mean, I actually think EG played that fight incredibly well. The fact it was as close as it was, given the goal difference, just kind of says a lot about that. You can see here, right, like Jojo Pion trying to poke away, and they actually do a pretty good job of trying to split up RNG and like buying space for the backline of EG. Like Nautilus goes in here, we kind of get this back off once more, so you're constantly playing at range in these fights and not allowing like Gala, the short range, to get involved in this equation.
Yeah, it was so cool how when Ming goes in and he's low health, then all of a sudden Xiaohu and Bin both step up to each side of him and peel for him and allow him to get out. And then Bin has no more cooldown, so then they make an avenue for Bin to get out, and Wei goes in being the front line. They just keep rotating their front line over, and that's how RNG get out of this without dropping anyone. Then Jojo knows our only hope is around Baron. Maybe we can get a steal with the tick damage. Maybe Wei panic smites and gets it low, or maybe they can hope for some Baron regeneration. I know they on live took the level up out of the game for Baron, at least delaying it 30 seconds if it's being attacked.
And even still, he could have smited during the team fight, right?
Yeah.
Like there's a totally reasonable chance that he just doesn't have smite at all, and then hey, it's a 30-70, but like I might tick it. So yeah, the best chance you could have made, obviously RNG. A class above so far in this game.
Honestly, if Bin didn't have the Hollowed Mist, I wasn't sure he just wasn't going to start murdering people in that pit. Like, they were very low after that fight, but now RNG on the bottom tower, and EG will have to back away.
They certainly will.
yeah, that's where it's going down. You saw Ming try. You saw a shield barely get broken. Wei pretty much just immune to Gangplank barrels right now. His Impact hopes to get to a second and third item, but game's probably not going to go that long. Looking at probably sub 30. It would be a miracle of a comeback, a 13,000 gold difference. Okay, 12K. I'll try not to round up. Sorry, it's closer than I said it was going to be, but we're on the way to Azonius here for Bin, and obviously Xiaohu has just been pretty outstanding. 2-0-9 on him. Gala 5-0.
Yeah.
And we're looking for a bit more.
Yeah, that's the super scary thing too. Gala in that last fight picked up so many of the last hits. This is an incredibly rich Gala Kai'Sa at the moment as well, and he's ready to dive in. So the next dive from RNG, they certainly have the money to pull it off even inside the EG base under tower fire.
Don't worry, Gala has never had any game-defining plays on Kai'Sa, so we'll be all right. We'll be okay.
Definitely uncomfortable in this pick.
To be fair, I feel like the game has already been defined.
It's in the dictionary. There are no alternate definitions. It's like, this is the game.
Yeah.
RNG finding the third dragon.
Obviously, an incredible opening here for RNG. And we can refocus on the fact that this is a best of 5. RNG looking very well situated here to clean it up. EG are going to try and scale. You know, they have some poke damage, but opening up game number 1 with no real like crazy picks in the best of 5, I do expect there to be some very interesting champion options that do come up, because anything you've been hiding in the tournament has to come out now for EG.
Kobe, I can sum up your point on RNG, which is that I am not surprised by how well they have played in this match right now.
Where's the graphic?
Oh, yeah, sorry, I gotta hit the button again. All right, apparently I don't know how to do this. There was supposed to be a scare price graphic. We'll try again in game 2, and we'll try again. But Jojo Pyun gonna get taunted into place, rooted in place, and just dies. The killing spree here for Xiaohu, and they're gonna try to maybe turn them around, but this is gonna be Inspired dropping as well. A flash to safety. Nah, Wei's gonna EQ, flash R, dunk, and set up for a little bit more. Already 3 kills have been found. Danny's on the way out. Bin would love to find the 4th kill. The team fight won't quite get it here, but the middle inhibitor is gonna drop.
I mean, RNG now starting to put their foot on the pedal. You got Wave and topside here as well, so they're just going to rotate over and pick up that one. With only 2 members of EG here, this is going to be a very difficult hold.
Gonna try, but it's not gonna be enough here. 10 seconds of the respawns from many of them. Double inhibitor gonna drop. We'll see if they play for the Nexus itself. Still 2 minutes on Barons, not much else to play for. They're playing inside the base for sure. This is gonna be the look at any of the game. Almost through for Xiaohu. In waves go down. RNG will indeed take one more shopping trip, spend about, I would say, about 1.5K per person, and then go again.
I do like this move as well, and we can tell, we've been talking this whole game how RNG, the veterans, have really been showing their composure on stage here. You know, they were never rushed, even in early tower dives. They never felt pressure. They always waited just until the right moment here. And now that they're so far ahead in a best of 5, sometimes it does help the mental game to let that sink in on your opponents, you know, make them wait, make them sweat in base, and just realize how far behind you are. You're trying to destroy them for the rest of the series as well. Just let that sit in, and you kind of build up this aura of invincibility. You know, EG already know that they're the underdogs, but if you make them sit there and feel how far behind they are in this game, then sometimes you can get them to play even more scared in the next game.
Yeah, oh, hold on, we got a fight going on right now. They're gonna find that first taunt. Vulcan, they're gonna have a hard time getting away from this one. There we go, attacks come in. Gala is godlike, and we're gonna find the next little bit pretty soon. Jojo Pyun able to get away, burning his flash and Valkyrie.
Yeah, I mean, look, I definitely agree with the whole kind of try to break the mental, but I feel like if there's one person that you can't break the mental of, it's Jojo Pyun. Like, no matter how hard you try. I mean, what was his tweet earlier today? It was like, I'm sending
Xiaohu back to top lane.
Yeah.
After this game, he'll tweet another trash talk tweet.
Yeah.
Let's get it.
I'm ready.
All right, well, final inhibitor to drop right now. We are 27 minutes into the game, but we've got maybe the chance to dive. A good package, a lot of damage here. He'll burn down. He'll actually die just a death stance, but the G will keep him up for now. Inspired tries to buy some time, but Gala's on the way, then dives the backline. Looks for kill number 2 and 3. It's already just EG dropping. Their lair has been found. They've been evicted. It's burning to the ground, and that's going to be game 1 going to RNG.
Yeah, Inspired has to watch out from outside as his house gets taken. Gala flashes, but the Nexus falls.
Beautifully played. Definitely a cut above here in game 1. Expectation was that RNG were the better team. This has been shown so far in this series.
So, lessons learned again, and this has been shown so many times, especially on the international stage. You have to have at least one winning lane. It is so incredibly difficult to win a game with no winning lane, and picking a lot of scaling and then having a gank, a successful gank for the top side to the Gwen lane for RNG was just so perfect for them, because bottom lane had priority the entire time by themselves, constantly moving up into the river, getting Scuttle Crab, ganking mid, and then top lane getting so much resources, so much pressure from RNG was a huge win in their early game planning there for RNG.
Yeah, I definitely think though as we start to move into game number 2, they'll have a bit of an easier time. It feels like red side just kind of sucks for EG because you got to ban so many like Wukongs, Lucians, and even the Aries. So I'm hoping come into game 2 where I imagine they'll be on blue side. You can actually mix up the bans a little bit more and get rid of things like the Galio and put a bit more pressure on towards RNG to ban away some of the LPs.
Yeah, I think they need some early game champions as well to put that pressure on.
The only problem is sometimes the skill level is going to be too much for you. I don't think almost any matchup is going to have impact winning that one up against Bin, but we'll have to see what champs look like in the future games. Now, during the Rumble stage, EG took down PSG Talent to secure their spot into the semifinals. Let's review that game. It sounds the game presented by Bose.
My TP, you can TP to them. TP on this ping, they will not know someone is in it. Just TP, they will try to kill you. Look, they think he's alone. Don't get Nautilus ulted.
Yep, I'm trying to follow.
I saw it.
Look on. Oh, I'm looking up. I'm in ping.
Okay.
Look Vex. Okay, we're flash over. She flashed.
We can finish mid maybe.
Okay. Looking Leona.
Can we finish or do we go Baron? Can we defend top wave?
No, we can't. Maybe GP can.
Okay, go Nash. The moment Leona ults, I will just ult for vision. They can't follow.
On my ult. Okay.
I mean, I can block
that.
I'm blocking up.
I'm trying to aggro a little bit more. Yeah, I'm looking aggro too.
I'm looking Lee.
Oh, it's
good try. This is good. Just we need help.
Kill Lee.
Kill the Lee.
Slow down. Vex, I got fair. Vex on flash, has one though.
Vex, look Vex.
I will ult Kai'Sa.
No ult on Kai'Sa. Guys, I have double R. Chase.
Okay.
Nice speed roll. Just help. Nice.
Okay,
Valkyrie, you land. Nice. We are insane.
We're not on stage, boys.
Oh no, I didn't get. I almost got 100% KP.
The world is watching. Get on board. Check the lanes. Pay attention to the best. Join the ranks. Be the challenger. All in for the trophy. This is for all senses. This is for all players. Buckle up. Take notes. MSI 2022. Driven by Mercedes EQ.
Behind 14 epic days of epicness. Behind 61 million hours of dropped jaws. Behind every match, every broadcast, every moment at League of Legends MSI 2022 is the network capable of making it all happen. The Cisco Network, aka The Realm. Cisco, powering the future of esports.
It's like a dream on the sky, but it's real in my sight. I see we're in the city of wonder. Dreamed up on the sun, riding high, below the bright, getting right. Come join us for a little right gift. Magic in the air tonight.
Yeah, I can't change the culture. I see the hate, so say what you say, cause I gotta watch for the vultures. Why I'm too nice, you see the ice, plus I'm only getting colder. You just tryna flex like you got next, really you know that it's over. Yeah, hey, I don't need no co-star, been gone like so far. Plus I'm catching all the rays from the sun, give me power like I'm solar. You cannot catch the drip, yeah, that is unless you a coaster. And we up, yeah, way up, yeah, they gon' put this on a poster. I got many dreams, I got plenty things that I wanna see. Will I put that on me? Yeah, I got many dreams, I got plenty things, yeah, that I wanna see. Will I put that on me? Yeah, I got many dreams, I got plenty things that I wanna see. Will I put that on me? Yeah, I got many dreams, I got plenty things that I wanna see. Will I put that on me? Yeah, I put that on me. Yeah, I put that on me. Walk tall, see the car, do another smile, I'ma be the greatest. Good luck keeping up everything I can, you know what the name is. Plus I've been through the training, straight shot how I'm aiming. Never stop, try to put me in a box, boy, you can never frame this. I am what you might be, too fast and I'm too strong. I might juke y'all like I'm lightning, spook y'all like I'm frightening. They ain't never seen it like me, got my team right beside me. High tide, I'm rising, my time that's timely. I got many dreams, I got plenty things that I wanna see. Will I put that on me? Yeah, I got many dreams, I got plenty things, yeah, that I wanna see. Will I put that on me? Yeah, I got many dreams, I got plenty things that I wanna see. Will I put that on me? Yeah, I got many dreams, I got plenty things that I wanna see. Will I put that on me? Yeah, I put that on me. Yeah, I put that on me. Yeah. every step, yeah, yeah. I got now, don't know who got next. Just like that, better every step. I got now, don't know who got next. Just like that, better every step, yeah. I got now, don't know who got next. Just like that, better every step. I got many dreams, I got plenty things that I wanna see. Will I put that on me? Yeah, I got many dreams, I got plenty things, yeah, that I wanna see. Will I put that on me? Ready or not, we letting it go.
Welcome back to MSI 2022. I want to go through that clean top dive by RNG in Neighborhood Tactics presented by State Farm. It was a pretty dominant win from RNG, and we already ran you through a Telestrator earlier on the day, but I wanted to reiterate once again how much work Xiaohu does from the mid lane and how well he works with the rest of his team. So let's start this playoff already by showcasing how the map is being set up. So you'll notice that Xiaohu is looking to get push in mid. You'll also see that a wave is being stacked up towards the top side of the map, with Wei clearing the blue and Xiaohu already on his way up. Now, the thing is for EG is that they know this play is about to happen. You can see Inspired trying desperately to get to the top side to try and cover. The back is coming through from Jojo Pyun to be able to TP up towards the top side of the map. But the execution here from RNG is what I want you to pay close attention to. So, first of all, notice again, they're trying to chip away at Impact. He doesn't use the ultimate, but then the ultimate and the TP come through. Notice here how the shield gets blocked initially so that he still gets taunted by Xiaohu. Impressive stuff so that they can immediately focus down Inspired, one of the squishiest members being that he's only level 6 to the level 7 and level 8s from the side of RNG. So with Inspired dropping, they realize, okay, that's a good first kill. Now they're going to re-engage, recognize that, hey, if we actually get them to stay underneath the tower, Jojo doesn't have any mana. Xiaohu is acting as like guard sentry duty to prevent them from escaping. And then the Herald comes down as well to make the pressure all the more stronger. And keep your eyes on what Xiaohu does here, because he's going to create the play that makes this dive so effective and so easy. He's going to ultimate to separate Jojo and Impact from one another to create these isolated small skirmishes where Wei can set up the CC onto Jojo, who doesn't have any mana left, and then Impact on the low health will get burst down by the other members of RNG. He gets killed by Bin, the kill comes through onto Jojo, and all three walk away alive, with Ming realizing, I guess there was nothing that I needed to do in this play anyway. A beautiful early game dive execution from RNG, once again illustrating why they are the powerhouses coming into this series. Now I'm going to hand it over to Dash and the other analysts.
Thank you very much, Vedius. I like to call it on Ming. It just goes to show, I mean, one, how good this team is, but two, the fact they're willing to commit more resources than needed to make the play work. That top lane, I mean, from level 1 as well, we have to acknowledge how it was set up to completely hold Impact down with dive after dive after dive.
I was going to say, that was great targeting by RNG from the get-go, realizing that that's more of a 50-50 matchup, right? So they're like, okay, we're going to just make this a lot less playable for Impact from the get-go. I thought that was really smart targeting. Bot lane definitely did not go EG's way. And so another thing that you had prior to that play that Vedi brought up, which is just awesome because it mirrors what he brought up in Countdown, right? Is that Ming did have those roam timers and he was able to affect mid.
Yeah, and I think just looking at the draft holistically, right, and talking about mid, I think a lot of us in the back kind of questioning the Corki pick. And just overall, like, I think coming in with scaling is fine against RNG, but coming into a matchup where you really don't have too much agency, and I feel like the fact that your mid jungle has so much more agency than the other side, right? Nocturne not going to do much pre-6. Corki going to take a long time to ramp up. When you have a 50-50 matchup top, sure, the level 1 was great and set everything up even easier, but even then, I feel like you just have such a disparity in mid-jungle and ability to move that it would impact that matchup regardless.
Now, to be fair to Jojo, he did tweet out that he's going to send Xiaohu back to the top lane, and I'd say he's already achieved just that. Xiaohu spent more time in the top lane in this game than he did in the mid lane on that Galio. Speaking of which, we do have to re-hit our mid lane matchup presented by Mercedes-Benz. It was the battle of the generations, as we talked about, the experience of Xiaohu against the young gun in Jojo. Again, going to question the champion choice, but re-hitting some of those same statistics that we had looked at the top of the day, you can see that jungle proximity for Xiaohu. But again, that's not jungle proximity in his lane. That's jungle proximity as he's roaming around the map along with Wei.
Yeah, and this is what he's always done, right? This is standard Xiao. It's something he knows so well. And Xiao, despite being someone who, again, could come out of lane, look for the 1v1s, try and win out, has just always been better at this style because of his wealth of experience, his years of being able to play the map. And again, sadly, I mean, Jojo didn't even really try to match it this time around, but also didn't go the other way that we wanted earlier of saying like, hey, attack this man in the mid lane.
Yeah, exactly. That's the thing I was going to hit on because, like, obviously, Xiaohu can control an entire game with Galio, even if things are going less in RNG's favor than they did in this match. We've seen it in LPL. The big thing we wanted to see out of Jojo, though, and this is not the first Corki pick for Jojo that I have disliked. I have talked about this in LCS for a while. But again, it just doesn't give you as much agency around mid jungle. And I realize that EG definitely want those scaling options. They're thinking back to that T1 game and they're like, okay, you know, if we do have a really strong 5v5 scaling fight, we can take some of these games, which I don't think is wrong necessarily, but with that also being the case, like, you still need something early.
Yeah, okay, so here's what I want to do. I want to try and fix the draft, right? Because ultimately, I don't want to go much further than the play that Vedius showed. From that point onward, it was pure dominance out of RNG, aside from one decent look around the Baron, but even then, no kills going the way of EG. In place of that, Corki, what is the answer, right? Because if you are going to accept that the Galio is going over, particularly when you're on the red side of the map and you've got to give something up, what's the proper response? What would we have rather seen?
I don't know, honestly. I think you'd have to shift the entire draft around, right? Because, like, obviously, they went with the first pick, Nocturne. They're like, okay, we do want these side lanes that might have a little bit more pressure so we can play around. I would like to see something that has a push, like more of a push, because Corki, while he is like a late scaling champion, he doesn't necessarily get the push in lane against Galio, and so he's not really going to be able to match those roams, even in a better situation where the game doesn't go this way.
All right, well, Lyric, I've got a different question for you then, because we just received side selection for game number 2, EG with the choice. They're going to hop to blue side. They want first pick. They want that priority, maybe freeing up a ban or two as well, considering things like Lucian being perma'd throughout the tournament. What's their recipe for success here in game 2? We've talked about the versatility, different strategies. Do they just reject game plan number 1 and go a completely different direction?
Yeah, and I think, you know, we're talking about in the back of maybe EG take the Galio. I don't know if I care to see that myself. Again, since you do have more open bans, since you don't have to ban theoretically things like the Lucian, take that away. I think just wait, because you know Xiaohu's going to pick something early on in draft, get a more aggressive matchup in the mid lane to be able to just kind of hone in on that. If he goes with something like the Galio, again, they're just going to be trying to play RNG style, but not as good as RNG.
And moving slightly away from the mid, but kind of what we've been talking about with the mid jungle 2v2, I thought the J4 pick, first of all, it's a Wei staple. It's an LPL staple, to be honest. But in addition, it allowed him to have a lot more map movement than Inspired, who's going to be trying to farm up on that Nocturne. So I'd also like to see a more proactive jungle pick out of EG to help try to facilitate lanes, because as Jordan said at the top of the day, when we've seen EG have success, he has been able to affect lanes and have more pressure to get his carries ahead.
I'll even chuck one more thing in there. I'd like to see EG come in with an aggressive level 1 plan, just the way that RNG did. Dictate something straight out the gate. We'll see if they can make it happen in game number 2. It's EG versus RNG. Back over to the casters.
Thank you very much, Dash. Now listen, I'm going to continue to deliver hopium for the LCS crowd until there is none left. EG have been 3-0'd by RNG at this point. Rumble stage games, first game of BO5. EG, you are now in the lower bracket. It is time to run the table. You have made it to the lower bracket. It is time to come alive. You're scaling. The notes have been taken. This is the time, right? This is the do or die moment.
On the opposite side.
This is the do or die moment now for EG.
True. Jojo said they're a best of 5 team, and that first game was a best of 1. So now it's actually a full series.
Right, the full series.
Honestly, though, blue side should have the biggest effect here, the biggest change for Evil Geniuses. That's the key takeaway, I feel like, from the analyst says, talking about they actually have more freedom with bans now. Red side is really pinned down. So let's see what they actually want to target now that they're opened up a little bit of freedom on blue side.
Yeah, I imagine that you're going to just let like the Wukong and the Lucian band go over towards the opposite side. Oh, okay, yeah, Kai'Sa just taken off the board. I feel like you still go back towards things like the Galio anyway, because you can see that Xiao is pretty happy to just try and pick that off rip. So I definitely think that you're looking at EG trying to see if they can solidify like a stronger bot lane for themselves, get Jojo into a good matchup in the mid lane, and even if we can get him onto something where he's the one that's actually able to roam a little bit first, could be a great option.
Yeah, I definitely don't think they should opt for scaling from mid lane. You know, so much success for EG is him constantly fighting and trying to press matchups. So see if they can do that here. The Galio is off the table after back-to-back defeats at the hands of RNG's Galio. I think this is a necessary adaptation from EG. So ban away that one, getting out his, you know, the predominant roamer here from Xiaohu.
Is this Wukong? Is this Kalista? Thinking of the things EG banned away, because they have very rarely played any Wukong. They are leaving it up because I think there's at most one game from Inspired on the pick. There have been several times I've seen them ban it on blue side, if I recall correctly. So Gwen on the table, they're just banning what RNG played in the previous game. There's like a 62 KDA and Gala. It's like 43-0-19, something absurd. Like, that one's good to get away, but we'll see if it's enough to protect the rest of the lanes.
Yeah, I'm curious now if RNG actually leave open like the Wukong, they ban the Kalista, and then you get the trade, right? Because the Ahri is the big pick if you end up leaving the Wukong open. So they'll go, right, well, what do you want, DG? Do you take the Ahri or do you take the Wukong? But we're still getting the opposite side.
Yeah, I feel like for sure it's Ahri, because mid champ pool is so much more pressured for EG than jungle champ pool, I feel like. Inspired has a wide breadth that he can you know, pick from, even if you do give up the Wukong. But mid lane pick has been really hard for them to nail down, and the Ahri does so many things so well.
So I will say Xiaohu does like to play the Vex into the Ahri and has been domestically very good on it. We haven't got to see that at MSI yet. I mean, well, we've seen the Vex, just not the good performance on the Vex at MSI. So I'm hoping that we might see a little bit of a step up here from Xiaohu if he wants to go towards that pick.
The one thing I actually been a little bit surprised by, though, is specifically the Kalista ban, because to me, red side, I love this draft, by the way. Trade 1 for 2, right? If Ahri's best mid laner, Wukong's best jungler, and if Kalista's the best remaining AD carry, give them 1, the Ahri, and take 2 yourself. So is there something else RNG considers really top tier, also S tier, or is like, actually, we'd rather Xayah unanswered than like Kalista for Xayah, right? Like that would be the, like play out of that strategy. And obviously Xayah has been high priority, so grabbed up here.
I think personally, to me, I don't have the Kalista as valued as high as some of these you know, frequent bans. You know, the Kalista hasn't had that success, so kind of the differentiator there. And they actually go with a little bit of counter dive here, picking up the Xayah for themselves. Even with the Kai'Sa ban. So RNG, they get some team fight there with Wukong, but also protection for Gala.
I like this.
All right.
Great.
EG going back to what they found so much success with in North America, the Ornn, the straight up team fight for them. Now all that's left is to pick up a bottom lane, some scaling damage there for Danny. And this will look very, very safe for the EG lineup. Very comfortable as far as their picks.
Yeah, and I think that's the big thing here for EG. I like the fact, as the desk was saying as well, like going for these late game fights, but having things where you can actually have a bit of presence in this mid lane. Like the Charm being able to set up for the Viego is wonderful, and trying to fight back against whatever Xiaohu wants to go for. And even here you can see, right, because we're going into the second draft phase, now you get to ban away things like that Vex that we were talking about. Things that can be a little bit more difficult for Jojo Pyun to manage with this Ahri.
I'm going to champion the idea of going for like a Senna Tahm Kench kind of role here on the EG side. You've got Ahri and Viego as big carry. Senna does enough damage to be like a 2.5 threat comp. I think that actually works out here. So I'm expecting, okay, well, there you go. RNG also playing that angle.
Yeah, there's still the color caster in the end for you.
I mean, Danny, we've been waiting so long for Danny to get a lot of Senna games in. He has played it so much in practice, and not going to get the chance this time around. Of course, there for EG, they want to continue to ban out possible mid lane answers to the Ahri. The Vex as well. So some of the other ones that have been kind of used into the Ahri, you know, like the Veigar.
Zoe.
Not really as scary. Yeah, the Zoe, especially in the hands of like Faker and whatnot, has been more scary. Xiaohu, though, not really had to show the rest of that hand. So honestly, I don't even know if they really have to follow it up.
Yeah, I'm curious if he even falls back towards a little bit more of a boring matchup and just goes towards something like the Victor, right? And then you just try to play these big circle comps with the Gangplank Gold, the Wukong spinning, and you get the Victor gravity field as well, just to try and like deny a lot of the team fight from EG, try and separate out these fights. But we'll have to see as we start to roll.
I think given the team comp they already have, to me the most likely or that they would want for RNG would be the Zoe. You know, Gangplank has possibilities of those long-range barrel chains as well that are kind of semi-poke. And if you throw down the ultimate, you can get slows down there to set them up. But they do have frontline team fight already with the Wukong.
Twisted Fate going lower and lower, back to Silas.
He's got so many options.
I mean, okay, Lissandra gonna have lock-in, and yeah, I think Veigar doesn't really fit the playstyle of RNG. The comps in general mostly go forward. Zaya's not great at that, but Gangplank and Wukong are trying to kind of push forward, so Lissandra fits that one pretty well. I think Tristana is actually a better pick than Jinx here. I look at this comp and I'm like, I would hate being Jinx's comp. Every single one of them is gonna make your life miserable. Tahm Kench makes it a little bit more bearable. I think Trist would have fit just for a little bit better self-peel. Even laning phase is going to be tough here.
Yeah, but this is EG, as we said, just refocusing all the way back on, all right, pure team fight. Danny gets pentakills with Jinx.
Yep,
they get those Baron fights, and that is their hopes. The Vulcan is the Band-Aid on top of that very difficult AD carry life that you're mentioning. As you're saying, though, I do feel like there's so much dive here and long-range access to a Jinx on RNG that he's going to have to do a lot to keep him safe. Meanwhile, for Xiaohu, the Lissandra pick, you know, after that Zoe that we were talking about was banned away, is right up the alley for Xiaohu to allow him to still have those really impactful roams. Because Lissandra, so different from the Veigar, where you can actually go from roams really early on with level 6, with the access to that ultimate and make big plays for either of the side lanes, which Xiaohu has been so good at.
Yeah, and he's also been great on flanks when it comes towards team fights as well, which Lissandra in this composition is going to have a ton of fun with. It feels as, I mean, Freak was already kind of saying, like, Danny, I don't know how he's going to get away with things here. Even the Gangplank Gold to start things off means that he's already on difficult footing.
Yeah, but thankfully for EG, they've invested in other carries as well, inspired on his Viego for his LEC MVP award. He got the pentakill with the Viego, and of course they invested first pick in the Ahri for Jojo as well. So this time around, they do have some more options for the early game. And then, of course, Impact holding it down with the Ornn for later to hand out the upgraded items.
Overall, I think if there's an EG draft, this is kind of it. I think the best performing members are jungle mid. I would say overall for the tournament, I would say Inspired and Jojipyeon have looked the best across the entire, at least Rumble Stage Plus. And so they're on the big carries. They're on the ones to make the impact here, and I think they can look pretty good against their opposite members. And we'll see if it's going to be enough here. Inspired has one extra split of pro play. He is the more veteran than Wei, right? He's got that 6 extra months of experience. We'll see if it happens here. Otherwise, we are on to the Rift for Game 2 of the series. EG, I'm just going to call it. Lower bracket. Here's the run. Can it happen as we go on to the Rift?
I mean, look, the blue side definitely going to be favoring them a little bit more. I mean, you can see it, definitely a comfort style of draft for EG. And if he can get those resources into Danny, we've seen what he can do when he's on this Jinx.
We've also seen what Bin can do on Gangplank at MSI, and they very well know that in Europe as well. So always scared to see Bin on the Gangplank and those barrel chains coming through. Big, big possibilities here for dive for RNG later, but of course, early lane phase was so impactful last time around. RNG also just had a much better early game plan where Wei went for the early gank onto the top side to critically get this Gangplank behind when it was in the hands of Impact and accelerate Bin.
And a lot of that was Xiaohu making his way over. Our featured matchup here, presented by Mercedes-Benz, is, of course, RNG's mid laner Xiaohu versus EG's mid laner Jojipyeon. And, I mean, their laning phases both are very good. You know, Jojipyeon's top 3 in a lot of the same stats that Xiao is number 1 in. But he spent a lot of time up there and did so much for the squad. So had looked good. Ultimately, though, we'll see if Xiaohu once again has that same incredible impact rushing the top side.
Yeah, and Wei can actually help Xiaohu get out of lane. A lot of times, you'll hear pro players talk about unlocking a lane to be able to make a play later. So if jungle goes to mid lane to help them either gank and get a health lead, force a recall, push out the minion wave, then you kind of unlock Xiaohu to come make the next consecutive play with you. And that just bolsters your ganking power by going to basically get your mid lane partner to come with you beforehand. So heavy trading already in mid lane. Xiaohu fighting over this minion wave.
Yeah, I definitely feel like, though, at least for RNG, probably going to be taking a little bit slower in these early stages, at least pre-6, right? Because Wei definitely comes online when you hit that level 6 with the ultimate. Same you look at Xiaohu wanting to have multiple ways of providing that CC for these ganks. And I'm pretty sure, like, when you look towards the bot side as well, with Gal and Ming, that's where we're going to see a lot of these plays
He might just be dead. Yeah. I mean, he's dead to, like, Flash Q, basically. Okay, doesn't want to go through it. Wouldn't quite have the damage on Flash Q. Yep. Waits it out, but yeah, Impact already down his Flash. Really well played by Ben.
Yeah, potion ticking there. Jungles as well, up to the top side now. Both junglers starting bottom quadrants and pathing up towards this very aggressive top side lane where Impact and Bin have been trading heavily. Either solo lane is actually very volatile right now. So very curious to see where each of them goes.
Worth noting, Jujupon actually up in CS in the lane despite Xiaohu's incredible pressure. He has dropped CS to do so. So Jujupon, as long as his health bar, you know, holds up, is actually quote-unquote winning the lane just for now. Obviously, again, with pressure, Xiaohu can try to get around the map, get more stuff done. Top, obviously pretty spicy here, was inspired. Finishes up the first camp. That's going to be almost the kill. He's 1 in from dead, but gets the potion in time to stay alive. But now it's going to be enough because a flashless Xiaohu is gankable.
Yep, flashless Xiaohu, but he's got a ward on the top side of the map. So really good, you know, cycling of vision there for RNG. They were able to surmise that it was a bottom side start for the Viego. They've got a ward in the back.
But outside, Danny could just be dead. Choppers come down. He's walking away, but not fast enough. Saves his flash, but dies. Well played, RNG.
Gal and Ming have been such a dominant lane in the 2v2, and we're seeing it once again. Danny falling afoul of that, and Wei now hovering on the top side. Impact has no flash.
And ultimately can't get much of an aggressive trade down there, not running grasp or anything, so slowly gonna run out of health as Wei kind of holds the top side. 6 camp clear, sitting up there, covering, as there's not too much pressure. I believe doesn't get seen walking up here.
Exactly, and that's the key word, is covering right there, because Bin wants to get the lane in.
That'll be some good damage. No flash, he could die. Red buff, auto, nicely done. Wei shows up for one final trade, knocks him down.
Yeah, that's it. Just no flash there for Impact means he's in trouble. And that's the big problem when you talk about trying to cover for Inspired, because Danny is in trouble on the bot side. Impact now in trouble in the top lane. And realistically, if you want to try and get your lanes ahead, trying to play around Xiao, who has no flash, is the best way for EG to try and get some gold back. So for Inspired, it feels like he's so many things that he needs to try and do right now.
Yeah, I think #1 priority is to try and do something about this flashless Lissandra before she gets level 6. Xiaohu right now is vulnerable. It's actually an area that they could combat.
Here we go.
Yeah, could look pretty good. Nice route there. Xiaohu staying behind the minions, but a stun could land. Remember, no flash. Charm will land the kill. Hand it over to Jojopyun. Well played by the mid-jungle duo to get back on the board.
Ah, it's the caster buff, not the caster curse. Mid lane targeted, they get something back there, and that's 1 kill. EG, very critical that they're able to dig some early game gold back out of this, because it was looking like trending towards, again, a full map pressure for RNG, but off of the mid lane kill, it opens it up, gives you that breathing room. Steal away the Raptors a little bit here for Inspired. Can he finish any of them, though?
Looks like he wants to just take his recall. I think Charm should have been back up. They wouldn't have killed Wei by any means, but valuing tempo over a trade that wouldn't have done much, so no steal on the Raptors.
Yeah, I love that they were targeting Xiaohu in the mid lane, though, for Inspired, because it basically the entire game plan for RNG has been Xiaohu as the puppet master. And honestly, the games where I've seen EG really pop off has been Jojopyun with these great roams, being able to play towards the side lanes. So having that moment now where Jojopyun can push in and look to roam feels like that's where EG can try and take over.
Yeah, and it's kind of telling now. I feel like EG's strategy is to focus fully on the top triangle of the map and ignore the bottom lane, just hoping that their bottom lane can survive on their own, because in the intro video, Vulcan even mentioned it, that was a powerful area for them, and thus far in the first 2 games, the bottom lane for EG has been kind of left alone, and RNG have just secured 2v2 advantages all by themselves. So that is always kind of a growing problem for later that EG are going to have to look at later. Gala and Ming have been outstanding this entire tournament.
Actually might get a scuffle on the bot side here.
Yeah, Mitch. Still got flash, though, and of course, Wei's jump back, so not going to be really a threat here on the Ming.
Yeah, I do like the way we're setting up vision control for EG in the bottom side, though, right? You've got a ward there in the river, the pink ward. You've also got a ward over the back of the bush. So trying to set up for Danny to just continuously shove it in this way. But even though you have the kill for RNG, Danny is being able to get these advantages through the CS, nearly getting a plate on this bot side as well. And that's why you can see Jojopyun even roaming down here, because they can feel that Wei is in the area and Jojo's here to cover.
Knocks down a little bit of gold and a little bit of mana and health for Jojo Pyun. Xiaohu will see him on the way back over. Control ward in there as well, which Jojo Pyun now knows about. You can't see who puts a control ward down, but there could be a bit of a fight down here as Vulcan jumps away. Jojo may have to burn ult, wants to aggro the dragon, but now as long as they walk away, he will just take dragon damage. And indeed, forces the ult to get a Jojo Pyun. A nice little roam by Xiaohu. Good job way walking down.
Yeah, and I really do think EG should be avoiding bottom lane fights because, again, Gangplank ultimate coming from top side gives RNG kind of this inherent advantage. As soon as Gala gets to the level 6 as well, it becomes so hard to force that play there, especially when they're sitting on all 4 summoners still up.
Nice double knockup, but Vulcan walks up to get the Guardian shield. The only way to get Guardian off your teammate, pre-6 is Tahm Kench, is to just kind of face tank your teammate. So blocks the damage there, pretty much the correct play.
I think it's going to be really hard for EG to force a Gangplank ultimate out of Bin early. So as long as Bin holds on to that, they've got this extra threat waiting to use.
I also think shutting down Bin is just a great option because he's got first strike, he's got a ton of gold, and they're about to try and shut him down beautifully here.
Has flash, has TP, has everything, even the ultimate right now. They're going to try to cut him off. 3v1. Wukong on the way over right now. Xiaohu, no TP. This should be a big dive. A nice flash gets away from the charm. He gets the barrel. Impact drops aggro, but there's the Heartbreaker, and it's going to be one on the board. Here comes Wukong. 300 health on Inspire, 200 left on Impact. Wei could try. He's going to go right now. This should be a knockup. This should be a kill. There's a red buff claimed, and now Jojo Pyun has a flash, and he's going to burn it now.
I mean, nice job still from EG, though, to get on towards the Gangplank, shut him down. But the problem is, now you're giving kills across, Impact is reset, and the Rift Herald's there for the taking.
Yeah, RNG very happy about this one, actually. Because they come up the river and get the trailing kill, that answers kill 1 for 1, and Bin had teleport, so they clear out most of the minions. He teleports right back to top lane, and then they get the objective. That's a 1 for 1 kill trade topside plus objective for RNG, and they finish off that Rift Herald.
Done. Wei's able to claim it and can W the wall, so always safe right here. Basically burns a non-cooldown.
Such a nice change there for Wukong, and one of the big reasons why we're seeing him so much at this tournament. That extra mobility, being able to jump walls now.
I am a little bit worried, though, for EG that, like, if we continue at, like, relatively slow pace and you are giving these like small advantages over to RNG, you've got obviously the Rift Herald there, but I wanted to look at the first strike for Bin as well, because he's just going to get a ton of gold the longer you leave him in these side lanes. Already nearly has the Tribe Force, and that's why I think what Evil Genius is trying to put the pressure here, it's the right idea, but they just end up trying to stick around that little bit too long because Bin gets the cleanse, manages to flash away. It's not as smooth as a kill as they were hoping.
It was very close in timing to be able to layer both the charm and the stun from Inspired there, but Bin was spamming flash and just came down from that knockup in time, so missing both of those meant the kill did take longer, and they took a lot more damage in that dive, leaving open this counterplay. So RNG, in the end, went up there, they cleaned back up the kill, and of course, Rift Herald is in the pockets of Wei. Now he's resetting to bottom side of the map, the dragon is available, so RNG can now move their focus to the bottom side of the map, and again, the Gangplank ultimate is on cooldown now. As long as they clear, you know, like Gromps and Wolves and then look for their bottom side play, they could even look to utilize that and capitalize further with those Rift Heralds for plates.
Always the opportunity to try and roam mid as well, just off the extended lane that Jojo Pyun has created, but pushing in that wave. But looks like they're just going to fully focus on this bot side for the moment with Rift Herald in tow. They can always try and get mid priority here, but they're just going to go for the dragon instead.
Yep, there it is. Few more seconds left on the Gangplank ultimate, so Inspired's actually fishing around for some vision here.
That's just TP. This is theoretically playable, though it would have to go to a turret to do so. Looks like it's going to get burned down, though. No one's going to be able to contest in time. RNG. Yep, going to go ahead and claim the first one. Knockup is here, though. Right as Mink goes in, and Tahm Kench has arrived. 1 for 0, and Inspired now shows up. Looks for the knockup, doesn't find it just yet, though. Rooted in place. 2 for 0. Looking for a third, and Evil Geniuses have scaled long enough. Game 2 is time to come alive in this series.
It's always the team fights on objectives, Freak. This is the EG way. They drafted their old way. Impact, though, in the 1v1, escaping down to the Tri-Brush.
You should be alive for this one. Just some damage on a Bin. Doesn't mean a ton.
This is so big for Evil Geniuses there, though. We mentioned that cooldown on the Gangplank ultimate slowly ticking away, and they move in at the perfect time. The prediction W there from Vulcan.
What a beast.
Immediately, right where Ming is going. Vulcan showing up huge here for EG in that team fight, and that allows them to chain. This is why they pick, you know, Viego for Inspired and prioritize it here for them. The resets come through. Their hope, the hope is alive. The NA hope is here.
And the kills are going to the perfect people as well, right? Inspired getting 1-2 kills for Jojo. Danny getting a kill as well, but Inspired wants more on this top side.
Impact has no ultimate. This is dangerous for EG.
This thing around me, he's got a jungler, right? Like, that guy was on a control, and he's like, I'm not afraid of this 1v2. And it's like, okay, you got a teammate around. Impact gonna get away in time. No ulti burned by Wei. Didn't have it in the first place. Good escape. Xiaohu here as well. That vision is now known.
Yeah, Summoner Spellbook switched over to heal there for Impact, so he still had that one. Uses it. The Rift Drone's going to come down anyways just to cash in for RNG.
He got the roam coming through from Jojo Kyun, though. Maybe just looking to cover, but Inspired.
I don't know how you win this one, though. Xiaohu, no ulti just yet, but like, I don't know how this is actually a team fight win. Really charmed. Oh, just sidestep by Wei barely. I think just blindly, but does so. Goes in for a little bit more damage on a Jojo opponent. Is going to be back up in a second. Goes back in for damage. Wade dropped quite low. Inspired waiting for an ult if there's an assassination. If they can chunk Bin, it would randomly be a kill. It's not going to happen. Everyone walks away.
Yeah, counting abilities used there. I know everybody's just backing off. You get the thumbs up. You're like, okay, we've missed enough skill shots here.
Wow, that was really clever to try to set the trap for Xiaohu's roam timing. He's come to this way, and Xiaohu's like, they can trap there. Walks around.
Yeah, it's such a critical thing to actually.
Oh, this is big. He's ulted. Good flash by Danny. Yeah. I think you have to flash preemptively there. Like, if he's in range for flash W, you just die.
Yeah, a couple things with pathing there on the bottom side. Danny, definitely the respect given. Now it's necessary because Vulcan was up in the river clearing vision. As well for Xiaohu. A greedier mid laner might take that path directly back to mid lane and actually back to the minions, but Xiaohu was routing all the way through his own jungle, the safer route further away, so no conflict actually arises.
Yeah, I think the fact that EG, though, are starting to get these kills in the Ahri is going to be super important as we start to go on. Because certainly when you look towards who your carries are going to be, I think Danny is going to struggle just because the way RNG's composition is set up. So Jojo, Pyun, and Inspire kind of working as these backline dive tools and trying to get on towards picks on Bin, maybe something on towards Gala as well, is probably going to be the best way for EG to win out on these fights.
Yeah, I definitely agree. And it's one of the reasons why they invested their early pick in the Ahri instead of in the Wukong. Again, because the mid lane pick is so critical for EG to have Jojo on something that does have, you know, possibilities of creating his own plays. And you saw it in that Dragon fight as well. Ahri with the mobility following up. Definitely going to be along the lines that they have had success with previously.
I want to take a quick look at the gold actually as it disappears off the bottom of the screen, but 5,700 gold for Bin. This guy, as we said, with the first strike, with the fact he's Gangplank, is going to be accelerating very quickly. So for EG, I think trying to pick up the pace of this game a little bit, just so then Bin doesn't scale completely into the late game, just getting all this gold off the first strike is going to be pretty crucial, as you can see on the top left of your screen.
The Bin barrels. Yes.
Yes, that's my word.
We've all seen them before.
And it's worth noting, even in like micro aspects, he has won the barrel mind game against Impact, I think, every single time. I've seen 5 contested barrels in a row go to Bin, so he's got that timing on point. He's gonna land him in these fights.
Yeah, definitely difficult as Ornn to win the majority of those. Impact has been better on other champions at the barrel game. I definitely liked his Gwen focus on them, but hard to outlast hit the barrels for Bin. Bottom side, Vulcan just going to do the safe transition down to Danny as we approach the Dragon. 40 seconds ahead, and EG know that there should be dangerous members of RNG lying in wait. Good toggle of vision by the observers.
Yep, and there we go. Wei steps out of the brush for a second, and now they know the jungler's here. Xiaohu's still not seen on the mid-minion wave. He's like, hey, by the way, Xiaohu should be here. Ming should be here. You can actually just surmise it's a 4vX down here.
Exactly.
They are correct about it. Bottom scuttle goes over. Dragon spawns in 15 seconds. RNG on the way to a fairly fast Dragon stack as Impact takes a bit of damage.
Yeah, and I think RNG should be able to get that Dragon no problem as Impact gets chased down here because they also have teleport advantage and... Well, they have teleport advantage anyway, so Bin can force him out of lane, push the wave, and then say, hey, guess what? Impact doesn't have teleport, so even though I don't have my ult, I could go.
I think the biggest thing as well is trying to prevent the counterplay on that top side is Danny.
The E-pull not going to quit that all quite in the range. Summoner healed by Danny used to get away. Big damage to Impact now. Inspired, I should say. Wei going to be stunned, but it's only the clone as Vulcan shows the charm lands. Heartbreaker, and Wei's going to drop, and they're going for more. Xiaohu, self-ult, Inspired. Only the clone is low. Goes in for Gala. Danny knocked up and dead, but they trade 80 carries. Jojo still cutting away. Ming a bit low. Xiaohu's still on the chase. Inspired forced run away. Bin shuts him down, and Jojo Pyun running for the hills. Here comes the rest. Xiaohu is in, gets the kill. Vulcan should be dropping as well. Impact is not here. The rest of his team dies.
Oh, so close. I warned you, Freak. That was it. The teleport difference. Bin says, I can come. Impact cannot, and that is how RNG win the extra member, Dogza.
I thought they had it. I is looking good. You know, you're getting these kills, you're getting on towards Gala. The health bars are incredibly low, but as Kobe says, the TP comes in, Bin shows up, and that's the difference maker in the whole equation.
Those pesky teleport timers. The beginning of that fight was very, very profitable for EG, and yet you always know that the extra teleport timer in your back pocket is why RNG are doing this. This is why they're forcing the numbers game on the bottom side of the map. Here's the chunk at the very beginning. So Inspired, after receiving so much of this CC, Jojo dashes forward, finds the Wukong, has Ignite on him, so he's able to land the charm, and then they flash forward, getting the lead in this fight. But again, the teleport, we'll see it start channeling now. Even with the advantage here for EG, and the big chunk there onto Gala from the Q from Inspired, they finish off that kill. But as soon as Bin gets here, he's got red buff on. So he's burning you trial by fire plus red buff, so Inspired, even with the ultimate away, still goes down. And then the flash.
Oh my god, we're into it again.
Duncan and Vulcan, he's gone already, but a stun looks good. Xiaohu will drop, and a kill goes to Danny. Double knockup, no, a flash and one. Gala gonna be charmed, and EG find it again. A 2-for-1 team fight.
Right back to live, and they keep swinging. Freak Way is now in.
Oh, but he's got no way out, I don't think. He's gonna try, but the charm just keeps landing. Jojo Pyun!
It's the blue side buff. EG are doing it. It's comfort across the board. Jojo is popping off. Danny's getting the kills, and in these team fights, EG are wiping RNG.
They are showing how comfortable they are with this type of setup. These champions here for EG. Once again, Impact, you see him on the minimap. He did so much work during the season as Ornn for this team. He heads down with the long-range ultimate. And Vulcan is the sacrificial frog. Xiaohu is the trade kill as Jojo comes in. And then the knockup from Impact into the charm from Jojo.
Yeah.
Just as he's falling right back down to the ground, they pick that one up. Way goes for the solo onto Danny, but he just walks away.
And I mean, look, Jojo, these charms have been absolutely incredible in every single fight, and that's why we were saying to keep your eyes on this man in these fights. And almost every time we see that you have these big wins for EG, Jojo's doing nearly double his damage in the wins versus losses, and we're seeing at the moment Jojo's popping off once more.
EG's way through the LCS was not pretty. It was bloody, and it was filled with team fights. They did not roll over their opponents. They had oftentimes had to come back in games with 5-on-5 fights on these objectives like this. Now, as excited as we are getting with the prospect that this game is so much better than the first game, they are still behind. They are still behind 2 dragons.
I raise you EG are behind, and I provide you. I've seen a 17-year-old mid laner beat Royal before. Back in 2013, his name was Faker. Now it's Jojo Pyun's turn to win 3-1 championship.
Again, refocusing for RNG, though, we'll take a look at the next setup, because if they combine Xiaohu going on in with Lissandra plus Wei and the ultimate from Bin, that is where they want to shine with their team fights. It has just been that EG have picked the last 2.
Yeah, but that definitely becomes a little bit easier if EG have control of the map like they're trying to do now, right? With Rift Herald and being able to get a tempo advantage, it becomes a little bit easier for EG to dictate the pace of the fights rather than having RNG being the ones that can set up and actually go for these nice flanks. So at least with EG having control, it can work out reasonably well at the moment as they start to move in.
Wei cutting away again. Getting out of this one as EG take down some of the vision, but top lane pressure looks pretty good. So a Herald and the team knock down mid-outer. Pretty good turret, but Xiaohu.
One more charge.
And that's a nice rocket. That'll buy him a lot of time. So Jojo gonna find a slow, waits, says hello. Nice sidestep by Xiaohu, but still chunked to 500 HP. He can self-ult to buy another few seconds, but you're not getting away from this one anymore. Goes in, finds some damage. This has got to land every single time there. You're going to get the charm, you're going to get everything else you need, and it's a pretty good trade. Well done by Xiaohu, but cannot get one back.
Wasn't nervous in the slightest. Didn't think that Jojo was going to die, but Xiaohu does fall. You don't really get anything coming across from RNG either, because Danny and Vulcan correctly moved over to cover the mid lane push, so you only get Bin who's able to push in this wave bot side, but that's collected by Impact, so just a nice pick there for EG.
You can notice that Jojo Pyun's build is actually the damage-focused one on the way towards, I believe, Shadow Flame is the build path here. We so often see the Banshee's, Zhonya's build, maybe a Cosmic Drive, and it's like, I'm just haste and tanky. It's like, no, I'm going to one-shot people.
Yeah, and he knows his targets here. You know, nobody with magic resistance means it is going to be very effective for a long time, especially, you know, on the majority of these DPS-focused builds here from RNG. It's going to be a fairly squishy team, barring Wukong, and even Wukong probably going to go with the Death Stance. So
he's on the way to it.
Not going to be heavy magic resistance there. So I think it is fully a good choice here for Jojo to go for the flat pen and really try and make those burst moments count.
I think you're kind of counting your blessings here as EG is Dragon in 20 is that it's a Cloud Soul, so not too much, but we're going to see you fight over it anyways.
Done it, and Ming gets away from the charm though. Good job by Wei being there and takes the clone again. Does a really good job getting out from those.
So because there's no mid turret, EG have the option of hard pushing mid and then swinging in here to try and fight for vision with RNG as the Dragon spawns right now.
Really good vision though. Bin and Ming off on a side. They can easily flank. Ming's really difficult. Impact, when does he want to push the buttons? Mid's going to get pushed in, and looks like Danny will be... No, they're going to have Inspire go for a flank play instead. He's on top of the wards. They got to be careful. Xiaohu's there! Xiaohu is in the brush! Beautifully done. He's waiting for it, and EG have to turn tail and run.
Oh, what a game of hide and seek there. Xiaohu winning it all. He was waiting for that flank. Even Ming stepping up to take the rocket. No chance at the steal.
I love the idea, though, from EG, right? It's like, hey, if we can cover our flanks, but then they can't go for it. But Ming!
Can able to get away. W burns. Not quite the rhythm to Jojo Pio. Nice try by Gala.
Xiaohu's just so smart, though. My goodness. This veteran, 6 years on RNG, played mid, played top. He's done it all. He's marking the flanks. This is so critical for your team fights. Look at him. Goes to wait on the control ward. Again, patience.
Yeah, it's all about patience. And look, I like the idea from Inspire trying to get in on the flank, see if you can find those picks, but Xiaohu is perfectly situated there, both defensively and offensively.
And the biggest thing to me, too, was that he could have immediately ulted Inspired, but he waited just 1 second for Gala to get a little bit closer. You know, as Inspired's walking back and forth, he doesn't, you know, give his positioning away unnecessarily early. He's still good!
He is really, really, really an incredible player right now. And so Dragon Soul point for RNG. Cloud Soul. Atlas, I know you're watching. You're 100 feet off to my right. Watching in the green room there. Congratulations. We are onto a Cloud Rift, and we're 4 minutes away. We are at 27:30 for an RNG Cloud Soul. And it looks like it's going to be theirs. They're only at a 1,000 gold lead, and some of that is Gangplank printing money. So in earned gold, it's close, but one team fight means RNG get this soul.
Yeah, I mean, I am looking at Danny, though. That Infinity Edge so close to being finished, and it feels like once you get to that stage, if you can have Danny pop off, maybe you can make these plays happen. But for EGs, you can see if one pick goes awry, it's very difficult for them to follow up in these team fights. So this front to back is going to be so crucial for Evil Geniuses.
And much in a similar vein of Xiaohu marking the flankers here from EG and finding Inspired, it is now going to be on EG and Danny plus Vulcan to watch out for these two diving threats of the Wukong and the Lissandra, the two real big flankers from RNG that are going to be coming for them. Ming, basically anywhere on screen, can just jump to one of those two, and he's definitely hard to deal with, so have to try and mark one of these other two.
And that's why when you see, oh, actually TP, yeah.
He can knock up, Does so. It's a full teleport on cooldown. Nicely done by Impact.
Big. And this is the thing, when you see like multiple members of RNG down around this bot side, I want to see EG like pressing in on the opposite side, getting vision control around this Baron, because you know that both the Dragon and the Baron are going to be the two big objectives. And as you can see here, if EG can get this early vision control established, it becomes so much more difficult for these flankers to find the routes that they want into the play.
All right, so for EG, looking at the possibility of these picks, you just had Vulcan going through that red quadrant of the jungle. They do clear out the RNG vision, you know, up on this area. And they're still 2 minutes from Dragon, so plenty of time to play up around that jungle. The red spawning soon could be a possible return, but now that they're rotating Vulcan and Danny back out onto the map towards the bottom half, becomes a lot less likely.
Gangplank has so many items. It's absolutely insane. Yeah. I'm very scared of what Bin is going to do when he gets into these fights, because one barrel combo against pretty much anyone on EG is going to send them lights out. So you got to be so careful from Evil Geniuses as you try and approach blind to any of these neutral objectives.
And as soon as he gets level 16, that ultimate down on Danny is going to force a flash. Like that thing does so much damage.
Nearly 5 people. Ben already figures out what's going on. Of course, has a couple of wards in the jungle that sees going on. The vision known by Vulcan, but can't play for the one in blue brush despite no one actually being around him. Still plays it safely. One wave dropped by Ben. We know that Baron is alive and could always be an option.
Yeah, but I think it's good that EG recalled and reinvest their vision resources towards the bottom half. They know the soul is going to be really big. Impact, though.
Yeah, see some damage. Ult's going to come across, though. Is it going to be enough there? 1,000 HP left on Ben. Impact 1,200, but Ben has way more damage. Got to be careful. Plays out the ultimate. Able to walk it away. Ben would love to get in range for a bit more with the passive, and Ming's now on the way over as well, but can he get in range in time? Barrel chain. He's going to flash to see if that slow might have meant the kill.
Yeah, I think it definitely would have. And now another attack.
Vulcan gonna stay alive for now, spits back out Danny. Way dropped to 1K. Will burn a little bit longer thanks to his Death Dance, and has time to recall just barely if he needs to.
Yeah, but the ultimate is probably going to be down now for this next fight. So for RNG, it's about trying to buy space, and good ult coming through from Danny as well to stop these resets and give more time for EG to establish that vision we were talking about.
Yeah. Good poke from Inspired, because Wei is at 50% here, and with a Death Dance, if you poke him, then it's going to have the delayed Death Dance ticks. I mean, it's funny, but also 30 seconds is the time it takes to get back to Dragon, so Wei can no longer recall his own Death Dance interrupting him. He goes for the fruit and he heals back up.
They're actually going to YOLO Baron here with 20 seconds to go. If they need to peel out, they can, but they're going to give up positioning on the Drake. But the blue trinket sees what's going on. Will it even happen? Because Wei didn't finish the recall. He stayed for Honey Fruit. He is around.
Wei steals
and
these.
It's going to be this
He's
move. Jojo's going to try to mark and find the charm. Is it going to happen? Here comes Bin into the pit. Xiao ults in as well. Heartbreaker's across. 2K health in the Baron. Early smite. Wei gets it. Wei gets everything. But will he get the kills? He's low. He's charmed. He drops. 3 dead on RNG. 2 dead for Evil Geniuses, and they want more. Baron may have gone over, but Gala in a 2v3 is going to make it really tough to work here. Both junglers are dead. There are no smites. Even Impact is dead. Gala comes in the charm. Jojo Pyun, 1v5 in this game, it feels like, doing so well, and that should mean the Drake.
Yes, they may have lost the Baron, but they get the Dragon to cut off the Soul, and they got so many kills. Look at that, negative 460 gold so far from this Baron play for RNG. Evil Genius is focused on the fight the whole time, and I believe the early smite from Inspired was to heal and keep himself alive. Let's look at it.
Yeah, and that's the thing, is that Wei actually doesn't fully commit into the pit here with the rest of RNG. So Xiaohu goes in, he's already pretty much out of the equation, and as the rest of RNG go in, Danny's kiting back, he's in a great position, and watch Wei as he goes in to try and make the steal. As you say, EG are just focused on the kills, so it means that only Ming ends up making it out of this equation with the Baron buff.
Yeah, Inspired smited to live, because there was such a good bait immunity there from Xiaohu. Xiaohu went from self-ult immediately into stopwatch and got the ultimate down on Viego, and then they killed him. But here is the return, and it's all about Jojo.
Charm Flash.
It was so beautiful because Gala had his flash up. So unless you Charm Flash him like that, so there's no response, then he's going to make the outplay. He had double summoners available, and huge stuff there from the youngest player at MSI, Jojo, in a critical moment does step up for the extra kill and make sure that EG stop that.
That'll be a stun and a bin. Will it buy enough time to kill him? Wei gonna jump away. He's gonna block most of this one. Jojo goes in, forces the flash. Charm's not gonna land. Good sidestep by Bin, and Wei wants back, but not gonna find it. Vulcan chomps up Danny, walks out ult for ult, but bot lane turret is dead.
Yeah, you still get what you came for though, right? TP out of Xiaohu, you're getting the tower as well. As long as EG get away with this, which they should, they're gonna be okay. They just have to make sure they're in space to defend that mid lane push.
Yeah, I think that's the key, is disengage now, because EG want to reset. They've used a lot of ultimates, actually. The Tahm Kench ultimate is critical in keeping Danny alive. They need the Infinity Edge Jinx to be auto-attacking in these fights, and without that Tahm Kench ultimate, there's so many things that can burst them down. Defending.
Finds the first knockup, pretty good. Has ulti, has flash, not gonna be an easy kill. Zap will not land, Impact is tanky, but can't stick around forever. Mid lane turret very, very low. One wave with some time will kill it. Keep in mind, Baron buff still on.
Jojo.
This game is so tense. Ming is going.
Flash away from Vulcan, knockup in for Impact. He's gonna get the backline. That's Danny, that's deletion. 80 carry down, and Impact is gonna be next. He can try, but he will not survive. What a great engage. Inspired force flash away from Bin, and it's gonna be mid lane tier 2 as well. Beautifully set up. RNG knocked down 2 champions and 2 turrets.
Exactly, great force by RNG. They know the Tahm Kench ultimate is the critical factor keeping Danny alive. Without that, they take him down, they kill the Jinx, and they're not done
30
yet.
seconds, 5v3, 30 seconds till they come back up. It's going to be a lot to do. At least Baron buff is gone, so the wave will drop. The next one's coming in. Cannon minions are there as well to tank it, so it's just the attempted wave clear. Vulcan ulti back available. Jojo takes some poke, looks for a way, he doesn't go in just yet, finds it down in a bin, and it will be wave clear. So because Baron timed out, they don't get any more.
Oh, it's heartbreaking though. EG's base torn asunder as RNG find that quick play. And when it was looking so close for so long, now you're looking at that massive gold lead starting to open up as well. And once you look at 2 minutes until this Dragon, 4 items now complete on towards Bin. EG need to play this perfectly if they hope to bring this back.
Yeah, and Danny is building towards the Bloodthirster to have extra shield for himself. But until then, you know, playing around this Tahm Kench ultimate here for the team fight for EG is critical. Here, Jojo is waiting over the Raptor wall to try and find someone a pick with the charm, but then Bin goes and finds him, and then Gala running forward on this side. They're so confident, and Ming jumps to him, then on to Danny, and Xiaohu's there for the finish. Into the Blade Caller, just 100% to 0, burst him down before he can do anything.
Yeah, the Shreddiest Revelry makes it so difficult for Danny to try and get out of that, as Ming is able to just jump in on top of him, and then they're able to ride it straight through that mid lane. Now with a minute and a half until the next objective, you're definitely looking to see if Danny can have a little bit, as you say, that safety with the ultimate from Vulcan, but I'm certainly looking to see if EG can try and establish some vision control here to give Jojo those flanks, put pressure on towards Gala, and make sure that RNG can't just play into the fog of war.
Flash is back up. Almost 4 on RNG, just way missing his. Similar situation for EG with Vulcan and Inspired without theirs. Everything ticks up. So playmaking tools available. Xiaohu and Bin waiting for the flank play. Impact marking the bottom side on a control ward. So he's in fog. Sees though he's in a 1v5 if they go right now. Can they kill Impact? The question, though. They're going to have Xiaohu come over the wall. They could ult him. They could get a lot done. They will lock him down. The barrels are here. There's no way you live through this one. So Impact will just drop. He was surrounded. And because bot lane has a wave, they can't even push for more. EG could have maybe greeted for mid-tier 2, then recalled. They're going to send everyone back to go for bot lane.
Yep, they've got a recall here to defend the base because RNG are knocking at the door. Dragon is going to be where they retreat to. The turret already killed here by RNG. 25 seconds, they can retreat back to the spawning soul.
Yeah, and keep in mind, with Xiaohu having flash, you can flash ult Danny. Of course, Vulcan with zone ult can always try to save him, so single target CC won't quite do it.
And the only ultimate that RNG invested in killing Impact has a lower cooldown than the death timer. They use Xiaohu's ultimate. It's going to be back up before Impact is alive. So effectively used nothing there by RNG, and they get so much.
Yeah, this is Dragon Soul. This is going to be them for sure. It's going to be a rocket attempted steal.
Ooh.
I mean, if someone was on that, it might have been enough.
Yeah. That was very, very close. And I like EG here just going, right, we're not going to get into bot river. Let's try and get ourselves set up on the top side here and look for a little bit of a cross-map trade. But unfortunately, RNG just push in mid and now get to establish themselves over the Baron control as well.
Yeah, it was another really good setup play from RNG. Like another very intelligent play by using their Fog of War to their advantage. Both solo laners on the bottom side trapping the tank. So there's no escape for Impact, and pulling off that single pick gives them an inhibitor and Dragon Soul, like massive rewards there. Just from really good understanding of EG are going to want to push mid, so we send our split pushers to the bottom side and wrap around.
And that's been what's made the difference for RNG, not only at this MSI, but the reason that they are reigning MSI champions is these type of side lane plays with Xiaohu and finding how they can work the map to their favor. Now they're clearing out the vision in this Baron, making sure that EG have to try and face check them once more.
Scuttlecrab helps a lot, though. They got to see them walk out of the pit, so there was never a chance to be like, we're here, blue trinket us. So one small saving grace, Jojo going to be in range. Ooh, yeah, Xiaohu. I mean, have a really hard time hitting W and R in time to actually get the root before he's charmed himself, so doesn't go for the play here. Zhonya's, keep in mind, is up, though, for Xiaohu. He can buy a lot of time just soloing the backline, about 5 seconds between those two cooldowns. And no, Impact again will be found out. He's already burned E. He might burn Flash. He's rooted in place and has to burn it here. But the charm of the knockup could be even more. Impact gets a shield. Chopped up. Vulcan saves for now. QSS trying to run away. Impact will stay alive, but Vulcan, he certainly will not. And that is a nice pick set up by the RNG bot lane.
Yeah, it actually removes all Baron threat, too. Now EG.
Charm. They're going to get it. A big stun. They might kill him, but no, he gets self-ult off in time. Here comes the team fight. 5v4. Danny attacked by Wei. Zhonya's and Bin knocks him down. There's not going to be enough yet. Impact's going to try. Inspired will, but it won't happen. 3-4 kills in a row. RNG don't drop a man, but EG goes home in body bag.
It's a clean sweep for RNG, and with the wave in mid, they don't care about the Baron. They're going to end the game and bring them to that 2-0.
A 2-0 start. RNG look like the best team in the world, and they are handling Evil Geniuses. A valiant effort for sure from the LCS team, but we're looking at a sweep soon.
Definitely an exciting one. EG pushing much better in the mid stages of the game with some team fight victories, but then some very intelligent decisions from RNG. Their use of Fog of War, especially Xiaohu, hunting for flanking champions, winning the team fights with just a single pick before they even start. The critical pick on Inspired on the flank, that won them the Dragon fight. Then the critical flank around on Impact towards the later stages wins them the extra inhibitor into the soul as well. They win these battles with the picks before the fight even breaks out.
And that's why it's so hard playing against RNG, because it feels like an Elden Ring boss, right? You get through stage 1, you got the early game, you're like, pat on the back, boys, we did it. And suddenly the cutscene starts and you're like, mid-game. And it's just like, all right, now we got to try and beat them again. And it's where they're strongest. It's why it's so hard to try and beat RNG, even when you get these early advantages. I mean, we saw it from Top Esports, we've seen it from T1. This is such a difficult team to beat in the mid-game.
Yeah, that's really impressive, right? And a lot of it is just the galaxy brain of Xiaohu. He's in the right place at the right time so often, and it's a great team to watch. They are very, very strong. So for this year's MSI, we asked the teams to pick 4 tracks that they think could be their team's anthem, and then ask you, the fans, to vote on the winner. Here's the team anthem you selected for EG, Industry Baby by Lil Nas X. Listen to all the team anthems on the official League of Legends playlist on Spotify.
I woke up to the morning sky first. Baby blue, just like we rehearsed.
The magic of time begins for you. At your fingertips, time blooms and unfolds beyond boundaries. This is a city born to be with you. Busan.
Ooh, that's that magic. Jump on the beat, we savage. Eat it up, boy, then cash it like 1, 2, 3. Ooh, that's that magic. Jump on the beat, we savage. Eat it up, boy, then cash it like dumb diddy dee. Ooh, that's that magic. Jump on the beat, we savage. Eat it up, boy, then cash it like 1, 2, 3. We stack that like 1, 2, 3. Ooh, we don't hold back. Jump on the beat like full attack. Top of the chain, we stack that like dumb diddy dee. Heat it up. Heat it up. Just heat it up. Dumb diddy dee. Heat it up. Heat it up.
place for the bad girl rhymes. Can't stop this shit out of your mind. Top shot yeah, we're top of the line. Fake boy, don't waste my time. First place for the bad girl rhymes. Can't stop this shit out of your mind. Top shot yeah, we're top of the line like Dom Diddy D. Heat it up. Heat it up. Just heat it up. Dom Diddy D.
Ready to fire, ready or not, we letting it gone.
Welcome back to the State Farm Analyst Desk. A heartbreaker for EG and North American fans alike as RNG finds a way to snatch that one back from the jaws of defeat. A much better look all around, though, I'll have to say, for EG as they were able to even put themselves in a winning position. I think it does start in the draft, Emily. A lot of the things that we talked about wanting to see between games 1 and 2 did come to fruition. In particular, JoJo on a champion with agency.
Yes, let's go. I really loved the Ahri pick. As this draft was locked in backstage, we were all like, okay, you know, Ahri and Viego kind of have to get ahead to push them forward because they still are kind of relying on this front-to-back team fight with the Ornn, with the Jinx. We've seen this a lot from EG domestically. I love the Ahri pick. More importantly, JoJo looked like really good on it, both in lane and also in team fights. And he was kind of the primary driver in the early to mid game to get them into those fights.
One of the things we talked a lot about in Countdown was what look would EG have? And we talked about how throughout this tournament, they've tried very hard to emulate RNG's approach, which is like getting their mid laner out of lane and attacking these side lanes a lot. I think this game was a big callback to that other style that we talked a lot about, which is that very traditional, more front-to-back style, a little bit more investment towards giving JoJo something that, as we've already mentioned, he has agency on, but in particular, Danny being a primary team fighter and then being able to play around him as an AD carry. And I think as far as drafts go, it's solid. I think the problems came when you look at how RNG answered it. And again, I think it ties, again, with kind of how you've been talking about RNG this tournament in terms of their flexibility in their draft adaptations, because it feels like they had a lot of tools to limit that Jinx.
Yeah, I was even kind of afraid going into this game as RNG because it's like, okay, with Lissandra, something Xiaohu has obviously played over his career, but not much the split going into the Ahri. I thought it might be a hard matchup and might give those openings that we wanted to see from EG, but still, like you just said on, right? So many ways to get onto Danny, and I felt like those were the pivotal moments of just suddenly Rakan jumps in, Lissandra follow-up, Wukong goes in, and he really didn't get a chance to play those mid-late game team fights.
Yeah, I love it. When draft comes through, we're backstage. Vedius is like, okay, playing Jinx into this. So you get dove on by the Rakan flash ultimate. Great, maybe Vulcan saves you from that. Okay, Wukong flash ultimate follow-up. Okay, I don't know how you get out of it. Maybe a Gale Force to get away. Okay, Lissandra E follow-up into the ultimate. Okay, I don't know, maybe you flash out of that one, and then GP ult on top of all of that. Like the difficulty of playing a Jinx into this comp, and we'll see a bit of that in the late game at a certain point. But it definitely does speak to kind of the intelligence of RNG's drafting, even into one of EG's best looks. All of that said, we've got to talk about how EG was able to build a lead, and a lot of it came off the back of JoJo Pyun. But early on, 11 minutes around the Drake, EG picking up a nice fight here, 3 kills going their way, and really setting them off, on the right foot.
Yeah, and I feel like just overall, just really nice setup, being able to get in a river. We saw JoJo Pyun roaming around so much, and it felt like a lot of the time in the early game, he was actually able to find windows to move before Xiaohu was able to follow up, set up these charms to find these picks. And even though RNG are definitely one of the more tame LPL teams, more intelligent, RNG still on a team that very like to shy away from a fight very much.
And I have to give credit to Vulcan as well, because I think that a large part of why that whole fight came to fruition was his engagement over the wall was not something that Wei was expecting, and that kind of inspired the initial reset that allowed them to make the play happen. So huge props to him, but of course the fighting didn't stop, right? We saw a lot of action in this game, and then RNG very quickly kind of turned the game back in their favor, and this is one of the scary things about RNG. We heard Dagda talking so much about it, is that even if you get a good fight, you've got to keep getting these good fights, and here one of the big disadvantages for EG was that TP discrepancy, and you see where Danny is. You notice now that he's getting collapsed on, and we talk about how difficult it is for him to play these fights. Initially it looks good, but the moment that collapse comes through, he's removed, and the fight goes very quickly in the favor of RNG.
Yeah, not even a flash at his disposal there just means that's a dead Jinx and a one fight for RNG. Again, this is still pretty early on in the game, 16 minutes in, and so still at a fairly even state. You know, EG finds a way. And guess where it comes from, of course, Jojo in the mid lane, making every second count around the Baron. And as we know, every second counts thanks to the reliable Cisco network. It was Jojo Pyun with clutch flash charms on the Xayah, as well as Wei. While the Baron does go to the side of RNG, the fight goes to the Evil Geniuses.
Yeah, and on the back half of this fight, as we were watching this, we were like, flash charm, Jojo, you can do it. Obviously, for those that haven't watched Wei in the LPL, he's actually known for having these really strong, like, smite steals in team fights like this. But then on the back half of the fight, this is where Jojo is able to go in and absolutely land some of these clutch charms to be able to make it so that EG are still in a really good position coming out of this, even with losing the Baron.
And you have to give a lot of respect to Gala, because in a 2 versus 3, that bot lane is looking at that and they're saying, we can still win this fight. Let's just kill them all. And of course, huge props to Jojo for being able to flash over the wall, get that charm and kind of shut that down. But you have to feel bad for EG, because if they had gotten that Baron, those 3 members staying alive at the end, that looks like a very different game. And you can see how close this team really was to taking down this RNG squad.
I was sweating the whole time. I sat in the back quietly while you guys are all discussing, just like, oh my God, RNG, you can't lose. You can't lose here. Thankfully, again, their map play was able to bring it home.
Yeah, I mean, I think the big thing that happened kind of after this with the game shifting into RNG's favor is that when EG were able to set up these fights with Vulcan engages, with Jojo charms, they were able to come out ahead. But as, you know, Impact gets picked off a couple times in bot side jungle, they fight I believe a 4v5 where he's not around. So it ended up going into RNG's favor, especially as they were able to start choosing their own fights instead of responding to what EG were doing.
This is where, though, I feel like we have to be pretty honest to the moment, right? It's feeling doom and gloom for EG when they have their best possible look, a great start.
Listen.
Oh, no.
I appreciate what you're saying, but I feel that there's just not enough hopium on this desk. So I'm taking it upon myself to deliver that hopium to North America.
All right.
So I want you to follow me, North American fans, because I want to take you on a journey. I want to take you back to when North America was proud of their teams. Yes, there have been many walls throughout your history in League of Legends. There have been many challenges that you have faced, but multiple times you have overcome them, okay? 2016, CLG, they defeated the Flash Wolves and advanced to the MSI Finals, okay? There was one man that believed in this roster. There was one man that believed in this team, and that faith pulled through. Move ahead to 2018, Cloud9 defeating Afrika Freaks, advancing to the semifinals of Worlds 2018. Okay, there were not many believers. I was a doubter. On that analyst desk, I said that Afrika would not lose, and it was a 3-0 for Cloud9. 2019 Team Liquid, no one for a second believed that they could beat IG, but they did defeat them 3-1, and they did make it to the finals. Now, yes, okay, some of you are going to tell me that they immediately lost afterwards, but that's beside the point. You need to believe. You need to be the person that says that you have faith and that you were there to see the upset happen. So get your pogs out in chats, get the NA men's out, and you need to be the one to say that you believed in the EG reverse sweep. So casters, do you believe in the NA Hopium?
I, of course, believe in
We
NA.
believe! I never doubted them, Venius!
It has come to my attention that I cast every single one of those NA moments.
That's good. I can't
CLG
believe
winning, Cloud9 getting semifinals, Team Liquid getting to finals.
I just can't believe that you're down 2-0 and they give you a monologue. It's like, how much cursing do you need?
No,
the problem is, Vedius, that monologue needed to be about Xiaohu.
Yeah.
Then it would have worked. You're so much. Okay, here's the thing, though. When EG made the run to win the LCS, they also dropped a game in the lower bracket. So they lost 3 in the upper bracket, then they lost 1 in the lower bracket. That's 4 losses, and then they ran the table. How many games have they lost to RNG? 4. That means 3-0, 3-0, 3-0, 3-0, 3-0. Only 2 of them, really. But that'll be the run. So, NA fans, LCS fans.
Not men.
Not men.
Not men.
In Jojo Pyun, we trust.
In Jojo Pyun, we trust. Honestly, magnificent plays coming out from him. So, one of the main goals for this team at this international tournament was to indeed take notes, and he definitely has. This game, that game was so much closer than the first game. Big strides, I feel like, made even in this series. So let's see what they can do this time around. EG again on blue side, so they again can ban out the Galio of the Gwen. And I think that is very beneficial.
Yeah, we'll see what notes they've taken going into this. But already you can see Lucian and LeBlanc taking off the board. We imagine that we're going to see pretty much the same idea, I feel like, coming through here from RNG. Like, hey, look, we'll leave open the Wukong, the Ahri, see if we can snag one for ourselves. And then in the opposite side, EG, I honestly think going towards the Ahri again is a good shout. Jojo Pyun looked fantastic on that, and you could kind of see that Xiaohu didn't really have an answer.
Will RNG figure out that the Kalista ban last time around was unnecessary, and they've got a little bit of free leeway there to mix that one up?
If that says Kalista, not Ahri, I think it's a mistake. Unless I think that, no, we have a way better counter pick ready. Don't worry about it. Who needs Lissandra?
So Danny's Tristana is exceptional. Got his super big pentakill 1v9 moments in the LCS. So they have figured it out.
Okay.
They figured it out.
Yep. But that just means, I think, so, yeah, when I look back at the previous game, just to hyper-focus on the the LCS side of the draft, it's like, he picked full aggro Tristana, or Jinx, right?
Yes.
Went Kraken Slayer for optimal DPS, went heal and not cleanse, so you can't get bursted, because he had a Tahm Kench.
Yep.
So, you have to kind of peel those layers back and rethink the draft for the bottom lane. Ahri does get locked in, because there's no Tahm Kench.
Yeah, I definitely don't think they will go to the Jinx again this time around. Because it was the best iteration in the previous round with the Tahm Kench. So there will be some adjustments, I think, from the EG side as well. Thus far, though, the trade still has to go through. The Wukong picked up on the other side. No surprise there.
Wukong Xayah, I believe, was 1-2 last time around. Obviously, again, Kalista is up, so if they want to play that champion and just crush through bottom lane. Because for what it's worth, like, bot lane hasn't been the pressure point that's won the game. It's been good. Like, RNG has won bottom lane both times, but it's not like, we won bot lane, so we won the game. It's usually we won top lane, so we won the game.
Yeah, or even, getting control of the mid lane and letting Xiaohu kind of get out on the roam. And I definitely agree. I think that's why you're kind of seeing, okay, well, we're going to go towards the Gangplank once more. It worked out really well. And you're kind of looking at Impact going, all right, well, what have you got? Because the Ornn, I thought, did reasonably well when we got to team fights, but actually the laning phase didn't go so hot. So you're now at least understanding what you're going into his Impact, and I want to see what his decision here is.
They're flirting with us in the Darius there, Freak. Eyes getting big.
No reason to blind that.
I would love a hard counter pick like that though into the Gangplank. I mean, you say like no reason to blind it.
I guess, you're right. He's in a GP. You're right.
I guess they technically could flex it to mid.
That's unlikely. You're right. Good call.
It's very unlikely, but they're not going to do it. He goes right back to the Ornn. So maybe I was a bit too early in saying that they won't go to the Jinx again without the Tahm Kench. Maybe they still will, as they've continued with everything else consistent here with the rest of the draft. But we'll see, because RNG would probably want to snag AD carry here for Gala first, so they can get the pick without the bans coming through.
And I mean, look, it's got to be the Xayah again, right? At least giving you that mobility, the ability to self-heal. And then I am kind of curious what we see coming through for Danny. I think the Tristana could work out perfectly, although we didn't see it in the last game. I think that's probably your best option, because again, it feels like if you try to play Jinx into this, you're just going to have a miserable time.
So unironically, Locket Senna fits an anti-dive comp.
So last time around they banned it out. Let's see if the next ban is the Senna, because Ezreal, I think what would be the way for them to go. Danny's most played here at MSI, and people have been relying on that range a lot easier. Then it would allow EG to really focus on their top side with some early jungle pressure. So again, it's a smart ban from RNG. We'll see if they do follow it up with the Senna again.
Yeah, but I think without Tahm Kench, it feels like there's not that big of a proclivity. So, I mean, we'll end up having to see what comes through. Second ban needs to come in.
I feel like there are so many options that have been unexplored to pair with the Senna.
Oh,
so
totally agree.
Yeah, honestly, I'm hoping for it. Yeah. The Vladimir, unironically, was amazing.
Yeah, I mean, look, I think you've now got to kind of go, all right, well, if we can get something that can at least give Vulcan a little bit more wiggle room in the bot side, I think it could be great. Because Vulcan in some of these fights last game was crucial. We got that predict on the engage from Ming that turned around that fight at Dragon that set them up wonderfully. So I think giving Vulcan a little bit more tools than the Tahm Kench is going to work out pretty well, especially with the Jinx gone. Now you can look for something at least that has a smidge more mobility for Danny, which lets Vulcan go for these more aggressive supports.
I actually really want to see the Senna now that we've been working on it here.
I've converted you. Love that champion.
Well, Danny was always a really big Senna and Seraphine bottom player even.
Yeah?
So he has really loved the heal-oriented bottom lanes as well. So I know EG have some more options here.
Seraphine fits here too. She is a weaker bot lane than before. Ooh, wow, yeah. I mean, Zeri definitely is an option.
My screen froze.
Yeah,
I don't know about you guys.
Okay, we can look over there in the back wall behind where the teams used to sit, hovering the MF right now instead. And what will it actually be here? I mean, Miss Fortune lets you play pretty far back. You are still diveable by the Lissandra, but you can actively play at 1,000 range away. Yeah, MF Nautilus. MF's a very, very good laner. You have very good teammate follow-up, and you can play out of range of most engaged tools and still participate.
And a great answer to the Xayah as well. Xayah really struggles in lane against this, and also just her ability to try and play team fights with the make it rain, the slow, means she can struggle to get in and kind of manipulate those fights so she's able to stay in range. So a really nice pick here for Danny, and if you can set this up right, the wombo combo that you got for EG could be super nice.
Exactly. That's what I was going to point out, because the short trades are so good for Miss Fortune. You're able to get off your double left, especially if you're able to maneuver around the minions, get good poke damage on the Xayah early. The Braum does make the all-in more difficult, and of course there is heavy dive showing on EG. Braum is always a magnificent pick into heavy dive, and the Unbreakable can put a stop to the Miss Fortune ultimate, protecting a lot of your teammates. It's still, Braum actually takes significant damage even with that up though.
So while Braum is a good pick, it does not fit the Ming playstyle. He has 52 games on Braum, to be clear. There's a lot of sample here. It is lower win rate than every other champion in his top 15 all time. It is not a Ming champion.
He definitely is a huge part of a lot of the RNG plays where he's starting them out. So it puts more pressure on Wei and Xiaohu, who have very capable engaged champions. But it does mean those players need to be the ones with the initiation, because to your point, Braum is very much follow-up.
It's 11% lower win rate than his average across his career.
Yeah, I mean, look, that's why I'd be a little bit worried if it was just the Braum there, and I was like, all right, now we're kind of losing our engage tools. Because I always get nervous when it's Wei who has to be the decision maker on these, but I think with Xiaohu being there, we should be all right. That's where I'm actually looking to go, all right, he's going to be the one calling the shots.
Xiaohu has definitely been flexing his brain in this matchup thus far. Really, really good manipulation of vision control for him and his team. We'll see if that is enough. EG definitely fighting back so much stronger in the previous game, winning a bunch of team fights, big individual plays as well, but it wasn't enough. This time around, small tweaks to the draft I think are very good ones. Will it be enough though?
Will it be enough? On to the Rift we are for Game 3. Is this the end? Is this the end of Evil Geniuses at MSI, or do they pull one back here in Game 3?
Yeah, or is it the beginning of the reverse sweep?
Yes.
I'm huffing the hopium. Tastes good.
I was wondering what that tank that rolled past.
Yeah. All right, I believe. Here we go. In Judgment Penalty Trust. Spellbook for Ming, by the way, as you had pointed out, Dagda. Exciting.
Yeah. I always get interested to see what Ming can do with these, because we've had it in seasons past where he's taken TP, roamed up secretly to topside, and all these kind of pesky shenanigans. So I always get excited, and even just from Smite games and everything like that, as we start to progress on, you have to keep your eyes on what Ming has as that summoner spell.
Also, the double cleanses for both JoJo and Danny here should free them up in some of these team fights.
Yeah, JoJo ran it in the previous game, obviously up against Lissandra, and now without a Tahm Kench, Danny switches off from heal to this one to do the same thing. Trinket's going to be up at the same time, basically for both of these players who dropped early wards down. It's both jungler and support for both teams. Early ward into sweeper. Again, timing is awkward. It comes up as the jungle camp spawn, so you do lose camp DPS in order to kill the ward, but it is a bit of extra golden XP if you do it. Smite's red, that's correct.
Yeah, interesting. He's headed towards topside again as well. This has been a tendency for Inspired. Skip the Krugs and then wrap back around later for for the reverse clear. Topside matchup last time around, Bin was trading so heavily early on that I would say both mid and top in the exact same matchups in the last game were more volatile, even just 2 minutes into the game. So slightly less trading does also alter jungle options.
Ming takes some pretty good hits right there.
I also think just on RNG side, right? Like if we look at them as how they've played out these games throughout MSI, it's been a case of, hey, we can start to roam, look for plays in side lanes, is Ming's going to step up aggressively, but you don't really have a ton of options to help set up Xiaohu on roams because you've got Ming on Braum, because you've got a Gangplank in the top lane. So I certainly think if EG can end up matching some of these early plays, they can turn them around super effectively.
And the first adaptation we already see here, Impact backed up a little bit further. He did not have to flash this time around to the level 2 force by Bin, but Bin still went with the same game plan. Forces level 2, uses level 2 advantage, walk at Impact, chunk him out, get him under turret. Last time around, RNG also had the exact same ward timings. These two wards predicting and covering the top side of the map up through the river here were the exact same two they had last time around to basically protect themselves versus Inspired. And since he's done the same route, it will again lead to Wei in top river, looking for that
Flash Ignite, they're going in for Gala, Cleanse to get away from the slows, not gonna find the kill. Vulcan could die, the flash follow! Gala needs to die, they're gonna trade it back, but support is when he gets the kill, but Danny has no way out, he's got no summoners, he's an auto from dead, the flash to follow, Ming's gonna block him off, a double kill! Ming!
And they try so hard to get that play in the bot side, but to fall to RNG and Wei, maybe looking for a little bit more on top side, but that was so close for EG.
You're telling me this Braum doesn't win games? It's not his fault. He's got 3 double kills. Freak bloodthirsty Ming takes him down. Honestly, though, this EG team was very outspoken. Oh my god, we're about to go into a live gank on mid. But bottom side, this EG team has been so outspoken about playing without fear. You know, playing against RNG up here at MSI, big stakes for them. And this is no fear shown from the bottom lane.
Down, they
go for the all-on. Exactly, Freak. The timing there working out. And Vulcan, he timed his hook while the stun came in. So he even made up for some of that duration of getting stunned by having the animation of the hook go out and still getting pulled in. It was pretty well played by him for the all-in. But of course, then Danny is stuck right next to the Braum with the stacks already on him, and they go for the 2 kills. But that is to their endeavors playing without fear versus RNG, the defending MSI champs.
Yeah, there's just so many minions there as well that end up doing so much work in favor of RNG. So it was a nice attempt, but just unfortunate with where the minion wave was, that they're taking a brunt of that damage from, I think it was like 6 caster minions that were there on that bot side. So at least we're seeing EG, I mean, making these plays, especially when you're 2-0 down, you still want to have that confidence to make them happen.
The damage that coming out of Impact has been trades back. Obviously, first strike not coming through when you take damage first. And the wave just gets pushed in. Pretty big CS lead for Bin, though there is still some to farm. Impact wants to hold the lane. Bin wants to recall. He should be on Sheen money, so he really wants to take the recall and TP back. But if Impact can kind of keep Min here where he's not down Sheen, because he's crafted items, right? He's okay. He's TP'd anyway.
Yeah.
The longer this goes on, the slightly better it is for Impact.
Yeah, exactly. It kind of looks like, oh, you're going to take a lot of damage there, but mana bar is really important with Gangplank. And since Bin is so low on mana, Impact felt comfortable. I can tank this minion damage. To your point, I'll take less damage because he doesn't have the Sheen recall just by taking this minion damage and trying to keep it there. So
it's about a full wave, right? It's the old recall. It's the old TP, right? It's the one that goes to the tower's only. Decent damage to Jojo Pin here. Nice root. Nice sidestep with the charm there as well. Wei wants to come in. There's a stun. Good cleanse, but Jojo Pun barely staying alive. Has to flash to stay in there. Ming tries with the steel chair. Will not find his 3rd kill.
No, not quite able to make it stick. Jojo Pyun just about able to get out of there with the cleanse and flash, and that's why it is such an important summoner spell to have against the Lissandra. Just about keeping Jojo Pyun alive.
And again, these moments where Xiaohu is kind of masterminding and communicating these timings, he's pushing heavier on that wave. He knows Jojo will hit level 6. And so he was trying to abuse his level 6 advantage on Lissandra up to the level 5 Ahri, and they get both summoner spells out of it. He calls both jungle and support to roam there to abuse the level 6 Lissandra, gets it off. It's a very short cooldown, and we'll see if they can repeat anything off of those summoner spells advantage that they got from the double roam.
And even if they don't get to repeat in mid, right, it gives a ton of control to Xiaohu in that mid lane where he can now push because Jojo Pyun has to play a little bit safer, and then he can start to look for these side lane plays because, as you can see, already over halfway back off this cooldown on the ultimate. I wouldn't be surprised if they're looking to see if they can try and make some plays down towards the bot side, maybe turn that into a dragon as well.
Yeah, a couple of nice double ups there out of Danny. Teamfight Tactics expert as far as we can tell. Good 2-on-2, and holding on about an 8 CS lead as the minions thin out in that bottom lane, trading the kill for the assists and whatnot. Pretty close game. RNG, though, still ahead.
I was kind of wondering if there would be a response play from EG, because of course Jojo then knows Xiaohu's ultimate is down, but they're just keeping the wave in mid there, and Inspired not heading over, so don't think there's going to be an attempt to punish the ultless Lissandra.
Nice little couple of shots there, and shield.
Yeah, I think though Ming and Gal are doing a really good job of trying to hold this wave in front of the tower. You've Xiaohu here is going to pick up blue buff, so always an option to maybe look to go down, but the wave and bot will actually crash, so RNG will just end up backing away.
Here we go. A 9 CS difference. The recalls come in. We are on the Noon Quiver. Pretty solid recall. Should be the same for Gala. Even though Danny got a kill, the 2 assists are worth as much gold, so Gala should feel pretty comfy and should be a Noon Quiver himself on this.
Yeah. I mean, all right, let's see if we have an interaction here. The cooldown for Lissandra ult is very short, so has come back up. Xiaohu, again, waiting in the fog of war, waiting for EG to come to him, but Inspired and Jojo not going to overextend until Vulcan gets there. The support roam timing is critical. Ming also arriving in mid lane, though, so everybody's here for the party. All 10 members at Rift Herald spawn.
Yep.
Let's get ready.
All right, got ourselves a real team fight. Jojo no summoners. Xiaohu.
Watch the Braum Unbreakable to break the Ornn ultimate as well. That's another critical ability that Ming can.
Yeah. MF, yeah, every AD carry, every bot laner, bot and support, not level 6 right here, so only 3 ults available, and ultimately you can see, yeah, this is not the play because everyone showed up. Realizing, okay, Ming is here, Gala's here, Jojo could try. He has ult to get away, but could get locked down by Xiaohu. Flash ult will probably seal his demise, not going to make the play.
Yeah, Danny's also just so separated from the team, right? Everyone else on EG on that top side. Danny trying to push that wave mid, so he will get at least a little bit of CS advantage for himself. Now they have to move down and try and get a push on the bot side as well. But EG, unlike the last game, aren't actually able to try and trade this for Dragon or presence on the map because they invested so many resources top.
Dive towards Bin. Ult's coming across. They're going to flash get ready for the first knockup. TP to follow now as well. Way's on the way over. Be careful. Jojo dives into the backline. Will not find the charm. Ming's already here. They're going to find that kill and an impact. He will not survive this encounter. RNG onto their 3rd kill of the game, and he execute. Recall, I think he's on vision. No, he's not. Blind Q.
Oh, he's not gone.
He's going to get caught out there. That's going to be a kill. Well done to RNG. They catch the man. They're going to find their 4th.
And this is why we're saying, look at that Unsealed Spellbook for Ming. Gets the TP, moves up to the top side, covers Bin. And that's why it's so smart to see Ming taking this rune in this match.
Yeah, it's a cheeky little attempt there from EG, trying to catch RNG on their recalls. But Bin, with his flash, buys enough time for the rest of the team to get there. As you mentioned, he's going to switch over. Spellbook teleport comes in. Wei rotating up to the top side of the map. And Bin goes to play in the minions. Then the charm there, he was throwing it at Wei. Doesn't get it, gets it onto the minion. And as soon as EG see this counter from RNG, it's a scramble. Everybody just trying to escape. Every person for yourself. Try and get out of there. And trying to skip their lives, but eventually they find him.
Yeah, Wei's knockup as well, even interrupting Impact from being able to get on top of Bin, get the knockup and probably find the kills. So close in finding those plays on top side, but now they find themselves about 1,000 gold behind, 3 kills in advantage of RNG, and once more EG are fighting from behind.
And again, as we approach the team fight phase here, with the Dragons becoming the next focus of this game, and we kind of refocus on the bottom side of the map, Ming on Braum as the last pick just breaks so many things that EG want to do. Break the Ornn ultimate in half when the second one comes through. You can break the Misfortune ultimate. I mean, he definitely has the possibilities, of putting to stop basically the EG team fight before it even starts. So his positioning is critical. Doesn't look like EG even want to contest Dragon #1 here. I think that's wise, as the top Endeavors got them so far behind and they have no vision.
It's interesting to see the build coming through from Danny as well because of that, right? Like, traditionally, you'd see the Eclipse coming through, going for that full lethality, trying to just one-shot people with the ultimate, but realizing, hey, look, with this Braum pick in the mix, I'm not going to be able to get those big ultimates off, so trying to go more for this on-hit build, having the Gale Force to reposition from some of the engage tools from RNG, so we'll have to see if Danny can step up massively in these fights, because at the moment, he's the one lifesaver for EG.
He's got the most gold in the game last I saw. He had crested over 4,000. We saw the Massacre of Mystic. He was the first one on a pretty early Gale Force, the one that you're describing here. So as far as if we're going to keep the EG Hopium trend going, yes, of course, they're, down 0-2 and losing. But But the way they won the LCS finals and the whole playoff run was, hey, it's a tough game, but Danny's the big one. He's the guy who's ahead and would carry them in team fights. So that part of the playbook is okay for them. But RNG, you know, I feel like we're about to hit mid game and they're just going to turn up the tempo massively.
Yep. My favorite part about Miss Fortune is the strut, actually, for these rotations. You know, when Rift Herald rotations are so prominent, being able to get back to lane and get the extra minions too. So we'll see if the rotation becomes big, because Fog of War toggled right now does signal. EG, I have no idea. RNG completely overloading this mid, dropping off Herald to go for the invade on red side.
Yep, plates 2 and 3 off the mid lane, shared between Wei and Xiaohu, looking for number 4. They'll see if they can get more of that one going. Ming, tanky enough, actually able to walk away from Inspired here pretty safely. Xiaohu's putting his shots into the turret once that plate.
Yeah, I think it's interesting to see the amount of resources they're giving Xiaohu, though, right? Because traditionally, when you kind of look at this, you go, but Xiaohu isn't going to be the big damage dealer in fights, right? You're looking more at Bin and at Gala. So obviously, they're looking at this and going, hey, we want to try and crack open this mid lane turret so we can create this long lane push in the mid and then unlock Xiaohu to try and play towards these sides and continue getting these towers down in favor of RNG.
Exactly. They're trying to help him deal with the unrelenting pressure of the 17-year-old JoJo. No, honestly, unlocking mid lane so that you can get to go do those roams is still, you know, the trend that we're looking for here, because RNG benefits so much from the flanking Lissandra positions. EG trying to use this moment off the push-in on the wave on bottom side to go regain some of that vision.
And a good way to get those roams to happen is to either remove your opponent's wards so they can't see you, or put your own down for TP so you can surprise!
Hey, he did it!
We did it! Opponents on the Rift. The graphics package is here. Grab your exclusive Scare Prize Prime giving emotes so you can strut when you flash in or TP in and turn to fight and crush the opposition. Beautiful thing to see. Look at that. I want it on every player.
I still wish that had a noise, though. That's the one thing I want about that graphic, just to be like, really scare you. Yeah,
I mean, literally just use party fiddlesticks.
True, yeah.
Ultimate noise. Like, it's so good.
Oh, look for the play right now. Finding the root, though. Big damage, trading it back around. Though Sun's going to come across. Double knockup. JoJo put money for his life, but Wei gets the stick and takes him down. Will there be a re-engage? A flash for Vulcan. No easy way out for Shadow. The stun. There's Sealed over the top, and they're just burning through the health bars. It's bullet time, baby, and EG come up with 2.
Ooh, the flashes for the counter kills. They're Inspired jumping through. They get the one onto Xiaohu, pick his body up, and now see if they can transition it into an objective. Scuttle Crab here may be contested by Bin, but they still have the gatekeeper up there, Impact. He'll come down off the wave and ensure that they can actually start it up without being harassed.
This was such a smart play from EG, right? Though, I mean, Kobe had already kind of highlighted the strut, but EG being able to rotate Daniel, play with their strongest point of the map, and shut down where RNG have been putting all these resources means they get such a big turnaround, including this Rift Herald.
One more eye.
He has Big Smite.
It popped open.
Wow. He could solo kill us right now. He needs it. Oh, that was beautiful. Yes, 1200. Yeah. Q kills it away. If Inspired chose to die for Herald, he would have gotten it, but now a knockup towards Bin. But only a bit of damage. No one else is here. Impact cannot make this fight happen. He's got Flash if he needs it, but is able to walk away. Spellbook Ghost, I believe.
Exactly. Spellbook, the savior. That's
the quickest sorry I've ever seen.
All right. Well, unfortunate. That last eyeball pop, if Inspired could have gotten positioning on the backside to pop the eyeball, combine it with Smite, it would have died, but positioning that way would have meant his life. And RNG slip in to take those rewards. It is just Rift Herald number 2, not quite as valuable as Rift Herald number 1, but for this comp here, for RNG, that want to open up the lane so they can roam around, use Gangplank Ultimate and all these flanks from Xiaohu, it actually does mean a lot to take down outer turrets, so then you can actually use that Fog of War, use that vision advantage once again.
Also critically gives you this right as Dragon is about to spawn as well. So Xiaohu has it in the mid lane. He says, thank you very much. We're going to look for this mid lane tower and get that priority to fall back into Dragon while keeping all the vision control you have, as Bin is able to get one for himself in the top lane as well.
Down 3,000 gold lead now. Can't be spent just yet unless he's able to recall him and walk his way down. But second Dragon going to be uncontested. Danny, flashes, trades the Gale Force, ults him across. And here comes Ming for a bit more. Cleanse get away. Anchor's not quick to land. A great sidestep by the RNG support. But the flash ult, that's going to be a kill. Danny goes down. And a root, he saves the cooldown. Vulcan Zonia's is to buy some time, but will he die anyway? He's about to be stunned. Anchor's into the wall. And the stopwatch means nothing as RNG stops and watch him die.
And Danny was so close. The good flash there to try and take down down Gala, but there was just too many members of RNG in the vicinity. Xiaohu able to come over the wall, and it just looks like maybe a panic cleanse coming through from Danny as well meant he didn't have it available when Xiaohu got on top of him.
Xiaohu and Wei too quick on the roam. They were moving to the AD carry fight before EG was, and that was all the difference. Means Gala finishes up the outer tower. They get the second Rift Herald charge, and getting 2 is so big. That's another 800 gold picked up.
3 towers killed within about a minute of each other, plus the second Drake. RNG just owned the game now. Over the last 2 minutes, they have crushed this game.
And now bounties are back as well for EG. RNG have been putting their foot completely down on this game, making sure that they can try and push this to the 3-0. I mean, from EG, they're trying so desperately to make these plays, but it's just not working out. You can see here for Danny, like, this is so good from him.
And, but look at the mini-map. So, like, Danny, yeah, he's performing really well in this 1v1, but a big part of the reason Gala takes that 1v1 is because he knows Xiaohu has a good half-screen lead on the rotation down, and so then he's like, nice moves, young guns, because I've got a mid laner, and they roam him down. To Freak's point as well, that was 3 objective picked up by RNG in the span of 1.5 minutes. Dragon, plus the extra kills, plus the 2 towers.
Yeah. And if you got topside, even a third one, because Ben sold that one. He wasn't part of that fight, but that whole bot side was just a crush. So RNG looking just amazing right now. And hey, the expectation was a 3-0. The question was, how competitive would EG make it look? Game 2 was real close. Game 3 close for a bit. Hey, a big comeback, certainly possible, sure, but RNG, as now the tournament favorites, are looking to make it all right. Who we got in the finals?
Yeah, and I mean, look, for EG, you could find this big team fight where you get the perfect scenario, you know, Impact with the knock-up, Danny with the mega ult, and maybe, just maybe you can do it, but it does require you to get Ming out of the equation, but we have to see if EG can try and get those dominoes in place to knock them down.
Clear mid lane wave. Mid lane turret will stay alive. The last outer not yet slain by Royal Never Give Up as they look for their 3rd MSI trophy. Xiaohu been there for every single one of them. He's already won his mid laner. He's won a top laner. He'll go back to mid. Does that count as a 3rd role? I don't know. But
no. I do know I'm going to make a ruling here.
No, I'm with that. Yeah, just
at least they're not consecutively the same role. You know, okay, Ming going to find himself a nice knock-up there. 1v3. Here comes the reinforcements, though. It's going to be enough, though, as Inspired's around. Pushed around. Ming stays alive. The assassination
TP in behind.
Gets it. TP flank. Huge, deep one. I think Xiaohu coming around. He's got Ben there as well. No way out. EG, even the Hex Gates are here to hem them in. 4 men live, but not for long. When's the fight going to start? Ben anchored in. Here comes the Ornhorn as well. Looks for Gala. Ult sit to immune. Vulcan should die. Flash over for Impact. Wants to kill one, and he's not going to get much except his own death. Flashes in for the death, and that's going to be 3 unanswered kills. EG still running for their lives. Danny has extra move speed. Ben might get in range for him.
Strut like you've never struck before, Danny.
Jojo gets a charm to buy some time. Flash. Q's gonna kill. Yes, indeed, it will. Ben finds the 4th of the fight. Inspired's already respawned.
And you can see what EG are thinking, right? RNG have already committed resources in towards the top side jungle. That's where all their vision is. If EG can try and play around that, maybe look for a pick, get the tempo back in their favor, then they can try and set up for Dragon and find that miracle play that they're looking for. But unfortunately, they don't quite get it in time. Not enough damage to try and take down Ming, who stays alive so long, and it means that the rest of RNG can TP in and get themselves into this fight.
Oh, wait, that's not so
charged up stun miss goes right through the air as well. They can't burst him down.
Yeah.
Oh, that bit of damage there, that is the kill.
That fight looks different.
Yeah,
if he gets that.
It completely does. I mean, that's the kill swift through their fingers. That could have been 5 members of EG and only 4 of RNG left, and then all of a sudden, the double TP trap is a completely different story. But, you know, to your point, countering the play inside jungle, and then once you don't get it, no hesitation. Double TP comes out, they trap the rest of EG, and they get the most out of it.
Oh, that is so heartbreaking, especially if you manage to get the Braum in that equation as well, providing that CC. Like, genuinely, like, the reason Viego can sometimes be so oppressive in fights is, like, stealing these mega supports that have the engages, and finding it again here.
Yeah, I mean, you get 3 new cooldowns to press, right? Like,
Exactly.
actually, it resets your ultimates. You get 4 new cooldowns to press every take. Like, it's really meaningful, but unfortunately, Inspired flubs the play. Maybe would have been the turning play of this game. Maybe they still lose anyway, but now at a 9,000 gold lead, you know RNG, you're like, well, look like a 3-0. Make sure you cross your T's, dot your I's, dig the graves, put them in it. And now with the 3rd dragon, do we want to win with Hexel? Do we want to win with Baron? Do you want to win with pure sieging? Any option they want.
Yes.
Yes, yeah. Inclusive or.
I want to say, though, like, for EG, like, the fact that these guys have been growing over the course of the tournament, even if it is a 3-0 here for RNG, like, these guys have done absolutely incredible. Like, you can see them even from group stage into rumble stage, how much, well, to use the pun, is like taking notes, you know?
Yeah.
It's like you can genuinely see how much they've improved, and I'm super excited to see, especially when you've got young players like Jojo, Pyun, and Danny, what this international experience can do for their careers, because oftentimes it just gives you that rocket and gives you that motivation to kind of pop off later on, and I'm hoping we'll see something similar like what happened with Perks back in the day as well.
Yeah, of course, yeah. I mean, G2's start to international play was like a lot of really bad results until then they won MSI and went to World Finals. I will say though, speaking of G2, I am less impressed with RNG because they can 5-0 EG, but G2 6-0'd them, right? So like until you win another one, I just don't really believe it, you know? You think you just cement it with game 6 and they're too afraid.
Yeah, RNG impressive in their own rights.
Yeah.
Here at MSI especially. Well, let's see about this play though.
Oh, that's a nice charm. That is double stun as well. That's a lot of damage, but Wei's able to walk out. Locket buys a lot of time as well, and Ming just, he won't even die. You've got to be kidding me. It's a 4 versus 2, and they live. The Vanaka goes for Wei. They will maybe kill him finally. Naka's going to land. They get one. And hey, a Wukong. That's a big upgrade in stats and items. They're going to try now for a Baron. Keep in mind, no smite unless Ming's spellbook's over.
Yet there was so much used by RNG, though.
He's kidding me! Jojo! Gala had everything up, and he gets assassinated. So Baron is the attempt here. 3 versus 5.
Miss one charm to give them false hope. That's all it was for Jojo. Now they're in front of the Baron.
3K, you gotta make sure you land the smite. It was stolen last time. Shahu dives in. Early smite required. Who's gonna claim it? 1 kill. Viego gets it. He gets the Baron. Kill number 3. Kill number 4. And Evil Geniuses. The top river. The Baron. It belongs to the LCS champions.
They're back, baby! Evil Geniuses! They're back on top. The Baron is theirs and the life of NA. Again, seething through this river. The charm onto Wukong to start it off. Jojo from over the wall. Then they chase him down. Really though, after Ming gets Wei, Wei goes back in. I think some miscommunication on RNG's fault. And then they get the burst so they can start the coveted Baron.
And this is why I said I get worried when I see Wei on these engaged champs, because sometimes he's not quite on the same page.
Watch Jojo.
Here, it's so impressive. Jojo, 2 charms, 2 kills, and now the Baron back in the hands of Evil Geniuses. Can they push it to the game 4 with this?
Huge stuff. Xiaohu flashes in. They try and burst down Inspired, and they get his smite out, but then there's no damage left for RNG, and so Inspired, he sees his Baron going down. 260 health there. After they get their kills onto the RNG members, they can then turn towards it. Those are 2 low damage RNG members, so they still get the Baron. That is an objective bounty shutdown, my friends.
Yeah, that is like over 2,000 gold from kills. That is over 2,000 gold from Baron itself, and the gold lead is down to 2K.
This is the Evil Geniuses way, the heart attack way. This is how they win games. They go to these objectives.
How do you keep it? Jesus.
They win team
It's an
fights.
exciting season in the LCS.
Yeah. It truly was. I mean, the playoffs was just a completely different story for this team. During the regular season of LCS, Evil Geniuses were mediocre. They only beat teams below them. And yet they became a new squad so crazy in playoffs, 3-0ing after 3-0ing after 3-0ing, and so many of these comeback fights.
I mean, look, 5,000 Red Bull Baron power play for EG, but now becomes the real test, right? A minute until this next Dragon. They've done it once, they have to do it again. And you can see Jojo Pyun getting control over mid. Having this Baron is going to give them a lot of presence here to try and get this priority to move into River. But look at Xiaohu pushing in this bot lane. Once more, using that Fog of War from the last game.
Exactly. To me, the biggest learnings, the notes that they needed to take off game 2 were the vision game. It was manipulated by RNG over and over so well. This time around though, EG, see what they can do as far as their setup for Dragon. 37 seconds. This is the timing that you need to rotate over, clear out your control wards, ensure that RNG can't bait you into Brush, because Gangplank is level 16. Those barrel chains from Fog of War, from Brush, will be deadly. EG trying to get their vision first.
Yep. And of course, RNG greedily covering their side of it as well, right? You do not own their side of the jungle at all. It's the river that's going kind of back and forth right
down.
here.
Whenever that cooldown is down for Ming, Impact knows that he actually can get an ultimate off. Those windows are huge.
Same with Danny. That would be such a big timing window for that 1-2 punch. Even the charms from Jojo Pyun. Now RNG trying to squeeze.
Advantage in front line, but then double up, bounces through, he gets the kill. Danny at least takes one, and the execution damage of the Gale Force choice there does mean.
Oh, stops the ulti, only a slow. That one Gal's gonna be safe here. Now Jojo Pyun in danger, cleanses ults, and not gonna matter. Wei shuts him down. RNG 5,000 gold lead.
Ming's Glacial Fissures in these fights have been so impactful. It keeps EG wrapped in towards the Dragon Pit, and there it prevents Jojo Pyun from being able to follow up. Now RNG pushing down mid lane.
Clearing the mid lane wave. Impact will stay alive. It will keep the mid lane turret alive for now. Inspired doesn't walk away. We shouldn't kill him, but it will be some pretty good damage. Actually, that might be enough now. He can get a stun. That's going to be a GA burned, and that makes it pretty easy to get Inspired next time. Now, can he live? Ulti is up. Flash in a second. Reinforcements are enough. Though it's 5v4 in the map. Inspired walks away.
Xiaohu sitting in the bush here. He's been waiting here for the whole time, waiting for the defend the mid.
Yeah, ulti's gonna come across Danny, able to cleanse, flash, stay alive. Wei will not catch him. But how about the rest? As Xayah comes in, Impact flashing, will not die, but another summoner is down.
Yeah, good defense there from EG. They evade death. Still the tower given up. RNG take a lot off of that failed play mid from Evil Genius. Jojo is going for the hero play there onto Gala. Couldn't quite get around those minions. And a really good counter engage, as you mentioned, from Ming. Sets them up. RNG taking multiple.
The defense, though, hurts EG. It's 3 flashes burned on their side for 2 of RNG's. The attempt to go for it, very smart. Mid lane tier 2 dies anyway. EG slightly were playing their hand, lose more than they needed to.
And again, you can already see RNG are thinking 2 minutes ahead. Smite for, for the Baron, Smite for Baron for Ming. You've got the exhaust there as well, trying to deny Jojo Pyun and Inspired the resets in the back of these fights. And we've got to see now if EG can try and get control over this again. Ming has been so crucial in these fights at denying EG their chances.
Now we walk up yet again. Impact, not yet seen by the sweeper, but RNG gonna get rid of the vision. Now they'll know Inspired is around. As Xiaohu jumps over the wall, that is roughly knowable. And they are kind of aware. He hits the Scryer's Boom now as well. Says, okay, I'm not in any wards. Cool, my flank is gonna be even easier. May E this wall, will walk through wards when doing so. They know that control ward's there. Sidesteps one, sees the other though, and EG's like, ah, okay, that's Xiaohu behind us with an ulti. Not a play we like.
Again, remember, marking Xiaohu and Wei, 2 of the critical members getting in here. Those are the engaged components you have to control for. Spell shield is down.
I like the stun into Smite midair, because if he misses the E or mistimes it, he's like, oh, I'm safe. You can stun, get a lot of damage down, and you can force Xiaohu to maybe have to take a walk back from base. Impact still creating items. This would be his 3rd, I believe, overall. 1 on him and 2 on teammates, as Divine Sunderer and Gale Force are upgraded, so Jojo Pyun without one just yet.
Yeah, getting the spell shields off over and over is very big, because Xiaohu, without the flash for Lissandra, going to be a much less effective. Oh, it's
a clone, yeah.
So Bin is down in this bot side, which is why EG are like, cool, we can start to move in here, get control, because we're not walking into those big barrow combos, especially as you're looking at nearly full build for Bin. These barrows are going to hurt so much if EG walk into them.
EG are losing gold. Top and bot lane both got shoved in. Xiaohu safely pushed in top side recalls. They're actually just mostly focused on the Hextech Drake here, on the Soul. EG realized the same is kind of the play here. So Baron not going to be a serious focus right now. And even with that ace, even with that Baron picked up, RNG have come right back into taking control of this one. 5 turrets to 2. and this could be the climactic fight that sends EG home.
And this is where it gets so hard for EG, because you can just have one person of RNG solo out this Dragon if you want to, while you're keeping pressure on the rest of the Baron as well. But EG, as RNG start to collapse in towards the bottom side of the map, we'll have to try and figure out how they're going to try and approach this.
I don't know if they even are. So many EG members not by Dragon. It's 10 seconds away.
Yeah, they called to
Looks
give it.
like they're just giving it up again.
They say, well, we'll give you Dragon, and they're hoping that the chance at a better fight is later on in the game if they think they outscale maybe, but they said, well, we don't have vision, and we're probably not going to win the fight if we had vision, so okay, the chances of this play are very, very low. Yeah, played us, check, you know, that goes to you. Obviously the gold lead grows, or the advantage grows. Did you say this is not our best chance?
And now you just go back towards the Baron dance, right? RNG get mid-prio, they're going to move in, get established vision control, take out some of that vision. EG just try to establish themselves, and with Impact in the bot lane, looks like RNG are going to start this one up.
Not the best tools for checking it. One ward in the brush will not even quite spot Gala, so they don't know if anyone's in the pit. Now they see Gala walked away, so they're pretty safe with this one. Jojo, wait, the wings, Bin pushes in top, another glimpse. Inozai is up there. Blue Trinket is really nice. Because, yep, they are indeed playing the trap in that brush. Rest of them in Fog of War, though. Bin on the way over. Here comes the hard engage. Shahu over the flank as well. Is this the fight that does it? Sealing the deal. Jojo and Danny running away, staying alive for a moment, but Vulcan, he's going to be left to kill. Now one goes back over, though. It's Inspired to the backline. He gets two. Going in for Shahu. He's got Azonias way on the wings. They might get him, and they will do so. Impact staying alive. Bin will drop. Way's clone. It's just Way against the world. He trades one back, but it's 3 alive for EG. 3 alive for EG. Can the barrel chains work now? Way knows the GP even better. Mid-tier 2 or Baron could be the target.
They're going to turn for the Baron. Way does have his smite. No flash, but he can W over the wall.
Inspired and impacted so much in that fight to zero out the backline. Now smites it for everyone, but Way only has W to get in the pit.
He's not even going to try. He's stuck in the mid lane. So EG once again finding these miracle fights. They'll get the Baron. They'll get the bounties. Guys, are we going to a game 4? Is this it?
I'm living it. All right, here. This is what I want. Adrenaline pumping through my blood. My goodness. Keeping it interesting here. RNG with the soul, but EG with the Baron buff. Look at this team fight. Again, Shahu off screen had been able to slip around behind EG, and they chase both carries, but they lose sight of Inspired.
Yeah, and I think the team does just such a good job here, right? Both Jojo, Pion, and Danny have to back away. Ming is right in the backline trying to help, so you actually get to open up here as Danny with the bullet time, just trying to keep Bin at bay. And as you say, Impact and Inspired are running amok in the backline of RNG.
They just destroyed Gala there right off the back. Inspired went up, but it was a very early ultimate from Gala. As soon as he came back down from that, Inspired jumps on him, they get the reset kill, and he uses that Fed crit AD carry to take out his own teammates. Woo! Huge stuff there. This is why, again, you draft the melee carry in addition to the backline there for EG.
Red buff steal though for Gala feels pretty good. Still a 3,000 gold lead. I would say these stats of Baron roughly answer these stats of the Hextech Soul. So you gotta get the scoreboard actually accurate right now in terms of gold difference. And obviously the Baron at some point times out, and then it looks a little bit worse. Impact has upgraded Jojo's Mythic by now, and one more level till he can get Vulcan for that one. RNG, though, aware that they should probably just wait out this minute 40 seconds left for the Red Bull Baron power play. Obviously, Baron itself was worth actually a solid, what would it be, 2,000 gold. It was just the 100 per person. It wasn't an upgraded bounty.
Yeah. I mean, plus we're also taking into account Ornn upgraded items. You know, Impact upgrading for everybody here almost.
Yeah, and you're looking at items as well. I mean, 6 items already there for Bin and also for Danny. So maxed out entirely on how strong they are going to be. Inspired, trying to see if he can play off Fog of War here. Put the pressure on RNG.
100% crit Zai, by the way. Wait, okay. Yep, that is the Red Trinket spotting him out, but top turret will take meaningful damage. Good wave clear, but not enough just yet.
In fact, going back to answer the Lissandra split push that Shahu is trying to get on bottom side.
Decent turret damage, but doesn't want to stick around too much if there is ever a TP flank. Or
he's gonna go for the pincer. They've got Jojo coming down from mid. He's over vision though.
Shahu has ult, Shahu has flash, Shahu has Azonias as well. He's gonna get rid of the Banshees. Gonna trade that back. Charm's not gonna land. He aggroes him to get him out of the Hex Gate, but the E over the wall is gonna be enough. Good damage, and Jojo will not ult to follow.
Well played by Jojo there, getting out the extra cooldown. Close.
Now, though, with everyone collapsing onto the bot side for EG, RNG will establish themselves once more in mid, try and get some vision control pushed in onto this top side of the map as well, and continue trying to play these side lanes. It feels like at the moment RNG a little bit timid after that last fight that EG were able to win, and don't want to just go for the straight up 5v5.
Vibes look pretty good, right? You've got enough scary targets to Braum shield that the Ornn's on one, the O's on the other, and you can't block everything, so that's what we saw worked pretty well for him. And as you had mentioned at Champs, like, yeah, the Braum himself will still take pretty meaningful damage. It is a full crit. MF does scale off crit chance. Not the full value that attacks do, but he has 100% crit chance. Danny Soul will do a lot of damage. His autos will all hit for like 800 before armor. Is a scary champion.
I'm assuming his Anathemas Chains is attached to Danny as well to try and further mitigate, but the brush play.
Scar's Bloom doesn't actually catch them. Ming walks away. He's like, okay, we know something's here. Impact takes damage, but he is the tank and he's armor stacked. Knows Lissandra will not target him, but a death cap is done for Lissandra. Cleanse forced out. A root onto 2. That's actually big damage. Gala's at a 1k. Will heal up a little bit, and he's wearing a red buff as well, so we'll actually just heavily regen this late in the game.
Yeah, has the Vamp Scepter there as well, so just trying to see if he can get up away. Spotted.
Almost a stun would have been pretty good. Still a bit more damage coming across, though. Has to respect this one. Let's go to the ward. Gets out.
Oh, this is so tense. I'm just waiting. It feels like with 20 seconds until...
Flashes.
Oh, wait.
Big stun comes across. Evac for impact. That is Lissandra ult down, but they go back in. Wade takes a chunk, then a 1500. Stays alive overall, but dropped low. Elder Dragon in 12 seconds. EG have won the team fight so far in this game. But will it be enough now? Bin, no barrel. TP in for impact. This might be the fight here. Nice little poke from Gala, hits Vulcan. Shield gonna be on cooldown. Herald, sorry, Scuttle claim. Xiaohu waiting the wings. Cleanse and flash up for everyone. Xiaohu no ult though. Not as big of a flank threat. Charm lands. Big damage on the Ming. Pulls him right back in. Gonna flash of safety. Big damage though. Impact getting low. Bullet time comes across to keep him alive. Huge gangplank ult though. And this might be a fight that EG can no longer take.
Yeah, there's so much damage done to Inspired and Impact. The front line for EG is too low.
He can in for it.
You gotta look at me.
Dragon to deal some damage. Bin may lose his GA. Huge damage here. Charm will not land. Ult comes across. Danny's gone. 1 for 0 going for the rest. Impact forced to run. And RNG smell blood in the water. Blood in the mid lane. Vulcan chased down. Xiaohu will get his second kill. No. Safety finally gets him down and Inspired. Running for his life. He'll drop as well. RNG had to work for it. Game 2 was a comeback. Game 3 was a slobber knocker. But now they will knock EG out of the tournament going for the base.
And the TP to the bot lane. They know that this is over. You've only got Jojo Pyun and Impact left against all members of RNG.
How do you build 20 seconds?
Yeah, I mean, they have to pull out a miracle to buy some time here.
Walks in to take it. Impact and Jojo Pyun, oldest and youngest players at the tournament. 2v5 to hold the base alive. RNG dive in. A charm on the Xiaohu. Has the self-ult. Impact buys time. Zonias as well. Turret's firing. Gala trades back with the Zonias, but he'll kill Jojo Pyun. Wait, the charm he's gonna get one. He gets one, and RNG turned tail to run.
The Elder Dragon's still up. They can still go towards it.
A flash in. Danny gets one, but only a clone. Way is alive.
Never doubt NA and MSI! Can they do it again versus RNG? Can they track down Wei? He's so low.
Hexgate's out. Wei is low. He's not on any wards. They don't know for sure his health bar or how much time they've got to spend.
Track down Wei.
Bluezer gets
Track down Wei.
Danny knows what's up. Danny walks fast, but he's not around. Inspired, leaving the base now. He still is not yet in the pit, but they should be able to secure the smite on Elder Dragon. It's got an objective bounty. Here's the Hexgate for Inspired. Careful though. You're in a 1v3. Trades with Bin, but it's only a Guardian Angel. He's gonna die for it. They're gonna trade the GA. Wei waiting around, but Elder will be claimed. Do they win the fight now? Ming, he gets back over the wall, stays alive. Wei has a GA, stays up as well. EG have Elder on 3.
And Baron is alive. Xiaohu and Gala's Death Timers will be up. It will be a 1 champion advantage for RNG, but the Elder Dragon execution and burn damage for Evil Geniuses. Inspired went down 35 seconds, the longest Death Timer.
They use so much in that fight, though. You don't have the ultimate for Danny. Jojo Pyun needs to wait as well. RNG going to try and just start this one up immediately before EG have those cooldowns available.
They've got the extra person advantage, no jungler for Evil Geniuses, so it will be
fast.
It will be Baron buff versus Elder Dragon buff. The Elder Dragon is shorter and was acquired earlier, so EG's buff will fall off first. RNG do secure their Baron buff to push on later with, but EG did what they wanted. They bought their time to survive in this game. And it is very much a long shot. But if you recall back to 2016, it was RNG by far favorites of the tournament versus CLG, and the biggest comeback in professional League of Legends history, a 17,000 gold lead RNG had with 3 inhibitors.
Yeah, Xiaohu was in there. Xiaohu was
there. Xiaohu
a mid laner
remembers.
during that tenure. We'll see if the young upstarts. Keep in mind, it was Stixxay, a rookie AD carry, replacing Doublelift, who was part of that roster. Danny, pretty much the same age Stixxay was, 1 extra split to his tenure.
Some objective bounties being picked up here by EG.
5,000 gold difference to fair, which no longer really matters, as most people have capped out. There's probably 4,000 gold in Bin's inventory that he can't spend.
EG, though, getting a good amount of control over the map, right? So even though you do have 2 minutes left on RNG, if you can keep these waves shoved in as Evil Geniuses, it makes it so much harder for RNG to get a lot of value out of this ultimate. So it could just be a case, guys, that we're going to have a few more heart attacks in this game as we look for more neutral objective fights.
Elder timing out in 30. This will be the patience for Royal Never Give Up. And then they'll have about 1:15. The Red Bull Baron power play where, well, they're still up a Dragon Soul. They're up overall itemization, and they'll be up that Baron buff. They can look to end the game. Bottom inhibitor already dead. Bot would be an easy push location. EG put some wards down. As they spot what's going on here, Jojo staying in the fog, looks for the play on the Ming, gets a charm. Would love to find that fight with 8 seconds left on Elder, but they do not find their way in. This will time out, and RNG will once again be the team winning on the Rift.
Start to see if they can get control over this mid lane. RNG waiting here. Impact on the side. They still want to look for this fight before the waves hit the base.
Our Where's Xiaohu game.
Yeah.
Spot the flanker. He's been so creative getting into brush, getting into flank positions behind Evil Geniuses.
Botland's pushing. A bad pick for EG instantly ends the game.
Oh, wait.
Here he is looking at Xiaohu. Big damage. Oh, just deletes Jojo Pyun. And that might be all she wrote. Impact runs for the hills. 1 auto to stun him. 2k health left, but he will drop as well. Xiaohu can do no wrong. A bullet time is huge, but it will not find kills. 3v5 doesn't even happen. Re-engage for Wei. Vulcan should drop, and it's 2 against the world. Guardian Angel up. Wei might burn down, but he will not find the kills. Ming low, but will not drop. GA still there, and he's going to trade back in. Inspired can't get him. GA down. Danny gets 1, but trades his life back out as Ben kills him, and is Inspired against the world, and the world is against Inspired. EG have been aced. The minions could do it by themselves. RNG beat Evil Geniuses 5 games in a row. RNG on their way to their 3rd MSI title. RNG in the finals.
RNG will be there to defend their MSI title against either T1 or G2, and in a dominant fashion, they 3-0 the North American representative.
As soon as those hopes start to bubble up, RNG squish them back down. Xiaohu with the blast cone of death. For the last laugh, blast cone's over. That burst damage onto Jojo. Full combo from Lissandra. The assassin Lissandra into the back line. What a pick to secure the victory for RNG.
But I think you can still be proud of that as Evil Geniuses. How close Game 3 became, how they pushed RNG in Game 2 as well. I mean, the LPL representatives definitely sweating against what Evil Geniuses were able to achieve here today.
They stayed true to themselves with their team fights, giving hope. So many critical individual plays coming up on some of those picks too. I'm definitely proud of the North American representatives, Evil Geniuses.
Yep, question is, how much will they grow over time? Because I do like this roster. I like the way they play the game. I like their ability to take fights. And you got a lot of players with barely any tenure, right? With not a lot of experience. Rookie split here, only 1 year in for Danny. And I want to see him keep going.
Meanwhile, we turn our sights towards RNG and their pathway to the top. Another MSI Finals.
Yeah, and I mean, look, going up against either T1 or G2, I think both teams going to be taking a look at this series and going, right, you can kind of see the game plan that can come through. If we can shut down Xiaohu, get him onto champions that maybe he's not as comfortable as, those late game team fights can go the way that you're hoping, but we're going to have to see who actually ends up facing off against RNG in that final spot.
You always have to track Xiaohu. Can't let him out of your sight for a second.
But that's the thing. They got sweepers, man. He and Ming running around, getting rid of all the vision. You can't keep Ming in your sights because they'll make sure he's in the fog of war. RNG again, seem like the best team in the world, right? Best record of the group stage here, the Rumble stage. Like, they are the top dogs right now. Hey, they're into the finals 3-0. No matter whom they face, I think they're ready for it. Like, this is a very, very scary team. I'm excited to see if T1 or G2 can step up and play at that level. I know it's capable for them. I know it obviously can be done, but RNG are just an exciting team to watch. It's fun to see Xiaohu still doing it so many years into his career now. And it's going to be a fun final when they get there.
And the bottom lane, Gala and Ming, the camera wasn't down there for a lot of the time, but they were winning on their own and getting so many of these advantages too. The team never had to worry about that area.
Yeah, and I think that's why we saw them kind of step up in the LPL as well, right? Like, they were going up, V5 were the favorites. Then they're going out against top esports who were winning out in these early skirmishes, but they could manage to take it the distance anyway. And now we have to see just how far that distance is going to go.
It's going to be fun. So the next episode of the Spotify exclusive podcast, Rift Reaction, hosted by Travis Gafford and our own Emily Rand, is out now. Releases every Wednesday. Leave your thoughts on today's series and tell us, will tomorrow's series top today's series? We'll be back after the break with MSI Cooldown. Stay tuned.
Go riders, go right, gasoline lighters, more fire. Skid tires, blow up dynamite, need more wires. Noise shades, det är orgasm, men tror jag like I don't know, man. Gonna come under the pure water. Set it off like this, set it off like, set it off like this, set it off like, set it off like this, set it off like, set it off like this. Burn it up, take notes.
Upgrade your shoes slippers to keep sparkling.
Hey, Ash, what's your plan?
A new and very serious game, Jake from State Farm, but these in-game purchases are wrecking my wallet. I can't keep sparkling, Jake. I need a sparkle.
State Farm has options like combining home and auto, so you get a rate that fits your budget.
Very nice. The gameplay is really strategic, I swear.
For surprisingly great rates that fit any budget, like a good neighbor, State Farm is there. Call or click to get a quote today.
Red Bull gives you wings. Red Bull gives you wings.
Show and to tell, but I was born to amaze. You're in my head.
You won't forget the moments we share will lift your spirits and breathe life into your day. This is a city born to be with you. Busan.
everybody, and welcome to MSI Cooldown. RNG, they complete the sweep. EG made them work for it, particularly in that second and third games, but our defending champions will waltz their way in to the finals with that 3-0 scoreline, awaiting the winner of tomorrow's matchup between T1 and G2.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sad to see EG get swept, but it was kind of expected given the discrepancy between these two teams. Things I'm super happy about, though, they didn't, outside of like game one, which is just a mega stomp and kind of a not great draft, they hung in there, right? Like they kept trying to make plays. They kept trying to do things around the map, which I always appreciated, especially in this third game. And also, like, there's still so much, I hate to use the P word, but potential for this team because of the young players, because of the way they play around them. Jojo was able to have some really strong showings individually, which I really liked. So hopefully, at the very least, EG exit with a few more fans, because it's a very fun team.
I was going to say, I think NA's biggest fan, Vedius, will agree that there were definitely some highlight moments within this series for EG in a matchup that they were very much expected to lose. But ultimately, I think that just goes to show as well RNG's composure in these games where they're still able to, in the late game, find those creative angles and find the right fights to close it out.
Yeah, and like you're seeing on your screen right now, a pretty incredible engage from RNG where the fight did end up going awry for them, and massive props to Inspired for being able to find this play. And I've witnessed firsthand Inspired doing these type of plays. I was talking backstage about that Misfits Rogue series where he was able to get a pentakill on this champion, but it wasn't quite enough this time round. And I think that for EG, right now, the biggest takeaway that I have is that a lot of their wins are very reliant on this like miracle play, this miracle performance, and we're seeing it from Jojo here once again.
Base defense.
Yeah, I mean, it's an incredible thing, and again, it ties back to that point that Emily makes about potential, and I love that the cast has mentioned, because as a European, this hits very close to home with Perkz. Like, many of us consider him to be one of the greatest European players of all time, and he started with a much worse performance than this. He was very cocky on social media. He went into that tournament at MSI and he completely fell short. And later, I mean, he became an MSI champion 3 years later. And as I said, he became one of Europe's greatest representations. And this could be the same start of that story for Jojo. I think that potential really does exist. He has the confidence to drive the willpower. Just right now, he hasn't quite hit his peak yet.
Well, I know you brought something up in there with EG kind of still relying on like this miracle play, right? So they try to have these set plays, they sometimes don't work, and then it comes down to team fight. I think the discrepancy, and we'll see what you think, Jordan, because in the third game, you're like, I don't know, I'm nervous, they might drop a game. I think RNG's still like greatest strength is just their absolute understanding of the map itself and how to leverage that.
100%. I mean, we saw that, right? Whenever they'd start to fall behind, they just have really creative ways of maybe even like knowing, hey, we have push and bot here, we can make our way into enemy jungle, finding a pick onto the enemy side, and then just knowing that RNG does have that composure. I mean, they've come out in interviews and said like Xiaohu and Ming are the mom and dad. They keep everyone in check. They make sure the mentals are good. And luckily, mom and dad delivered today.
And I mean, we saw it multiple times in terms of they understand what space is theirs.
Yeah.
Backstage, it was so funny listening when Impact almost got caught out repeatedly, and it's just a matter of, well, I'm sorry, Impact, that space doesn't belong to you, and RNG know that. And it's a difficult thing to like highlight in the moment, but when you go back and watch the games, you'll realize how well RNG recognize this spot belongs to us. This spot doesn't, so we'll play around what we can and what we can't, and then they punish you the moment you step out of line, which is what makes them a terrifying team.
Lyric, you threw the name out already, but our OP player of the game goes to Ming in this third game. The Braum pick in and of itself, I thought, a fantastic draft adaptation in seeing that MF come through, and then from early on in the lane phase, the double kill picked up in the 2v2, then the TP to the top lane. That might be the best play of that early game.
Yeah, I just love to see it. Ming has been a player who I think the world has recognized as one of the best supports for many, many years. I feel like in the LPL, he's the most diverse support we have in terms of like, he can roam, he can play engage, he can play for lane. He's one of the only supports in LPL I trust to play
with the chair across the face.
And in this game, just phenomenal. He was everywhere he needed to be. He literally made Danny a non-factor. His use of his shield was just so good. And again, just great to see Ming finding the impact all over the map, finding the impact in lane. And, you know, I think making a solid argument to where everyone coming in hyping, I think, Keria respect, you know, like deservedly is potentially the best support or player in the world. And I think Ming is going to come out of this series and maybe even the tournament with his name up there.
There were so many fights like the one we just saw where Ming gets out with like a sliver of health. And is still able to block all this damage, right?
Out in the back.
Oh, man. Yeah, it was rough. What I need to know from you, Jordan, is Ming the mom or the dad? I have to know.
If I remember correctly, I believe it was Ming was the strict mom and Xiao was the loving father, which
all right. I was curious.
yeah, pretty interesting in terms of how they went with that one. But yeah, Ming's the strict one. Ming brings the belt.
I'll say that his children are disciplined. You know?
Yeah.
Like
Finn?
they okay, he's the exception. He's the you know, when they say you can play in the mud for a little while, he then comes back covered in mud.
Yeah, he's also he's the youngest. He's the angel young child.
Yeah,
right?
exactly.
So you kind of just let him do whatever. He TP's top to cover for him. Like, don't worry, Ben, we got you.
Yeah. Is that, you know, like those gifs of where you see like, and the dad just kind of like, oh, okay, got to grab you. And there we go, great. I was like, okay, nice save. But obviously, we threw a bit of shade towards Ben, but he also had a fantastic series.
Yeah, he absolutely did.
I think it's been his best game so far.
And we talk a lot about how RNG as a team, we talked about it in the Telestrators, we showed it in the dives, like we've been trying to highlight it all day. You can say what you want about Bin, but the team really does enable him when they need to, and their ability to play around side lanes, like they're just a well-oiled machine. And the name we haven't mentioned all day is Gala, which is insane when you really think about it, because we haven't even gotten to the point at which we need Gala to step up and be the guy that he became famous for, which is replacing Uzi and being the super hyper carry of this team if he needs to. And we saw some highlight reels from him, but he's still always that player that when things come, when the chips are down, he can always step up and carry for the team.
I was going to say, he simply just got it done today, right? He didn't need him to do anything special, so he didn't do anything special, and that's fine. It was a good look on the Xayah in multiple games. We'll pull up the bracket just as a quick refresher again. RNG, they slopped themselves into that best-of-5 finals. They await the winner of tomorrow's best-of-5 series between T1 and G2. That's going to be a highlight matchup, to say the least. But before we talk about that, because we will preview that matchup in just a bit, I kind of want to talk about how we feel about an RNG coming out of this type of 3-0 and going into the finals. Again, remembering that they are the defending champions. They're looking to bring that title back once again. Xiaohu back in the mid lane. You know, dominant from a scoreline perspective, but those two games, those second two games are going to make you think about what, you know, either, you know, team that comes out of tomorrow's series will be able to learn or take from it into
I'm nervous,
that
Dash.
finals.
I'm nervous.
Of course I'm nervous
going into those series. The one thing I'll say about RNG is they've looked like this in almost all their wins throughout the year. It's never super dominant. It's never they're just going to come in and crush you. They are a team that kind of gets pulled down into the mud with other teams, and they do very often have to be able to find their way back in the game. So I think RNG definitely could take a series against T1. But, you know, we're not going to get there because they're going to play G2, and then RNG are going to win because we always beat LEC. So.
Okay. Well, what I will say about RNG is, like, my biggest takeaways are, number one, they are the best drafters at the tournament, in my opinion, in terms of their ability to be flexible and what they showcase in Champion. And I think the reason why they won that final, I will never forget that Jax pick and how brilliant I think it was. And I think that this is something that is going to be the hardest thing to overcome for both T1 and G2, depending on who make it there, to be able to defeat RNG, because their ability, like the Braum is a great example of what we saw in Game 3. It doesn't matter what you throw at them, they will have an answer somewhere. And that, to me, is one of the hardest things that you have to overcome before you even get onto the Rift.
All right, well, then let's talk about who we think might make it there to challenge RNG as we turn our attention to tomorrow's series. It's T1 versus G2, Faker versus Caps in the mid lane. That's our featured matchup presented by Mercedes-Benz, and you wouldn't want it any other way. Two of the best mids that we've seen on an international stage going toe-to-toe for that shot at taking down RNG. Vedius, I'll come to you first.
Yeah, I mean, it's super exciting. I've had the pleasure of casting both of those series in the past, and I will get to cast another one tomorrow, which is going to be great. I will say that often when you see these two go up against each other, G2 are very rarely the favorites. Often, I think that when we think back to 2019 in particular, G2 is considered a strong team, but depending on who you spoke to, they were either number 3, number 2, or number 1, but more often than not, I found that T1 was always the favorites. And one of the things that happened a lot in 2019 was G2 would draft scaling to kind of beat T1. I think that they had a very good draft approach that made them a good answer into T1, and they found ways to shut them down. My concern right now is that T1, their early game is just as dominant as it always has been. I think that they look very convincing, but I feel like that this team is much better at adapting and evolving than previous iterations one, or at least compared to the 2019. And I don't know if G2 have the same level of on-the-fly flexibility that they used to have. So on paper, I would predict T1. But
what are you doing?
What do you want from me?
Mr.
What do you want?
Mr. NA comes out, delivers the rant for LCS, and you know what I'm gonna say? I believe in G2.
Yeah, but that's because you want them to win.
Because you think they're a better matchup to RNG.
Make me monologue on G2's behalf tomorrow, okay?
Right. Look, G2, I feel like we're going to come in tomorrow. They're going to have, I think, much better drafts in their second half where we got the weird things like the Riven coming out. They also bringing out the Corki. Go back to what you had before, right? Some aggression in the early game. You still have some scaling tools like the Ornn to be able to take these team fights. And the one area I feel like G2 really can outclass T1 is just Jankos and his creativity, right? A lot of his ganks can come at unexpected timings, and Gumayusi will be punished by every single one of them. G2 to the finals.
Okay, interesting. So I'm just gonna compare them, I guess, a little bit more analytically. I really love what you brought up about timers and also what you brought up about T1 early game, because I think when you look at the way T1 were absolutely able to be so dominant early, it's because they have a really strong understanding, again, of wave timers and where they're supposed to be, especially with like Faker, you know, kind of delaying to the kind of what you'd think of as the second wave and then roaming top. Their top side focus, I think, is really interesting. That's actually why I don't think they'll go bot all that much. Sorry, Jordan. But,
maybe they don't need to.
Yeah,
maybe
I mean, I think
will deliver it.
I do think, though, I'm glad that you brought up Jankos, though, because I think Jankos is so experienced and he has a really good understanding of the way that other teams do want to play around what we would consider like correct timers, right? So then it's a matter of, okay, can he disrupt the early game enough? I think the other thing that's kind of interesting about both of these teams is I feel like we definitely haven't seen what I think this T1 team is capable of yet at this tournament. And then G2 are all similarly very difficult to place because they came in looking so dominant, had the best read on the meta, and then just kind of like really faltered as other teams kind of started to figure them out. So that's why it's really difficult to figure out for me.
I think both teams are very volatile,
I'm gonna
right?
I'm gonna save my prediction for tomorrow since I'm on the desk tomorrow.
I was about to say, I don't want to exhaust all of our talking points before tomorrow.
But I did want to bring up that Jankos thing because that's a really good point.
I'm telling you, man. Like,
thank you, Lyric.
I don't
That's a good starting
trust their
point.
early
Good
game.
baseline
I just don't trust G2's early game.
I was about to ask. That was kind of my final point. Is like to Emily talking about how hot the start was for G2 and those stumbles. Like, what is your ultimate level of belief that we've even seen the peak of G2, their ability to recover from quote unquote being figured out in the draft?
So what I will say is I have a huge amount of faith in Dylan, the coach, and the players to be able to come up with something new in terms of how they will challenge T1. That I'm unwavering in my belief in their ability to come up with something new. My doubt comes from the fact that they don't have enough time to fix an issue that has ultimately plagued them all split, which is their early game. Okay. They have never been dominant in the early game. Even during the playoffs, if they found early game advantages, they were just means to an end, which is that they would maintain that early game lead, and then they would particularly spike in the mid to late game. So I don't expect that playstyle or that approach to suddenly be dramatically different this weekend. So it very much comes down to what we've all been discussing about is if G2 can control T1 in the early game, then yes, they have a very viable shot of being able to beat T1. But if you're going to put a name down on paper, T1 would be the one that you would probably have more faith in, just because their early game is so dominant.
Right. Very different strengths, but that usually speaks to a very exciting series in front of us. That's going to be it for today. Tomorrow, make sure you tune into the countdown. It starts at 9:30 CEST. That's always so difficult for me to say. Or midnight 30 PST. For now, though, we're going to shut the studio down. We'll catch you tomorrow. Until then, stay healthy, stay safe, and be good to each other. Good night.